but all of a sudden I look back at the board. Look at Hikaru's wasting. He's wasted over a minute.
Yeah, I told you another 90 seconds can come off.
Look at them.
They're just like.
Look at Wesley laughing.
Bishop Jesse King. That's so good. That was so good. And then Hikaru thinking again, is it not a draw yet?
Look how much time they have.
He can't just claim.
Look,
Look Hikaru just gained a whole bunch on the increment. This is so great. Hikaru just pre-moved himself, and Wesley turns over and he's like, are you kidding me right now? Oh my god. That was legendary stuff right there.
Yep.
I say speed chess, you say hype. Speed chess.
Oop.
Hype.
I thought we went championship.
Speed chess hype.
But it's a championship game.
No, this is
match.
This is gonna be a good day, as you can tell. International Master Danny Wrench with you, alongside the one, the only Grand Master Robert Hess. We are hyped.
Yeah.
And this is the Speed Chess Championship, so we were both right.
Yeah.
We're very excited for these two players that have come so far and made it all the way to the top of the bracket, as you can see. Hikaru Nakamura, the overall 1 seed, against the overall 2 seed. One of the things that I think hasn't necessarily been talked about enough is that these are the top 2 players. If you were looking at a March Madness bracket, this would have been probably one of the most predicted possible outcomes in hindsight, given that their rapid and blitz performances in the past tell them that they're pretty good at what they do.
Although I love the upset picks, and Alexander Grishuk is one of those underseeded 11 seeds.
Yeah, that's true.
So, of course, I would have picked him to go far. But Jan-Krzysztof Duda, his Cinderella story came to a close on Friday against Wesley So, and this is a pretty great matchup. I know people love Hikaru Nakamura. Of course, he deserves all the credit that he gets, and he's the beast, an absolute monster at the quick time.
And he's a growing celebrity on Twitch, so it won't be a surprise that we have a majority of Nakamura fans. But because we also have a matchup left to be played, we don't know who's going to win yet. You're right. We also are curious, based on everything that we've heard and different ideas and different feedback that come across, we figured this was the best way to bring our entire 2018 to a close, right? I mean, this is a really great question. We'd love to get some fan and community interaction to let us know. If you could change one thing about the Speed Chess Championship format, what would it be, right? And when we talk format, I think we're looking for specific things that you feel, from your perspective, would either add more excitement or make it a better format, right? I mean, there's all kinds of questions like players have to have lollipops in their hand or something like that, but I think we're talking specifically, and we're looking for some specific feedback that maybe helps us continue to make what is one of the most popular events and things to watch online better for you, the fans. So,
if you force me to guess, I'm going to assume that a very popular answer will be Fisher Random Chess.
Official random chess is something we had last year,
Yep.
and we took away.
Yep.
So it's an interesting question whether it should come back. Regardless of whether Fisher Random will be played, a lot of money will be paid today to these two players.
The big bucks.
This is now you're now down to the final matchup, so there's a lot of money on the line considering that it's only a few hours of Blitz here, in pajamas or in Hikaru's case, plaid shirts with a turtleneck, which is also great.
Yeah. And look at it. Well, speaking of what's also great, Hikaru's stats, right? His win probability, 67%, so he's the 2/3 favorite here. And it's actually, I think, a little bit closer than those stats may lead us to believe. Yes, Hikaru Nakamura 8-2. That's exactly double 4-1 record for Wesley So there.
Yep.
And the 5-1 estimate, I don't know. That's where Hikaru got his edge in the early going.
Well, and that's where the segment comes up, right? The 5-1 estimate being slightly in favor of Hikaru Nakamura here, right? I think it'll be interesting. I think because we all know that Hikaru Nakamura is a beast in Bullet, we tend to always have this overarching storyline. If you're going to beat Hikaru, you got to have a lead headed into Bullet. And I think that's the kind of the same storyline here. We see that Wesley actually slightly favored in the 3-1 segment coming in. So that's an interesting little nugget to consider. As we look at the breakdown of how these players got here, pretty fascinating stuff. Jan-Christoph Duda, again, just... I was really impressed by Wesley So's dominance in the Bullet portion of that match. Look at that. Plus 8.
Yeah,
almost keeping pace with Hikaru Nakamura's dominance over Ifan.
In fact, I think the +8 in the entire graphic here is the most impressive thing to me out of everything. Yes, of course, Hikaru Nakamura's gotten off to big scores, but he started off really well earlier. +25 in the first round, +8, +5. But look at Wesley So. +9, +6, and then +13 in the semis, and the +8 in the Bullet. That's where we know Nakamura generally makes his money's worth. That worries me a bit for Hikaru Nakamura.
Right. Well, it just may mean that we're not going to have as lopsided of a match as we might expecting, right? And if you're taking a lead into the fastest portion and feel like you can hold your own, that's got to be giving you some confidence, right?
Absolutely.
So we're looking ahead, of course, to the final Speed Chess Championship match. But while we have everyone's attention, we will remind you that the next big thing happening in the chess world starts on January 8th. When the Pro Chess League kicks off. The 2019 season will have 32 teams launching their campaign. I'm not even sure who my favorite is. It's going to be exciting. I think I go by the logos of the teams. But as far as new faces or faces that you're aware of coming back, we just saw Grandmaster Sam Shanklin. Wesley So will be playing for the Archbishops. Of course, Hikaru Nakamura, as we've been talking a lot about, will be kind of back in his hometown as he feels for Seattle, playing for the Seattle Sluggers. It's going to be hard to beat Wesley So and Fabiano Caruana teaming up with the St. Louis Archbishops. But
if anyone can do it,
if anyone can do it, it might be the world champion who defended his title, celebrated his 28th birthday, and probably enjoying a bit of a vacation before he maybe helps lead the Gnomes to what he'd like to be. He'd like to see maybe a 2019 Pro Chess League championship. If you don't remember, Magnus Carlsen led the Gnomes to the championship in the first year, the inaugural season. They did fall short ultimately, but Magnus is no stranger to helping his team go very far in the Pro Chess League.
Who they fall short to?
In the first year,
it was the Archbishops.
The Archbishops won. That's right. It was St. Louis, led by Wesley So. At the time, who ended up taking home the MVP prize. So in the 2017 season, Wesley So was the MVP, and he ultimately led the Bishops to a victory. The Bishops fell short in the semifinals last year, and guess who they didn't have playing for them?
Wesley So.
Guess who's coming back this year?
And they also did not have Fabiano Caruana because he was busy playing the candidates.
That's right. ChessBay94 just subscribed for 12 months in a row. Amazing. It's so funny. She spends so much time gifting memberships to others. Rarely see her name subscribing.
She also, I just looked at the chat. She says she messaged me direct and said she has her bagel and her coffee.
Good.
So
Somebody's got to have it. We don't have a bagel for you right now. We do have a prop bagel, but I wouldn't let you eat that if you tried.
Yeah, it's pretty stale.
Got to look after you.
But
all right. Well, we're still a couple minutes out. Want to remind everybody real quick of the format today. We have the Speed Chess Championship. This is the finals. We have had quite the year with matches starting as far back as August or even July if you include the qualifiers. We'll let that sit on the screen here so you can maybe read it as you choose while I talk about it. But basically it's pretty simple. We have a massive knockout, a bracket of 16 very, very strong chess players making it all the way to where we are now in the championship. And the format runs from blitz to bullet with all kinds of excitement throughout the day, and I think we're going to be in store for just that today with Hikaru Nakamura taking on Wesley So. I'm pretty excited, and both players have been with us for a while. They were early. Hikaru regularly streaming. He's finding time to play and win these events while also streaming from his own channel, twitch.tv/GMHikaru.
Yeah, you're focusing on Hikaru. What's Wesley eating over there?
I don't know. He did offer you some bagels before we started, though.
Yeah, but I don't think he's actually eating a bagel.
Yeah, I don't know what he's eating, but he's aware apparently that you like bagels. Wesley now in St. Louis, not at his normal home environment there. But we're about to have liftoff here in just a second. The games will begin. Hikaru is already rocking it, rocking the style. The dogs have already been let out. We're still trying to figure out who let them out, but that's a whole other discussion. And the games have begun. So we have a London / kind of a Tory / Collie / Robert. What is this? Speak quickly.
/ I don't know why you keep making me slash. It's just like it's not a London because the bishop's not out, right? So the bishop would have to be
right, but the structure almost started out that way, right? With the if c3 hadn't played, you would actually have a Collie, which is kind of the less known sort of adopted brother of the London.
And now it's kind of like a QGD transposed.
Yeah, with the bishop on b7 early, we actually have a Tartakower QGD. But with black not having castled yet, we're going to have a weird little opening system here where we might actually already be seeing
I guess
an opening mistake by Wesley. He's thinking here.
Take on b5 right now. Okay, Queen d7. I thought
95 is coming. Then bishop b5.
Knight takes c3. No, because knight e5 you take on b5 you lose because the knight takes b5 directly.
And now the queen has to move, and we got discovered checks.
But you have this in between move, knight takes c3, attacking the queen. So after knight takes d7, knight takes a4, and it's black who's the one who's going up material.
Yeah, a very, very complicated, tricky trade. Shout out to HB43 who's been showing up to start every show with a donation, and it's like almost like become the calling card of the Speed Chess Championship. So thank you so much for all your support. We've also already had a number of subscribers and fans being here, so thank you so much. And thanks to all of our fans who got involved and voted in the Chess.com official poll survey on the homepage. We can see that by that voting, we have the we have a very clear favorite. Yes, we know that, but we also have the two most popular vote getters here playing in the final matchup. So the storyline can be either Hikaru Nakamura's fan base is broad, no surprise on Chess.com, or the fans got it right when they predicted the poll that started back on Thursday that we would have Wesley So versus Hikaru Nakamura.
Yeah, and neither of us were particularly surprised this happened. We were more surprised about how the result came to be rather than the result itself. And right now, speaking of results, I think the result of the opening is favorable for Wesley So with the black pieces. I generally speaking do not like this pawn structure c3 and d4 with white because look at the c4 square.
Oh, I love that c4 square.
That knight is going to come from c6 to a5. My rook is going to go from a8 to c8, and I'm going to keep your pawn backwards on the c file and then put my knight on c4 to plant it there. So ideally what happens for black is actually we get a knight trade. So knight e5 is now a threat for black. In fact, it can be played
Maybe
for
he
black.
should play. Yeah, I was going to say the knight can't take it because of the queen discovery. So the reason why this works, in fact, Wesley could have played it, is because the queen is undefended. So this move doesn't work unless you're into that. And if the queen moves, there's knight takes f3. Did Wesley just miss that?
I'm not sure, but I'm into
I guess
LA
it's possible
Genie
he didn't think this endgame was that great. What?
I'm into LA Genie gifting 7 subs, so that was
already
very generous. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much. And okay, well, 95 is on the board now. It happened, and if queen takes d7, the knight will have to take back and retreat. That's where we're headed.
Yep.
You take f3 with check, and in fact, Hikaru flashing the duck lips before we're 5 minutes in. So somebody just lost money in Vegas. Didn't take long for those things to appear.
Wesley looks very comfortable though. I mean, we have just like look at now he's drinking something, but we just have his face just right in front of the camera. I wonder if he's really just right up against it, or Hikaru's not looking so comfortable.
Or if he's got like an HD zoom on, right, trying to show us that his complexion is clear. It's like a, I don't know, it's a proactive commercial there for proper acne and skincare.
Yeah, he looks great right now.
He's also looking great on the board, right? Yeah. I mean, because here black is headed to an endgame with a better pawn structure. The transition here, even with the passed c pawn, it's going to be one where black is a little bit better head into the endgame.
Yeah, and black isn't actually threatening to win the pawn on c5. It looks like it because you have more attackers than defenders.
Right.
But you have back rank problems. So
Yep.
you would have to throw in a move like king f8 or pawn to
Right.
g6
Or,
h6.
or start a plan of using what will eventually be maybe your 4-on-3 minority.
Yep.
Majority. You can also be a little more aggressive with the pawn structure on the king side if you want.
Hikaru's also down a minute on the clock. So
Yeah, again,
Wesley
a
doing
rare,
extremely well on the board and on the clock. So
a rare
good start for him.
situation to see. But you and I talked about this after the match yesterday, knowing what we saw between Wesley So and Jan-Krzysztof Duda, and then seeing what happened between Levon and Hikaru. That while Hikaru won the first two blitz portions and then surprised us by actually losing the bullet portion, we did not expect Hikaru to maybe easily win the blitz portions today,
Yeah.
right? Just because I think stylistically, sometimes Wesley and Hikaru are so contrasting that when Levon was all in those attacks and Hikaru could just continue to outcalculate and brilliantly defend, by the way, those games were just awesome yesterday with Aronian. I don't know that we're going to see those types of crazy attacking games that Hikaru really loves here against Wesley. In fact, we already see what's going to be a very technical, very kind of tricky endgame where Wesley's goal is to kind of grind out victories in a different way than what Levon's looking to do in blitz chess.
Yeah, in fact, I think stylistically Hikaru does not match up particularly well against Wesley.
Right.
We've seen that play out in classical chess.
Yeah.
In various tournaments over the years, in the round one of the Sinquefield Cup, I think 2016, Wesley defeated him in the London Chess Classic. Hikaru played quite poorly, but also lost to Wesley, and that more solid setup by Wesley, just in general. He's not always looking for tactics. He's just looking to better his position move by move and outplay Hikaru. And right now he's doing so because that king is jetting from f8 to d6 and then to d5. And there's no way for white to stop that.
Yep. Here it comes. And it's going to be an endgame where white has to come up with the drawing setup now. As you can see, Hikaru taking his time because he's thinking about doing so. Remind you, everybody, of our daily question. We're getting our first interaction on Twitter, so thank you to all of those of you who are providing us with some constructive feedback and criticism and ideas, even just things you'd like to see happen maybe from our older formats like Fisher Random. And so keep getting involved. Use the hashtag SpeedChess, and thanks for doing that. Okay, Hikaru has set up this position with the bishop on e5, but I'm still with you in that, okay, first you deal with the g-pawn, but once this bishop finds an ideal diagonal where it can put pressure on d4, I guess that's the question, is how do you do it? How do you get that bishop on a diagonal where Hikaru's pawn becomes a target?
The first thing you have to consider is bishop f6. Can I trade these bishops
Can
off?
I go into the king and pawn
Because
ending?
the bishop can't move as the d4 pawn's saying, okay, Wesley decided that it's better to not trade the bishops, and he's probably right, but it's something that you always have to consider.
No, but I mean, that's an interesting thing because you have the more active king too, right?
Right.
So this would have been an endgame where probably only black could win, but Wesley maybe thinks it's not going to be a win, so he'd rather keep the flexibility of the bishops because the advantages for Wesley here are numerous in terms of pawn structure. Two pawns that are likely to be permanently stuck on dark squares. The biggest issue Wesley has is that if this bishop activates, you have to worry about things like bishop c7.
Bishop h4 here, I think, might just be great.
So if bishop h4, here comes bishop c7.
And king c6.
So you gain a tempo and save, and I can't get away with this.
And I think I can take you now. I don't know. It's really a move-by-move calculation, but trading into the king and pawn game where my king is far more advanced seems like at least a very decent winning attempt.
Right, but that's what the option was earlier, and Wesley didn't take it. And again, he doesn't take it here. I'm with you. I agree. I mean, clearly I think black would be playing for two results there, but what Hikaru has managed to set up here is kind of instructive for everyone to see that, yes, white is worse in this king and pawn ending for numerous reasons. Black has the better king. Black has more potential weaknesses on the dark squares. But Hikaru has done the one thing that could save it, right? He has a very active bishop that is going to be constantly threatening to hit this b6 pawn. So,
and just something I just thought about, another plan of action for Wesley is to play h4, which seems weird as black to play h4. But the point is I'm going to go g5, f5, and maybe g4 and try to break free a passed pawn on the outside. So
that's an interesting point. That's the other issue with a weakened pawn structure, right, is the potential of something like that. I think an issue when you think of weak pawns, you think of being targets. But the other issue is when a pawn leaves an area of the board behind, sometimes there's other things you can do to take advantage of it.
There it goes. That's
interesting. Maybe he's preparing g5 next move.
But what about f4? Oh, but f4, king e4? But then you have to calculate again, because if you go f4, king e4, then maybe king c4 comes, and
now we're in a race. I mean, Wesley, fortunately, has the time to calculate it, right? It's a situation where he is up on the clock against Hikaru.
Okay, bishop h4 now has to
Bishop h4 looks very strong now.
You force bishop g3 and then bishop f6. He forgot about this.
Yeah, this is tough now for Hikaru. This is tough for sure.
And so you can go bishop c7, but I'm wondering if you either go king c6 back, or you can take on...
Well, king c6 was the line we looked at, because bishop takes f2 would just be a trade otherwise.
Oh, no, but bishop f2, bishop b6, e5.
Ah, very nice. Key point. The pawn is pinned.
But maybe white just goes a5 and says, okay, take that d4 pawn. I don't really care about it.
Take with check, and then I'll...
You have to come to my a pawn.
Yeah. But this would be a crazy race, right? Really, really fun.
I think that actually liquidates into a draw, because the king will have to run back.
Yeah, I'll have to run back, and you'll win d4. Agreed. Okay, that's not what we're seeing.
Okay, so look at this. h4 comes with tempo. He's doing it. He's going to go h4 with tempo and then play g5. Okay, I guess the mover doesn't have to be super precise at this point, but the main point is h4 is coming and then g4 breaking that pass pawn free.
Yeah, shout out to Liquid Egg Product with the 1,000 bits. We appreciate it, buddy. I would say the one difference, though, is Hikaru has achieved something with the more active king position, right?
But
so the defense is...
Oh.
And maybe that allows things like this. Maybe now he can head into the king and pawn ending, because he's no longer having the weaker king.
Wait, bishop takes? Bishop takes, pawn takes h4?
Is it just
or g4 first, actually? No, h4.
Oh, we're going to find out.
Yeah, here it comes.
And here comes the threat of g4. This might actually be...
g4.
He just missed it.
g4 and you queen.
Well, you don't have to take it twice. You can stop the queen in a line like this, but now the king gets active.
Exactly. There it is. And Hikaru missed it. He completely missed it. You see his face?
Yeah.
He's in shock.
Well, as we all know, Hikaru is one of the most entertaining follows on Twitch and entertaining people we've ever had in this format, precisely because he lets his emotions show. Yesterday we had a lot of facial expressions, a lot of fun with Hikaru as he sort of cruised to a victory against Levon Aronian in a surprising way. But if we're seeing reactions like that today because Wesley is setting a different tone, we may get some other Hikaru Nakamura facial expressions that he doesn't want to show.
Yeah, and I think a great thing for Wesley is his mouse speed. Not just in the bullet, but the fact that he just moves quickly. He's a very fast player. He knows his positions quite well. And so being well prepared and feeling confident, as I think Wesley often does, allows him to move as quickly as possible. And I mean, a surprising oversight there by Hikaru. And looks like just so we got some tweets in here.
Yep, we're getting some involvement with the daily question from Chess in Black and White. I love the increment for Blitz, but 1+1 isn't real bullet. 1+0 is the way to go. Interesting. That would certainly change things a lot in regards to how the bullet portion is viewed. And frankly, I think it would make someone who's made the finals 3 years in a row, Hikaru Nakamura, potentially even a favorite, even if someone like Magnus Carlsen competed next year. I expect we'll see tweets like, one thing to change about the SEC is get Magnus back. Obviously, you know that he didn't play this year because he was playing in a tournament in London, and this year the format didn't work for Magnus, but of course the invitation is always there, and we're hopeful and optimistic that Magnus might be back next year. I would insert 12 classical games in before the finals. Classic. I think that's sarcasm from John Brazel, but we do appreciate the humor anyway, and likely not to happen. So.
Well, you appreciate the humor. I appreciate Wesley So's position in this game.
Yeah, he's already better in a second game in a row. And this is going to be a different match. For those of you who, after seeing such a dominant performance to a point where we even saw the bongcloud busted out by Hikaru against Levon Aronian, I'm here to tell you I think today is going to be a very exciting finals what the people pay for. Hikaru is the favorite for a reason, and he was favored statistically, but you can see it on Wesley's face. You can see he's already up on the scoreboard and maybe about to jump out to a 2-0 lead. Hikaru doesn't face two-game deficits very often.
No, not at all. And I think so far, I'm just by looking at his face, I'm reading that he's missing a lot of things. There was B5 move that just happened. Hikaru kind of made some eyes at the move, like, whoa, I really wasn't expecting that. And it's good because it keeps the C pawn stuck in its place. You can't take on B5 because then you drop C7. So right now, Wesley is really ramping up the pressure on the queen side. Rook E3 will come to C3 at some moment to hit that C7 pawn once more. And I'm really liking what Wesley's doing in this match. Okay, knight f4 is an aggressive attempt by Hikaru, hoping to get to the e2 square someday, but the knight on g3 is well
and also maybe hoping to get an attack on the king's side. This is kind of typical in the structure. The issue here for black is the rook and queen are already sort of doing defensive tasks, and white is kind of ahead of that race. Here comes the other rook to c3 in a lot of positions. And I don't know that Hikaru is going to be able to muster up the kind of attack you would want with a couple knights and maybe even a rook battery. But again, I just feel like this is a little too slow given what white already has.
Yeah, and rook d1 actually can force the queens off because if white plays rook d1, you have to keep your queen tied to rook on f7, and you don't want to play queen e7 because then knight f5 comes with the tempo.
OMG, that would be harsh.
It's not fun.
And so Hikaru is going to have to offer the queen trade, perhaps anyway, already anticipating that. But I look at trades and an immediate pressure-packed battery on the c file.
And you look at the e5 pawn, you look at the c7 pawn.
Right.
And actually, after you trade on e6, you have to take with the rook to keep the e5 pawn defended in a very direct sequence. Rook e to c3, as you mentioned. You have to go rook either knight e8 or rook e to e7. And you're getting very passive all of a sudden.
Right.
Then rook c5 happens,
right.
hitting the e5 square.
As you highlighted, black has not just one pawn weakness, the obvious one on c7, but this one over here as well.
I like this move order. Rook c5 first, and now he can play rook c3. Yeah, it's not very pretty for Hikaru's position thus far.
Some questions for those of you just joining us. Thank you for all 10,000 of you that are already here. Let's remind everybody of the prizes on the line just for today's matchup. So some of you asking, what's on the line just right now, right? The Speed Chess Championship format has more than $50,000 in prizes, but just for today, there's $10,000 in cash. So the winner takes home a clean $5,000 for just 3 hours of Blitz. Not that bad.
And
not too shabby.
We should also remind people of the format because, well, it's not just 5-minute segment as we are in now, but
then 3-minute and then 1 minute, right? So that'll happen throughout the day. But the prizes, as you can see, $50,000 in total, but $10,000 just for this single match that you're joining and watching right now. Again, the prize is broken down as $5,000 to the winner, and then the rest of the prize money broken down by win percentage. So not a bad payday coming today. We've got odds, a lot of people, a lot of debate, a lot of discussion about what happened toward the end of yesterday's match, where Hikaru busted out a bongcloud opening. First time ever, maybe an opening like that has been played against a super GM like Aronian. And there we have a bunch of odds as to whether or not that happens. People saying 65% in 1+1. I'm going to challenge that and say I think it's much smaller, especially if this is a matchup where Hikaru needs every single game as the clock ticks down, because I do believe we are in for a closer match today.
It's not happening. It's not.
You're on the record. It's not happening.
I'm on the record because I think Wesley is going to go toe to toe with him. Because the first game was a great performance by Wesley. He got that pass pawn. He won the end game. Here with the white pieces, he's just better. And Hikaru's feeling the pressure. And like I said, stylistically, I think Hikaru struggles a bit with Wesley. And I think Wesley's mouse speed makes up for any sort of pre-match hype.
We did see the Vaughn lose several time scrambles, right?
Yes.
Like he just didn't quite have it to compete with Hikaru. In the push come to shove, where it's how fast is your mouse, right?
Yep.
And Wesley plays a lot more on Chess.com, right? He's a regular commodity, both just playing casually. You can just click on his username right there and bring up his profile. Pro tip, you can also type in any chat on Chess.com/archive username, and you'll get all that person's game. So if you're on Chess.com's live chess server right now, type /archive and either username and see what they do. So yeah, Wesley is a lot more active, right, online than Levon is.
They might be
headed for a peaceful result here, though, and indeed we are. I think Hikaru's got to be happy with that. He kind of questions it with the eye roll there. That might have been a suggestive Hikaru number 13, which is a suspicious look.
Yeah.
And here goes Hikaru back to what he knows. Here goes Hikaru back to what he does best with the some of the facial expressions we caught on camera yesterday. Two of our favorites of the duck lips Hikaru on the left and the what Hikaru on the right. So now he's back. Look at the chessboard here, because he's back to his old tricks of playing openings that he specializes in, frankly, in terms of online blitz and bullet. And this knight f3 b3 system is, I'm betting, something we're going to see numerous times today.
Yeah, thank you, my beloved, for the sub, and also thanks to the Chess Bros for rating the channel. But that, I mean, those faces are just priceless.
Yep.
But Hikaru needs to get something going here. I think he's worse again with the white pieces. It's pretty level in the sense that there are 4 minor pieces, 6 pawns, and 2 rooks aside.
Yep.
But if you just look at the setup here, the bishop on c4 is actually a very vital piece, and it's especially vital because look at this king on e2. If this bishop were removed from the c4 square, and let's say I could get some kind of quick attack on it, or as Wesley might just go for knight b6, this bishop quickly runs out of squares, and if I can get that bishop off the board, there are squares to infiltrate from, like d3, and as I was trying to say before, if after exchanging I can get my bishop on this diagonal, that would be very nice for black. So I think in the early stages here, I slightly prefer black's position. Should be okay for white, but he needs to be careful. Hikaru really needs to make sure that he doesn't lose the thread of this game, as in the first 2 games it's been all Wesley So. And Hikaru still, he's kind of going closer to his computer here.
Yeah, zoomed in. And what is Wesley doing over there? He's maybe a little bit nervous. He's bouncing around in his chair, trying to get comfy.
He's got to plug in the battery to his
Oh, the
laptop.
computer's going to die. Classic. These are real-world problems when you're
Yeah.
playing an online chess championship right there. So, crisis averted, apparently. The laptop now has power. And Wesley back to focusing. Pretty funny.
Yeah, that was pretty good. But okay, A6 exactly.
Yeah.
C5 score is well defended. If you move the knight away from B6, then C5 feels vulnerable. Now B5 is a huge threat.
Yep.
A4 is a move you definitely don't want to play.
But you may have to. It pins the A pawn, so just to show the obvious tactic, B5 runs into a pin emote. But the reason Robert doesn't want this is because the B3 pawn becomes such a future target, such an awkward backward pawn to deal with.
In fact, very directly, knight B6 can be the immediate
Knight B6,
response.
yeah, trying to unload the bishop, which would loosen the defense of the B3 pawn or square. Look at that, an aggressive move by Hikaru. I like that, a much more forceful way. This is Hikaru Nakamura's way of dealing with most issues, right? Brute force and head on.
Yep.
With aggressive chess. So he plays B4. He's going to put the pressure on his opponent to outcalculate him in most games.
And so I guess the question is, where do you put this knight? There's only two squares, E4 and A4. A4 is a sort of strange square because it's not centralized. But at the same time, you're going to play B5 pretty soon, and it's going to be defended on that outpost square.
Yep. Either square is likely going to be met by B5, because even if the knight's on E4, you might want to play the pawn to B5 and get the bishop to B7. So Wesley having to make a big decision early on in this game here, because I think, as you said, this is a knight on the edge, but, okay, if it's protected, it actually pokes maybe at some critical opportunities, and Wesley agrees and goes for that idea.
And the B4 pawn is hanging as well, so it's not so clear-cut. So, for example, B5, it looks like you might get into trouble if your bishop takes A4 and B5 was just played, because bishop A4, pawn takes. Maybe that A pawn is a little weak, but the B4 pawn is also immediately under target, and then the light square bishop will dominate for black in a position like this. So
Right.
Hikaru wisely and calmly plays A3, and so my immediate reaction is, do I play A5? Like, am I in time to do that, or
Right.
is that a little bit too much, and maybe I should develop first with bishop to B7? Okay, he brings his knight back to B6, which I don't particularly love, because now white can develop knight C3 without any major consequence. But
Yeah, I think Hikaru has actually seen the worst of this opening, and that's not a surprise in the sense that the early going, when you play knight f3 and b3, maybe it's not the most aggressive opening, but Hikaru plays these positions so often, he knows it like the back of his hand. And Wesley maybe has a good start as black, but as the game develops on, I think Hikaru knows these middle game tactics, Robert, like better than any other grandmasters that play these.
Yep.
And I think that's why you often see him, it's not a swindle, but kind of, slowly kind of, get jiggy with it over time, work his way into a better position. I'm not exactly sure what this is here that I was doing.
yeah, I didn't know either.
Dad bod shuffle, pretty much patented by this guy. But no, I think that's what Hikaru does best in this system, right? And it's not going to be a battle like we saw necessarily Wesley versus Jan Christoph, though we did see some sideline openings. Actually, we saw more theory yesterday with Nakamura versus Aronian.
Yes.
I mean, it was Italian
They were going back to
headbutting,
that.
right?
Yep.
I don't think we're going to see the same type of games today. I think we're going to see some different, unique systems employed mainly by Hikaru.
Yeah, I think Wesley would be happy to go into his theory and his repertoire, and for Hikaru playing ideas with B3 and things like that, a little more offbeat, allows him to play quicker chess.
Yep.
And look at the clock situation right now. As you said, Hikaru knows these positions pretty much better than anybody.
And that's why he's up on
He's
time.
up, right now, 40 seconds.
And again, he
45.
takes his time. I think that's an accurate move. He doesn't just want to develop this knight because he has to, right? Hikaru's trying to get the long-term winning chances by opening up the A file and maybe having a weakness over here to deal with. So now we'll probably see knight d2 or knight c3, mainly because you want this knight to get to e4 and hit f6. But I guess if the knight develops, black will simply put a bishop to eye that square. Is Hikaru calculating something like this?
Well, bishop b6 I don't think works because knight d3 hitting both rooks at the same time. The a1 rook and the c1 rook. So I think that would be too much to give to Wesley. And so now Wesley's fully developed. I think the worst is also behind him. Just a couple moves ago, I was worried about his setup, and maybe I should still be with some knight b3 to c5 ideas, but I think it's getting better for him. His chances of holding this are definitely improving.
Yep. Shout out to Mannered Monkey. We know how much he loves subscribing to channels.
Except that wasn't Maynard Monkey.
Oh, I know. It's a bit of an inside joke.
Okay.
Shout out. I mean, just thank you so much for the love, Mannered Monkey.
I don't know enough about Maynard Monkey.
Really appreciate it.
To get that joke.
Well, all right. So we're back to this one here, bishop to b7. And okay, maybe f3, just guard g2, and then go back to ideas where you try to use this knight. I mean, you could also say, nah. No, you wouldn't say nah. No,
Okay.
nah. Yeah, I had apparently getting jiggy with it on the mind. But no, I don't think you would give up the g-pawn. I was quickly calculating, could I actually do that and try to use that for some counterplay? But I don't think so.
Yeah, because the black knight can always drop back to g6 and just close down the file
Yeah.
if necessary.
But now Hikaru taking his time here, so unlike what we saw earlier, he's now down on the clock, just as what we did see in game one. Surprised he took so long to play that move f3, but maybe he was calculating ideas where he could be more aggressive.
Yeah, very strange. I mean, he spent a lot of time there. He's down now by 30 seconds. I was really praising him because he was up so much time.
But not
and now,
anymore, yeah.
Yeah, but okay, White's plan isn't too difficult. Knight b3 is still a very good-looking move. Throw that knight to a5 or c5.
I like
and it's
that.
a space grab. And you're trying to claim that the pawn a6 is weaker than the pawn on b4 because there are no targets on the king side, right? All 4 pawns for both sides are hard to get to.
Yep.
So it's really what's going to happen on the queen side. And so knight b3 coming next. I think Wesley, h3. Maybe he's trying to go f4 and on the king side, but I really just thought knight b3 made sense. So if I'm Wesley, maybe I play bishop d5. Whoa. Okay.
g5.
Yeah.
So you're kind of slowing down the pawn structure, but I think you really just want to free your back rank and threaten the move king g7. But Hikaru immediately going to try to punish what g5 just did, which is leave this bishop undefended on f6. The main point is a simple trade is just clearly much better for White. White now has the bishop pair and targets to go with it. Whoa.
He's got it.
He's going for it, but this has got to be great for Hikaru.
Yeah, it definitely is a big advantage for White now, and Hikaru...
Well, yeah, so g5 definitely a regrettable decision by Wesley. And it may be one that ultimately levels the match here because Hikaru is playing for 2 results here.
Well, the one thing I do like about Wesley, what Wesley just did is after he made this bad move, what I consider bad move g5, he played the follow-up quickly, and he needs to keep going. Right?
Yep.
You can't start getting down to 20 seconds. Look, knight d7 played quite quickly. He's doing everything fast.
He's doing everything fast, and again, that's the right. He's got his head, I think, in the right place. Right.
Yep.
He brought his kind of pregame knowledge. I can't afford to get down against Hikaru on a consistent basis. But I still don't think this is an easy draw, especially when you look at the fact that White has the dark squares, the bishop pair with pawns on both sides of the board. And this is a Hikaru specialty. Here comes moves like h4, prying open the dark squares and he does it. I agree. Hikaru is going to be pressing here as both sides get under time pressure.
Yep, but I still like, and I completely agree with you, White is better. White can press on both sides of the board, but I like that Wesley continues to play quickly.
Yeah.
He's in a bullet game in a worse position, and oftentimes when you're in that situation, you just have to play as quickly as possible. Of course, you're playing well still. And look at this move, e5. Dangerously when bishop b5 comes.
I was going to say, and f7 has now been opened as a target.
But bishop c4 is going to stop
very nice move. Yeah, bishop c4, bishop a4, I'm thinking Hikaru will play. He takes it. I thought he played bishop a4 because undermining the knight would hit e5. So but he has a tactic.
Well, you can take it. I think you can take it. Because you have knight c5 check afterwards. Rook takes b4, bishop a3, knight c5 check.
Oh my gosh.
There it is.
In fact, he sees it. Maybe Hikaru miscalculated
and now
this.
rook c4. You can't get to my knight.
Rook c4 and rook b5.
Either one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, a trick from Hikaru is not going to pay off, and probably we are going to see a peaceful result, which is a very, very nice hold by Wesley. Right? Okay, Hikaru not giving up on trying to win yet, though, and again, I think that's the right practical approach. Hikaru can't ever kind of say, all right, you've defended, and the X's and O's say this is a draw, it's a draw. Hikaru needs to get these games under mutual time pressure and show why he's the online Blitz and Bullet King.
And now he's up.
And now he's up on time. This is how Hikaru's going to win a lot of games in this match. Regardless of the X's and O's, he's going to create this mutual time scramble.
But Wesley is quick. I really like the fact. Okay, rook d4. I don't like that move. He should just went rook a4 right away.
Bishop b4. I mean, this is like Wesley's going to have to keep playing great moves under time pressure.
He put himself in a pass. Okay, there we go. Finally, rook on a better square.
Right.
He's to keep both pawns protected. White can't actually easily make progress here, as the one really good thing is the knight is so dominated by this bishop on a3.
I think White just missed rook e8 check, winning on the spot, and Hikaru's shaking his head.
Yep.
Look at that move. After king e6, Hikaru was winning in one move with rook e8 and rook e7, and he missed it.
Yeah.
Huge blunder by Hikaru, and he shook his head, but it may not matter. I think he's going to go on to win this game no matter what.
Yeah, what it was he's trying to do is sacrifice his knight for those 2 pawns, but I don't think he's going to get the opportunity now.
Yeah.
The bishop will go to d6, and the king will go to d5.
Run. Here comes a mating net.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Check. Wait. Rook A8 check. You have to go E6
E6
first.
also. Now the threat is Rook A8. Check Alina Lashlamba.
Wait, what? Checking for a while here. Knight C4.
Ooh, Knight C4.
No, King of 6.
King of 6, and he's fine. Wait,
Oh,
Hikaru almost blunders. He shakes his head, and Wesley just resigns because despite the blunder, he's still losing. But again, and I wasn't trying to paint say the writing is on the wall, but I do believe that as we were analyzing that, we were in X's and O's mode, and you kept talking about yes, he's holding, and I'm just looking at the fact that this is exactly what Hikaru wants.
Yeah.
The mutual time pressure that was created there. I'm no longer totally evaluating whether Wesley played the correct defense, because under time pressure, you're going to have to continue to find moves. Hikaru is not going to take on c5 after Wesley found this rook before knight c5, right? He's going to keep creating opportunities for you to blunder under time pressure.
Yeah,
so.
objectively, this should have been holdable, but you're right. Time trouble is the worst nightmare for anyone playing Hikaru Nakamura.
Yep.
He had the bishop, and the bishop is just controlling the knight in that endgame. So right now, Wesley going back to the Italian game, Hikaru needs to find something because I didn't like his position.
He was already defending very early on. So he played a lot of Italian against Lev, though, so maybe he feels like that's where he needs to live, given that it was successful yesterday. But So taking a different approach. I mean, Lev was all in with the bishop g5 variations, right? And all the attacking chances on the king side, the sacrifices. Wesley has a much more positional approach here.
Yeah, he doesn't want to get into those tactics, and I think it's a good strategy against Hikaru. We saw how great he attacks yesterday, and we've seen it many, many times. Taking just the slower approach, I'm going to gain space. I can play d5, treat my bishop, and then play on the king side, right? Once you deal with things in the center and on the queen side, you can then go and have a free play over the side.
Yeah. And yeah, as you said, it's just you're slow jamming this one to have the free play long term versus the much more aggressive, much more direct lines that Lev was playing for. But Hikaru, okay, playing quickly as well here. So he knows his Italian, just like Wesley does. Time about even.
Whoa, okay.
Interesting move c5.
I hate moves like that.
Yeah, I mean, this gives you, it makes you kind of squeal and throw up a little bit in the back of your throat. But sometimes in Blitz and Bullet, you can get away with positional disasters of a move. The reason we hate that is because d6 becomes weak, the light squares become weak. It's like, what? You can't play that way in chess. But, Black is trying to create a lot of open dynamic tactics here, I think.
Yeah, trying to open up the position and say, it's not fun to sit passively, right? When you don't have concrete plans. And we saw Fabiano Caruana talk about in the World Chess Championship, and it's magnified in Blitz chess when you just do not have the time to come up with anything. So you're just like, let's just trade a few pieces. We always say the side with the less space wants fewer pieces on the board, so they're not restricting each other. But look at this rook e3, rook left, heading right to g3.
And potentially d3 in some
yeah.
positions, right? So you've got both the g7 pawn and the d6 pawn that you can spy with this rook on the elevator.
And you might play f4 followed by e5 as well, with full force behind.
No, and I agree with you, even though we kind of said that's what Hikaru wants, dynamic open play. I think our instincts as decent chess players that we are, not as strong as these guys, but I think our instincts are still correct that c5 is a very positionally dubious move by Hikaru. I mean, if you look at this position, it's like, yuck. I mean, white is definitely a little better objectively, but will the open kind of dynamic that Hikaru has created here, he's got pressure, he's got a b2 pawn, he's also got some dance moves, he's bobbing his head over there.
I would consider rook f3 here in the exchange sacrifice.
Oh, I'd love that.
Rook f3 trying to take on f6 and put my knight on d5.
Yep.
So, actually, it looks like a very good move.
Rook f3 looks good. I also think that rook d3 and just kind of preparing the discovery against the d6 pawn is just going to be a headache. I also like rook g3. Okay, sorry, I like a lot of rook moves, and apparently he doesn't like any of them.
Yeah, I think he was probably worried about rook c4 at some point. Okay, rook g3 was a very direct threat, but rook c4 is coming anyway.
Right.
So he's sitting calmly, saying that once my knight moves, I won't do it yet because e4 falls, but once my knight moves, d6 is a big problem.
Yep.
And I might play f3, move my knight.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the ideal setup...
Overprotect this pawn just so that you don't have to worry about black's pressure anymore.
Right, and the ideal setup is to put that knight on d4 on either e3 or f4 and just throw it on the d5 square. Right, that's the really nice thing. The pawn d6 is weak and it's backward, and it cannot be pushed.
Yep.
And maybe he's going to push it now because I said that.
Well, I think tactically that would be what Hikaru was looking for, and he doesn't after that little think, but queen c5 might be preparing just that. So, and Robert's instincts are likely correct because obviously these guys know that once they have a weakness like this, it's not their favorite thing to just sit with it. But queen c5 prepares two other things, Robert. It prepares b5 and the queen sliding over here to the king side in some positions.
Yeah, and to meet b5. That's why a3 is played. So you can go knight c2 to b4. Right. This becomes an outpost, a very weird one, but there's nothing to attack it. So bishop c6 hitting d5.
I think we'll see f3 now, but the problem
Knight
with
f5
f3
is
is as
also
soon
a
as it
possibility.
happens, as soon as f3 happens, you lose the rook to g3. So maybe you're right. Maybe we'll get the all-in attacking approach rather than the calm. No. Okay, Wesley likes the positional approach. Doesn't want to make it too messy here.
Well, when you have a better position with more space and a clear weakness, it does make sense.
Yep.
And look at this. There it goes. Knight goes
Knight
c2.
c2,
Now
knight
knight
b4.
e3 is a big threat because you're
Both knight e3 and your idea that you highlighted before. This is actually a very nice square because even though it looks weird as you said, it heads for a bigger picture goal on d5 at some point.
Right.
Where you have a very dominant knight in the center.
The rook's just trapped in c4 too. I mean, just not a good piece.
Yeah, no, you're right. This is a concrete threat. Like, hey, what are you doing over here? Did you come too far, buddy? Time to go home. Mom's calling. Dinner's ready. Get off of c4, yeah.
Queen e5 check.
Queen e5 check creates that opportunity to get that rook home for dinner.
Provoking f4 to weaken the e4 square, but I think Wesley will just retreat his king.
Yeah, again, no, so we've been waiting for that, and maybe now he sees a tactic.
d6 is just hanging as well. So.
Right? d6 is hanging,
e5
and e5 might win a piece. Okay, we got to calculate, but I think that we've been seeing Wesley take this sort of very positional, I'd rather massage my advantage home approach. I think that's the right practical one against Hikaru, but when you're given a concrete opportunity to win material, nobody wants to walk away from that.
Yeah, and Hikaru looks very displeased right now.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, knight e3 still traps that rook in many lines as well. So it's okay. This e4 pawn is hanging, so you can't do it just yet. But what happens after queen h5?
Queen h5 threatens knight g4 in some positions. Pawn is pinned.
But I guess you can just take on d6. Just a
yeah, it's just a pawn, and like, what's up, right? So Hikaru goes to c5, but Wesley takes it anyway, and probably e5 follows. Looks like a very clean, straightforward play here for White now.
Yep.
Wesley feeling very good about what he's gotten out of the Italian early in this match.
So rook takes d5, bishop takes d5, knight e3. No, it doesn't quite work. Or does it? Now it's like sort of concrete calculations here, because you don't want to go knight takes d5 because rook takes c2.
Right, with a little intermezzo. But there may be some tactic here. I mean, like queen. No, bishop.
Take it.
Yeah, okay. Bishop takes. So Hikaru kind of bobbing his head. Maybe he feels like he did swindle his way out of losing that d6 pawn. So but okay, there's other moves here for White. Can knight e3 be played to just force the trade? Yeah. Because the point of knight e3 is if you try to take here, I take here in between move. So I wonder if Wesley's calculating whether knight e3 is a clean way to get out of it. But is this an idea? And this has just become quite a mess. Quite a mess. You don't normally see the rook sort of, normally the rook is back here, right? The rook is accelerated ahead of the minor pieces, and
f4 is
things
hanging.
are getting awkward.
Yeah. There's a lot to calculate here. Wesley still has enough time, and especially because I think his position is still good objectively.
Yeah.
Whoa,
rook e4.
Okay.
Hikaru's zoned in now. Those are the death stare eyes.
Oh, he respects that move, though. That's the head nod of respect.
That's like, okay, maybe I missed this, and quick calculation tells me you did good. You did good, kid. And now I gotta calculate. We've gone full Hikaru faces today. Oh man, I don't even know where to go with it. But you should go to twitch.tv/GMHikaru and give him a follow, because he is a rising star. Really the first Super Grandmaster to be actively engaged with you, the Twitch community.
And rook takes c3. He's
that's
giving up the
that's
exchange.
a sacrifice that may also have been desperate. I know it's a shocking one because we didn't see it coming. But he's still probably worse here if Wesley finds the right moves.
Yeah.
But what are those right moves?
That's a great question. I'm trying to.
Rook takes c. No, if you give back the exchange right away, it's probably not ideal. But if you move the rook, here comes knight e4, right? Yeah, and he does it.
It has to take on e4, I guess, but I don't.
Take on e4 and then knight b4 anyway. White is still better, right? Take on e4 and then the knight comes into either b4 or d4. But that bishop is really irritating. Classic Hikaru, and look at who's up on the clock.
I was going to say, he also can do this and play like queen d4, same idea, hitting the knight, and trying to claim that because the pawn's on a4, it's actually a weakness rather than a strength in an endgame.
Yep. And that might be the simplification Wesley needed to just make sure he didn't blunder under time pressure. But I will say right now, Hikaru seems to have kind of worked his way out of that complex middle game. I don't think he's clearly worse anymore.
Yeah, he's going to protect his pawn. He can also often trade into trade all the queenside pawns and go to 4-on-3 and make a draw that way.
Should be able to draw.
But that's not fun to do in a blitz game.
In fact, they just agreed to a draw. So quality chess there from both players. Wesley saying, I'm not even going to try to push this endgame on.
Yep.
Time for those draw emotes to be shown by all 14,000 of you with us, whether you're at Chess.com TV. I think you also have draw emotes at Chess TV or Twitch TV/chess. Thanks for being here. And this is the Speed Chess Championship Finals. This is it. This is the last major match of the year, right? We had a match in London. You and I have been covering for a month.
Yep.
We've had a couple matches these last few days in the semifinals. But this is, I mean, if you're talking about match, there's one other really big tournament, maybe two, to bring the calendar year to a close. We have the London Chess Classic, and if FIDE ever gets their act together, maybe a World Rapid and Blitz, who knows. But this is the biggest event really remaining on the calendar, so thanks for being with us. That's the format. Those are the prizes at stake, and we appreciate everybody who's here.
Yep. And what I don't appreciate, though, is king on e2 again. And I know it's sort of in the spirit of the position, right? No queens are on the board.
It's also not the bongcloud. So
it's certainly not the bongcloud.
Got to give him that.
The delayed bongcloud?
The delayed bongcloud.
That's the new opening name. Bongcloud delayed.
Yep.
But, I mean, this bishop on c4 is just getting taken. And with your king on e2, all the light squares around it feel very vulnerable. Not that the light squares would be any better if the king weren't on e2.
Yeah. But you're right. But, okay, I'll play devil's advocate to that. The point is, as you said, the light squares are going to be weak no matter what when this bishop is traded, Robert. So maybe the king is trying to help that cause of defending by already proactively guarding the d3 square. We see Wesley kind of eyeing that, right? Yep. Potential square for a knight. So maybe, I agree, it feels very flimsy for white. And if this bishop comes off for either of these knights, you just start looking at light squares, you start seeing diagonals, and you got nightmares, and so this could get bad. Nightmares and bishop mares, and
A6.
Freddy Krueger's there, but he's like a nice Freddy Krueger in the version of the stream. Like, it's just real weird.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know if Freddy Krueger ever was nice, but...
Well, that's why I said it was a weird version of the dream, right? We got nightmares and bishop mares and a happy Freddy Krueger.
Oh, my.
All right, nice change of pace here. Our producer trying to get us back on track. The daily question. Nice way to spend a cold, blustery Sunday. So this isn't even necessarily an answer to our daily question, which is what would you do to improve the format? But we've got someone showing us how they're tuning in and watching. Very well-balanced Christmas tree, if I might say. I take my Christmas tree decorating very seriously. Very nicely lit. I'm going to guess that's a fake tree because the lights are so balanced. And because a lot of the fake trees these days come with the lights pre-wired. So, but anyway, good work there from LJ Nielsen.
And good work by Wesley So to be up on the clock and have a better position. Well, maybe not so much so better. I'm speaking a little too quickly, but I just really am not a fan of Hikaru's setups thus far with the white pieces.
Yep.
And especially now you give up your dark square bishop. That bishop's coming to a3 or to b4 and disrupting white's setup. Okay, so a3 now threatens b4. That's not even
work.
The biggest threat because the knight can take on c4 after.
And again, this bishop, I feel like his fate has been sealed, but the longer Wesley doesn't... Okay, now he takes it. I was going to say, the longer you don't take it, white was actually threatening to retreat that bishop to safety finally because the knight had guarded b3. So, okay, now black has the bishop pair and a small edge, but is it going to be enough? I like bishop b5 so that I might threaten f6 coming, and so does Wesley.
And you also want to go a4, so that's why white went a4, because black could actually play for an undermine.
I was going to say, I can keep the bishop, though, because there's no real threats on the c6 square. Hikaru backs up. No, wait, yes, you can keep the bishop, because note that b6 is not hanging due to the pin on d3.
Yep. So at any moment, b5 is a
threat for black,
move.
Perhaps.
Perhaps now is the time to do it.
It feels like, why help clarify it for white, though? If you open the A file, to me it feels like you're getting closer to equality. Okay, well, Wesley agrees with you.
And my shook his head.
Yeah, I don't know that I agree, because if takes, I feel like if white can clarify things and ultimately trade the A for the B pawn, now everybody's back to one side of the board, and I feel like Wesley's edge might be slipping.
I actually have a different view on that point, because I think that without pushing forward on the queen side, you wouldn't actually
don't have enough
there.
Okay.
And so now the pawn on b3 is a target that you can try to...
And you make a good point. White can't just take here because we're constantly dealing with this knight on d3, or even the king behind it, right?
Right.
Just as much of a problem.
And so a4 is always going to be a possibility. Perhaps it might be too soon, but a4 feels like a move just because the knights are not very good against the bishops here. After pawn takes a4, bishop takes a4, my bishop can always retreat to the b5 square and are pinning these knights. And knights are tricky when defending each other because the knight can't go to e5, you'll go f6 to kick a knight out. If it goes to b2, you're in a very passive position. I really like Wesley's position right now.
Okay, but I guess again I'm playing devil's advocate based on the fact that I liked it before and felt like maybe I had long-term chances against the weak pawns, and if I don't get tactics with the bishop pair structurally, I now have nothing. We're just 4-on-4 on the king side and a bunch of happy neighbors.
But what are you gonna do with your knights? That's the essential
I don't know.
question.
Can I trade rooks and then move it?
Yeah, but
So
generally speaking, knights like an outpost, right? They need somewhere where they feel safe.
right, I guess I'm looking at ideas where I trade and move and
And then
where's
I
the
go
beef?
f6
Okay.
and rook.
Now I'm headed here. Maybe.
Yeah, I'll go rook a3. I'm just gonna keep you pinned at every moment,
Right.
right? It's,
I agree, but I feel like how do you win?
I just go bishop a6.
Okay, and
I'm just gonna keep pressuring you until you kind of collapse. Bishop b4.
Okay.
This kind of position is.
You want to beat me with tactics, you dirty man.
Okay. You got a tactic first.
That might not work.
Maybe.
Okay, I hear you. I mean, I'm not neither. We're not really disagreeing. I think the argument's fun for everybody. It helps them feel like there are issues and tension in our marriage,
now
which is a very happy marriage.
Well, now it's just awful because 2 rooks are on the board. You're losing the c4 knight, and
I noticed how you ignored my relationship question. Okay. Okay, well, you ended up being right. Hikaru didn't figure out the tactics enough, and in fact, now it looks like he's just losing a piece.
e5.
E5 comes, forcing f3. He's trying to. That's the Hikaru I'm trying to figure out where I went wrong. That's actually Hikaru number 14, which is not a good Hikaru because it means he's living in the past. So that's the eye roll back to number 11. That's okay. He's calculating, but
He also seems to have a little bit of a cough.
he seems to be a little cold. He was wearing very warm clothes yesterday, if I can speak. So maybe he's a little cold. He keeps blowing on his hand, trying to maybe warm his fingers up.
And it's just his pieces can't move. Just king g7 here. Like White just has to shuffle back and forth.
Yeah. King's gonna come to e7, I guess.
And at any moment you can even take on d3. Well, not anymore. At the right moment to go into a winning king and pawn endgame. You have to time that correctly.
Yep.
But I thought he was gonna go king g7, king h6, king h5, and run that way. All right, now you have to be a little bit careful. Because knight b2 at least allows.
He trades into the king and pawn ending, but is it enough?
I believe it is.
He's gonna get the passed e pawn, and it probably is.
Yeah.
The passed pawn is usually good enough to win, especially when you're up a pawn in a king and pawn ending. So e5 is coming, which will either happen with e4, and then the white king is simply stuck to those squares. If we're just providing instruction for all those wondering why we saw resigns. Too late. Next game's on.
No instruction for you.
No instruction for you. I just totally fooled you. You thought you were going to learn something. No. Shout out to everybody that's with us. We have 45 minutes roughly here left in the first portion, and we have a lead for the man who was the underdog, according to, I think, both the human and statistical predictions, right?
Yep.
If you were here early, you saw our pregame talk. The stats had Hikaru at about a 66 to 34% favorite, something like that, maybe 67 to 33. And I think that's how most humans would see it.
Yeah.
Right. It seemed like more fair. I mean, the smarter chess stats take a lot of heat, but I think in this case, most people tend to agree with them. But when you look at the roads that these two took to get there, you see Wesley getting better with every match, right, Robert? He beat Wei Yi, then he beat Duda, right? Then he beat Vidit, then he really beat Duda, and so Wesley ready for this, and right now he's got the lead.
Yeah, and actually what I really appreciate from the perspective of if Wesley's going to win this match is that he won the first game.
Yep.
He went ahead, then Hikaru tied it up, and now he's took the lead again, right? Some people, when they lose their lead, they really start tilting and collapsing. Yep. Wesley So's not like that. The only time he tilts is when he goes to eat a bagel, right? His head goes to the side.
Or sipping, if you're tilting back.
Yeah.
Sipping something. We did see him drinking orange juice earlier. I agree, and I think he's not going to be somebody who beats himself, and so Hikaru's going to have to take this one, right? It's not going to be handed to him.
And I already like Wesley's position once
Again,
more.
I think this Italian has not worked out for Hikaru in the early going, and we saw him do it so successfully with Black against Levon. But remember, for those of you who are the real hardcore SCC fans, you know that the Italians we were seeing yesterday were different in the approach, that Levon was playing aggressively for the early development of the dark square bishop, which led to all those, both we had sacrifices and a lot of crazy positions on the king side. Wesley, if you just look at the live position, a much more positional, a much slower approach. He's consistently had batteries on the C file, Robert, right? He's got an open file here, and here, again, we have to like White's slight advantage.
Yeah, and if you look at the position, Black is missing an F pawn and White is missing a C pawn. But Black's queenside can't move so easily, whereas if white gets that kingside going, it's going to be a big problem for
Right.
that black king.
You'd love to just do something like this,
Oh, yeah.
but
And
those Chess.com bugs.
and then knight on h7 looks terrible because it has no future.
Yep.
And so with the queen coming to d3, you're just going to start focusing on the king side, and you have to always watch out. Maybe there'll be some tactics with bishop takes h6 at the right moment if the black
with
queen.
queen g6 check coming.
Yeah. Just you have to be very, very careful for Hikaru not to just be losing on the spot. Let's see. Maybe knight h2 to g4 is another idea. So many ideas possible. Knight h4 to g6 just to gain more space.
You're just doing that because you know I love highlighting knight moves.
Yeah, well, it's
I
also
love you
just
for that. Thank you
good
for that
options.
cue. That's a Christmas gift.
And here comes f4, f5, by the way. If you wanna highlight
F4,
some
F5 is coming. That's
Knight
right.
g6 to start, and then here comes the f pawn.
Yeah, you probably trade the knight because the knight's a better defender here, or do you get rid of the Stark Square bishop in the future to not have weaknesses that the bishop can target?
I think
Even
I take
this
the
pawn.
bishop, just because if I take the knight, I feel like the rook will take back, and maybe you can control the f file a little better.
Yeah, I was thinking more of an attack, right? I
Right.
was thinking if I get rid of this guy and I do manage f4, f5, the knight is such a useful defender on the king. But okay, Wesley agrees with you. He gets rid of the bishop, and the truth is f4 and f5 is coming fast anyway, and now the dark square bishop really doesn't have a challenger, right?
And that's important. So if you go f4, g6, you could probably still go f5 and
Yeah,
just
sack
sacrifice
it.
the f pawn for the h pawn.
Brute force.
Whoa, what is queen g6? That can't be.
f5 is coming anyway, isn't it?
It feels so inviting.
Wesley kind of
Was it?
he
what?
had the lean back position, but he
But he didn't do the rockaway.
no, he didn't do the rockaway. Instead, he sat up and pulled up his pants, as Big Pun would say. Right?
Yeah, but why queen f3? Why the? Sometimes the slow approach is not the right approach. I like how Wesley's been playing. But
Yeah.
in some critical moments where you have to punch through,
Yeah.
he's being a little
I
bit
agree.
too
It
tame.
seemed like f5 was ready.
Yeah,
It was ready, and he didn't take it.
and
Yeah.
maybe it's coming anyway, and I'm just gonna eat my words. But somehow knight b5 or knight c6 hitting the d4 square, like knight c6 to e7, right? Okay, I actually don't like knight b5.
Well, I think he's going to hit both these pawns now, and I was thinking we might see it because the counter argument there is who's better, the knight or the bishop? At least I've gotten this bishop off of this dangerous diagonal, right?
Yeah, but I thought knight c6 would go to e7 very quickly to stop f5. I thought f5 was just such a valuable move for white to play that now we're just
and you may be right. I mean, obviously Wesley got it, and if it works out,
does he take d5 or f5? That's the question.
that's what he's calculating.
Oh, there's d5.
So, wow, we have I called someone out. Dude, the tree is fake, but I spent like an hour putting those lights on. Haha. It's not decorated yet, though. Had to stop to watch the chess. Okay, great. So I was half right. The tree is fake, but the lights were done manually. So touche, LJ Nielsen, you win this round. All right. Now, Wesley takes a sip of the OJ. He did manage to take the d5 pawn, as you said, Robert. And now actually this Eddie the Eagle, like in his future as a lady named Ellen over there.
You mentioned Smarter Chess before.
Yeah.
Smarter Chess messaged me. Wesley has won all 5 of the 3+1 time segments before, including his win over Magnus, as you mentioned. So
Yeah.
this is why Hikaru needs to do well in the 5-minute segment.
Well,
because
he didn't beat Magnus. He lost to Magnus.
no, he beat Magnus in that segment.
Okay, yes. When you said including his win over Magnus, I thought you were saying the
Sorry, I was talking specifically about the
Yes.
3-minute portion. So
Yeah.
look, I'm just sipping the juice.
He's
Wesley
sipping
knows.
the juice, but did he just make a horrible trade by giving up g3 for
Wait.
the other knight?
Wait, what just happened here?
Well, he took d5, and I was touting him because I loved the potential of, like I said, Eddie going for e8, but queen back to a2 gave up the knight, and this trade looks like it may haunt Wesley because Hikaru kind of turning the tables here.
Although that bishop on b2 does look like a great piece. But I agree with you that Hikaru has seen the worst pass him by, but he may see a second storm come if an attacking brew up with that bishop on b2. That's a great diagonal for that piece. The rook takes d7 is surely what Hikaru is calculating. I didn't think it panned out because the queen would infiltrate via e6. Yeah, I like this queen on a g3. That's really...
and I like Hikaru's discipline, as you said, not taking right away to allow queen e6. He's going to try to take this pawn slowly. Now he's probably going to take his time to defend f5 here. No reason to trade off d7 for f5. Yep, knight back to d6, and heads into e4.
Yikes.
And that's a square that nobody wants a knight on if you're playing white.
Yeah, that's looking
You
difficult.
can't do it right away because rook takes f5, so maybe you just take on d7 here first.
Then knight 4 is really threatening.
Yeah, so he takes with this rook because, as Robert said, now this knight prepares moves like rook d2.
So knight e4 is a good move then.
Well, is it? Rook takes f5, rook d2, I can take e4, and I guard g2.
Oh, that's a problem.
So he
But queen e3 check first. So actually, there was tactically that was good for black,
mm.
but looks like both of them missed it. And that's why queen b3 was played, which
Yeah, let's just show that for the fans.
a check on e3.
Check
first.
on e3 first, and then your idea. Okay, cool. So yeah, so potentially Hikaru missing a more forceful way to break through, but still massaging an edge here, because if white takes on b3, this pawn, oops, that's no good there.
Make enough jokes about
That's no good there. I don't know what happened with that. I was making a queen move while Hikaru was wrestling me or Wesley was wrestling me for the queen to go here, and there you go. A takes b3, and this knight would have come to c4. So that didn't happen. Instead, we had queen takes c6.
And knight e4 still works. Knight e4, rook takes f5 here. There's still queen e3 check. So you have to be very careful for Wesley because your king is not very safe. And the point is after queen e3 check, I protect my knight. And here, I think this is exactly what's coming on the board. And after king h2, you can go rook d2 exactly. And the big threat is not just the bishop on b2, but queen g3 check takes on g2. So this is going to be a win for Hikaru with the black pieces. Wesley had an extremely good position. I would be a little bit frustrated if I were him. And I also know what it's like to have good positions against super grandmasters and then just lose them in pretty heartbreaking fashion. So this one is going to be all Hikaru. I think Wesley will just resign here. Maybe he'll play bishop e5 and hope that it works out. But
Yeah, hope for rook takes g2 not to work.
yeah,
Because that's what I want.
Yeah, of course you want to sacrifice it.
Why not?
And it works.
I think it does work.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. And,
You like second guess yourself.
There's a little bit of puzzle rush in me right now. I admit I'm a bit of an addict. But hey, that looks like something that should lead to victory.
So is that queen e2? Is there some problem with the g7 score somehow?
Well, Hikaru.
Wait,
but-
what's that?
Hikaru was shaking his head because I'm pretty sure rook takes g2 was winning and he was unhappy. But then Wesley goes back to rook g3 to try to hit g7.
Oh, I think Wesley missed a move. The game's gone, but I think Wesley missed a saving opportunity there. So
yeah,
we'll
I can
keep in
pull.
mind,
I can always pull up the game.
We'll have to keep in mind game 6 because I think that there was a chance that he could have survived there.
Pretty easy to pull up a game.
I have faith in you. But now we see an
If we want to, we got 5-minute portion. It's our opportunity to look at things like this. So what was the move?
Yeah, I thought here it said rook 1 to f2 maybe, and after knight takes f2, maybe rook g3. You're hitting g7, threatening queen g6 check. I think that's actually
That may have been saving the game.
yeah.
But I think Hikaru, as he was shaking his head because I think he missed rook takes g2, perhaps. But okay, all right. Back to the game. We'll find out later. But we have a new approach here from Hikaru. We haven't seen mainline e4 by him yet. We've seen knight f3 and b3 and all kinds of other stuff.
Knight g6 coming. Okay, or not. He doesn't mind the capture on d6, saying if f4, I'll take.
Yep.
Not the biggest deal in the world. But generally speaking, when these double pawns are on f3, f2, you don't want to allow f4 to happen. So you wanted to play knight g6 and follow that up
to
with
stop
f5.
that. Yeah, instead of castles back here, this is Robert's point. You got to use your positional edge while you have it, and make it difficult at least for white to fix the structure. White can play for c3 and d4, and it's still roughly equal. But I agree. I mean, now Hikaru looks to be comfortable. And sorry, we were distracted about all the missed wins, but if we talk about last game, Hikaru just won and leveled it up, right?
Yeah.
So Wesley, as you said, has won all the 5-minute portions, including the matchup that he lost last year to Magnus Carlsen. But okay, I mean, Hikaru is maintaining pace with Wesley, and if the time controls get faster, and that proves well for Hikaru, then he may have done his hardest work here in the 90 minutes of 5-minute chess.
Yeah, and Ship the Cheese made a great point about what Hikaru's openings have been.
Yeah.
Every game with white, there's been an early queen trade.
Interesting.
Yeah, something that we've noticed, but we, I guess, didn't put the concept together. But yeah,
Yep.
with a lot of these b3 openings, he's been trading the queens. He put his king on e2. Now the queens are gone early in this exchange Spanish. So
I don't know that that's favoring him. Here, I think Wesley has equalized pretty quickly here. Again, I think we're... I don't know that Hikaru has gotten a lot with the white pieces so far.
I don't think he has. And he just did not seem to like Wesley's move there.
Yeah,
So I think it's a perfectly fine move.
it's an aggressive move for black. I mean, I think maybe black could also have just sat tight. This is a more committal move, and not Robert, Hikaru's going to try to take advantage of it, playing e5, trying to open up.
Bishop needs open space, right?
Yep.
So if you can't go f5 because e6 check comes in and then pain. So instead, this line makes much more sense, and I can come to g6 very near future. I don't have any problem with Wesley's position whatsoever. You have opened up the bishop, but you also have created weaknesses f3 and h3, right? Two isolated pawns. Here at f4, I'd go, I think knight g6, but maybe.
Shout out to Andreas fan 987 who just gifted a diamond membership over in the Chess TV game chat to Wow You Are Weak. So that's an interesting username to give it to. But we like to shout out the gifted subs on Twitch. Kind of a big part of the community there, but shout out there to the holiday gift of a diamond membership there from Andreas. All right. Here comes the rook to e6 and then f5 maybe. h6 falls.
Rook e6 will take on f4, I guess.
We're just going to trade then?
Yeah. Happy to trade.
Happy to trade? You would be happy to trade.
Just trying to hold on. What I've got.
Love is lovin'. What you got?
What?
I said, should I remember that?
Remember what?
Lovin'. Is it what you got?
Oh, we're singing different songs.
Oh, I was thinking Sublime.
Kind of rocking to a different tune right now. We're
You know
not
what? That's been all day. We have
Yeah.
not been quite simpatico today.
I think you're upset this is our final day.
It is our final
commentating
day.
again.
You're going home after this.
Yeah. You okay?
That's why I went out of my way to make sure you got your nice breakfast.
You okay?
Yogurt parfait. I'm doing okay. I'm
Okay.
doing okay. I'm gonna.
You can cry. It's okay.
It may happen. It may happen, but not on camera.
Yeah, you're just making me sad by you being sad.
All right. Well, Hikaru is gonna have to deal with the king side coming here.
Yeah, rook f3 check and then followed by rook f2 is going to be a problem for Hikaru.
Yep.
He
Rook
can
f3,
play
rook f2.
Oh.
You could even get mated if you do silly things just to show it. Just to show mates on the board because we like checkmate. Shout out to Chess Bay there with the gifted sub in the Twitch chat. All right. Hikaru's not going to allow that mate to happen. King g4. Maybe that even prepares bishop g3, Robert?
Yeah.
To kick that knight, and then the rook can infiltrate this way?
So I'd go I guess the question is rook f2 or do you have rook e7 check, but I don't really think that works out because after rook f2, rook e7 check, I just go king g6.
Shout out to Wagamama TV who says he'll miss us soon too. Can I just say that it's been so great to have you tuning in to all of our World Chess Championship coverage, and now the Speed Chess Championship. It's just amazing. You've got a lot of Dota fans, and we're just so thankful that you've been a fan of chess this month. And then we got a whole lot of gifted subs coming in, so we're feeling the love, and we love all you. And go over to twitch.tv/WagamamaTV if you're a Dota fan. And now you got a Dota chess streamer, or chess fan to follow. I don't think Wagamama's been streaming any chess, but he has been watching this month.
Oh, look at this knight g2 coming to e1 or e3.
Oh, I love it. Knight's coming to g2, e1, and Hikaru, despite winning that h-pawn, has some things to worry about. We got more tweets coming in about the daily question. We'll get back to those in a second. Let's follow this game here to the exciting conclusion, and then we'll invite all of you to keep getting involved here with the daily question. h4. Don't
know because Hikaru's trying to run the king to the queen side right
Yeah.
now.
Use the h-pawn as a decoy.
But I don't know if you're in time because knight b4 is a pretty big threat
Yep.
to hit both the pawns. So if you go king f5, knight d4.
Oh, but bishop d2.
That was smart.
Very smart move, and that's how the bishop flexes its muscles over the knight in these endgames, by quickly switching. And look at this position, everyone. The bishop to d2 stopped Robert's threat, but still prevented the king from coming forward. So that's very nice endgame technique by Hikaru.
But now he's a little nervous. King e5,
Yeah.
knight c5, and now I'm throwing knight to d3.
Oh, he went f5.
Yeah, that's probably better because there's knight d3 was check in the other line. So after knight c5, now you can go d4.
Yep,
and
there's no knight d3 check, forking the king on e5 and the pawn on b2. Nice point, Robert.
And Hikaru needs to keep as many... Firstly, thank you.
Yep.
But Hikaru
Firstly, thank you for the compliment. Yep.
Hikaru needs to keep as many pawns on the board as possible in the queen's side. You don't want to trade now the knight to sacrifice.
Yep.
And then you're not left with enough material there. Having all three pawns remaining is a big benefit to the winning chance.
No, it's a great point. I know we got distracted a little bit there because of the awesome generosity and Wagamama in the Twitch chat, but this is a really instructive endgame to see how the bishop can outplay the knight, and exactly why you favor that minor piece in this type of setup. Wesley going into a think here for good reason, because this is kind of his last moment, Robert, to come up with some sort of blockade, right? Some sort of defensive setup, because Hikaru is an endgame he's good at endgames, and especially these types of endgames require a lot of pure calculation, right?
Yep.
He knows how to calculate, as we know. He knows how to have the right setups to create the best winning chances. Look at this technique. Bishop guarding this square. The king is just doing everything it can to prepare to put on the running shoes and get over here to the queen side.
Yeah, some people put on their blue suede shoes, and I guess
Right, not
others put on
him,
their
no.
running
Although
shoes.
Hikaru has sung Elvis before on a stream, I've heard.
Actually,
Yeah, no, legit. Hikaru sings sometimes on his stream, which makes me feel better. Because Hikaru's singing voice, if I may be so bold, isn't any better than mine, okay, for sure. A4, nice move. Again, Hikaru just working it on both sides of the board here with no diggity. Here comes the king. I love this endgame, just because it's so instructive, I think.
I'm trying to figure out a way for black to even try to hold here. You can't go a5 because bishop d2 comes.
Yep.
And your a5 pawn might just be lost, and there it goes. I guess if bishop d2, you can go knight e2. But the thing is, the knights can't lose tempi, right? So after bishop d2,
Yep.
if you go knight e2, I can even just play bishop to e3.
Yep.
And then my king is eventually going to make its way over there. The knight can't come to c1 to attack b3. Okay, bishop
Right,
b2 wasn't
bishop
necessary.
guards it. Yep.
No,
But you're right. In fact, that's like a whole other endgame lecture you and I give. But there's this. Oh wait, let's analyze this before we mention the trip. I was mentioning the triple step method by the bishop to get Zugzwang, but okay, the b5 is So's last chance. Hikaru's going to think, and there may be some weird way the knight gets trapped in some of these positions. You have to be very careful about moves like bishop d2.
Then you have the b2 square to escape to. I guess the question is, if bishop d2 now, right? If we start with bishop d2, are you going to sacrifice your knight? Is that possible?
Yeah,
right?
well,
I don't think you can.
I don't think you can. I think it's too slow.
Yep. But then bishop d2 is probably just
And just to show, I mean, okay, there's different lines like this, but again, it's just too slow, and white can blockade all the pawns just in time.
And take d5 next, and
Yep.
that's all.
But Hikaru up on time, and that's critical because you need it to calculate accurately in these last few critical moments. And Wesley, I think, playing the right approach with b5. Whoa, b4.
Wow, just
Talk about the ooh, number 11. It's here. Hikaru number 11. The calculation over the shoulder.
that's nice.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
And well timed there. Hikaru saying, I calculated this to the end, Danny. I'll flash you number 11. Speaking of 11, Season 3 of Stranger Things coming out. Different discussion later.
Yeah, it's a very different discussion.
Yep.
Millie Bobby Brown. Wait, what? I thought
what?
you were talking about Hikaru and Wesley. Sorry, you got me distracted.
There you go. All right. Okay, so the point here is that if black had taken, white would have rushed the a-pawn. And this line, what Hikaru's saying is, I think he's saying he can stop the a-pawn, but this knight can't stop mine. And I think that's exactly what he calculated. And
very importantly,
that was a very risky, concrete way to play. But Hikaru Nakamura calculates with the best of them, and I think it's going to work out. In fact, now he can just play a6.
Yep. You can also just take on c5. Oh,
yeah, he doesn't want to let that knight get back to because then c5 and b3.
Right.
But I think just a6.
A6
obviously, he's going to calculate it better than you or I, but
yeah, you go a6, and the point is that even after pawn takes d4, you can just take back with the bishop if you need to.
And this knight is actually there would be knight b6, but even this works.
I'm blundering everywhere.
Hey, you're tired. You've done a month of commentary, young man. Do not judge yourself.
That's why he has to resign. It's mate.
It's mate on h8, and Hikaru bouncing around like he's been here before. Look, let me show. The next game has started, but let me bring up the analysis board here, if I can. I mean, I gotta bring up Hikaru's game here because that's super awesome to show everybody.
Yeah, that was.
This ending right here ends because after d2 a8, yes, both sides get queens, but Hikaru calculated that in the end you actually have mate on h8, so there was no time left for Wesley to get a queen and make a race of it.
All right, yeah.
Wow.
Good
what a very nice way to bring that thing to a finish.
Yep.
And for some reason, the live board has not been updated. We're still on the last game here in the live board, but hopefully we'll get that fixed here in just a moment. There we go.
There it is.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
And it gave everybody a last view there of exactly what Hikaru Nakamura's calculation skills are capable of.
Yep.
Right? You and I were looking at, and we were highlighting the technique of the bishop and the way to massage, which was great. But Hikaru, once he had the brute force opportunity to play b4, he just crushed it. Awesome.
No, and we've seen this before, and I see the chat going crazy about Stranger Things. Maybe Dave Harbour will make his way into the chat, and then we could talk about his treatment of
There it is, the Stranger Things, and that's what got it on our mind today. Is our
Yeah.
producer Aaron in the background came bringing it.
Yep, because he is a Stranger Thing.
Yep. Aren't we all Stranger Things?
Yeah.
You know, but no, that's a different discussion. Thanks to everybody who's with us, whether you're at Chess.com TV or Twitch.tv/chess. So, it's been quite fun here today. Hikaru Nakamura has now won 2 games in a row. If you're just joining us, Wesley So was holding a 3-2 lead, maybe just enough to poke the bear. Hikaru Nakamura has rebounded here, and Wesley needs to do the same in the last 20 minutes here, right? Stop the bleeding, compose himself in 5 minutes, and at least level things up before you get to the 3-minute chess.
Yeah, and this is going to be a very important game for Wesley because he did bounce back. He was up early in the match.
Yep.
He lost a game, then he won a game. He's lost 2 in a row. You cannot afford to
You
lose
don't want
3.
to lose 3 in a row.
And his position is very nice. Look at those ugly E pawns
I
for
hate it.
Hikaru.
I hate it. Oh,
But
why is he?
Because he's C7 is weak, A3 is
and
overextended.
E5's a threat, I guess.
So Queen C4, Queen B3 stops Black from playing E5.
That's a great
Wait,
point.
Queen C4 actually might just win a pawn. Because now E5's there and Knight F5 is a second threat.
And the point here, everyone, is again, this is pinned.
Oh, that bug.
Right, that bug, that just and if you leave the queen there, here comes Knight F5. In fact, Robert just highlighted that pin, and we may see it because Hikaru's played Knight D7, but Wesley taking his time, Rook to C1. Hikaru, to his credit, has kind of been stubborn in the black side of this Italian here, despite Wesley being better. We'll see if that pays off toward the end of the match, but Wesley has been better with the white pieces in every Italian we've seen so far.
Absolutely. Why didn't you go Rook Knight F5 instead of Rook C1?
I know, I liked your tactic, and I thought that's what we were going to see.
That pawn is pinned.
It's a fork.
Yep. That is strange.
Forky mode, and no matter where you go, I win. I wonder if Wesley is... His facial expression has changed slightly, which suggests to me he's a little frustrated.
And why did he take on C7 there, right? And if you take on C7 instead of retreating with your queen, after an exchange of queens, yes, you win D3, but I'm throwing soon to go Knight H5. So yeah.
This and this. I agree with you. I feel like Wesley's edge is still slight, but you can't keep saying things like, yes, I'm still better, but I missed this, but I missed this. Eventually, that edge will just go.
And now he's getting aggressive.
F4.
So
okay.
if Knight G6, it looks like you're losing the F pawn, but I guess if E5 first.
And maybe Knight H5. Is he really going to put the pony there?
I like that, actually.
Okay.
Maybe guards E2.
Guards
Rook
F4.
E4. Rook E4 is the best move.
Ooh, Rook E4.
Defending and attacking.
Yeah. And he finds it. Okay, so Wesley, despite our small criticism there, might suggest maybe he's a little frustrated. Looks like he's composed himself to have an edge. Hikaru either scaling something or wishing he washed his facial hair a little bit better. Maybe he smells something. I don't know what's going on with that face right there, but we'll figure it out later. All right, Rook A5. He's trying to trade B for D.
Yep, but C is also a problem as well.
How many pawns can we keep mentioning before we say the whole thing?
I thought you were going to make a coconut tree joke.
That's right.
Come on.
B plus C. I've read that book to my daughter so many times. I do deserve a dad fail for that.
You really, yeah.
Chicka chicka boom boom was right there on my mind. So,
Rook C5.
And whatever happened to D being dragged up the coconut tree?
We don't want to get into that.
We don't want to get into that. But all right, Wesley. He's
yeah, what is he doing?
Maybe he's getting a little glare off of the computer, or I think he's just focused on calculating. What?
Saying a bracha.
Yeah.
Blessing.
A quick.
Jewish, nice
A quick gather yourself, find the Zen, focus. Right? I like to think of spirit fingers anytime I get nervous. That's how I center myself. But
wait, is E6 just hanging?
Yeah, he finds Rook C6, and after Knight E7, why can't Wesley just take with either piece, by the way? Queen or Rook? Bueller?
Yeah.
Bueller?
I don't have an answer for you.
Bueller?
Talking about Cameron from Ferris Bueller
In fact, he takes with the queen. I like it.
This is great, because after Queen E6, Rook E6, Rook B5, Knight F5 is taking advantage of a pin knight, not to mention F5, F6 is also good enough. Either way.
It's all
Probably
good in
F5,
the
F6
hood
even
if
better.
you're Wesley here. And this is a big game for him, because if he rebounds, he's saying, look, I'm not going to go away either. Right? I'll grab the bull by the horns, both literally and figuratively.
I love Wesley's posture.
Wesley is just like lean back, right? And Hikaru is
and he's talking.
all over the place.
That feels pretty accurate.
That feels like the
Hikaru.
Brady Bunch, right?
Yeah.
Hikaru.
Yeah.
Marsha.
Oh.
Queen D5 by Hikaru. Interesting find there.
Desperation.
Yeah, Knight F5 is still strong.
Knight F5 looks good.
Yeah.
F5 can't be bad either. Just go F5, F6 and try to win.
Yeah, but Knight F5, that's the Dirty girl.
Yeah, that's just
Now
very
you got
forceful.
many options. This wins a piece.
Whoa, 97 rook e7? That's what he's going for?
Oh, a little trickapoo.
But maybe rook takes d4 here. It's
But
just
then the rook is still.
no, rook takes d4 is probably the, oh wait.
But the rook is
Oh, it's
under
just
fire
hanging.
now because the pawn's gone.
Yeah, I forgot that pawn.
So wait, that's why. I, Robert confused.
Wait, knight e7, rook e7. I don't know. Oh,
Yeah.
queen c8 check maybe. This.
Okay, you in the end you have this check and push.
Oh, it's
maybe?
e6. You start with e6.
Oh wait,
yeah.
he's going. Okay, cool. So
Too obvious.
Look at we figured it out.
Yeah, but it was too obvious why we didn't figure it out for a while. It's like,
Hey,
sometimes just the most.
I've been
straightforward-
giving myself credit. I keep my expectations very low on myself, and I feel like that was a win.
I like what Wagamama TV just said. Petition to face cams in all speed chess tourneys ever in the future.
Yeah,
We
well,
love
we
face
do have it
cams.
in every Speed Chess Championship. So Wagamama, if you became a fan of the chess coverage because of the World Chess Championship, then maybe now you'll keep watching this because this is obviously this is the finals. But that's one of the cool things about this format is you get to have the direct connection with the player's emotions and all that stuff. And I've been petitioning for a Hikaru cam that just follows him everywhere he goes in life for years. Like somebody with a GoPro on their head walks backwards and follows him wherever for good reason, right? So I hear you on the Hikaru cam.
Also, I wonder if Wagamama, like, this is a restaurant Wagamama. It's making me hungry. Always thinking about the food.
Yeah.
Anytime I have to talk for hours, I gotta think about the
Yep.
food. The queen of fate, idea being
Yeah,
e7, e8 equals
yeah.
queen. Just be careful because rook b2.
Yeah, Hikaru has been known to swindle himself a last-second perpetual, and in this
Not
case, no. That was Hikaru number 14, as I've said. 14 is living in the past. It's not the kind of Hikaru face you want to see if you're rooting for him. Now he's only shown it a couple times today, and now we're going to show a couple more tweets here today because we haven't done enough of that. So we've got suggestions for Chess 960 to come back. Have it be played right before each section. Okay. That's a good suggestion. I think the SCC format, as it is pretty awesome. I just hope you'll keep the standard chess separated from Chess 960. Okay, so there's a counteracting tweet to that. What I would love to see is high-profile dedicated Chess 960 tournaments. Well, I am not allowed to reveal certain things right now because this particular event still has a lot of negotiations going on. For those of you that were here or following our producer, Aaron, on his own channel, know that I kind of let the cat out of the bag about some events we're doing, but I can tell you there is actually a lot in the works to potentially make Fisher Random make a big splash with Chess 960, and if everything comes together, obviously you can read between the lines and know that we covered a certain event from Oslo last year where Magnus Carlsen took on Hikaru Nakamura, and kind of the first ever unofficial World Chess Championship for Fisher Random with those two guys. And we're working hard with some other partners to potentially have more Fisher Random coming your way. That's all I can say. All right, what do we got? We got a game that looks like it's going to be boring, so good time for me to go on a tangent because this is just a quick draw.
Yeah, it's just funny to me because you keep talking about, I shouldn't be talking about it, but then you continue to talk
Well,
about it.
I didn't say anything.
No, I know you didn't.
I didn't
but
say
you
anything.
just become a little bit closer, a little
I
bit
know.
closer.
Well, I like
just like
this
endgame.
I've
You-
always been a tease. My wife has said that for years. What?
Oh my god! I didn't know we were going there.
I'm
with
just
that.
saying. I'm just. Hey, Dad bod shuffle here. All right.
Dad bod
I didn't say anything. Wait, did I say anything?
No.
I didn't say
No,
anything.
I love how you're second guessing yourself. You said
Okay,
nothing.
I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything.
said too
Nobody's
much.
clipping it, sending it to organizers. You know.
You said too much of saying nothing.
Yeah.
Say no more. Anyway, back to the chess.
Say my name.
When no one, but I'm around you.
You could still say, "Baby, I love you."
You would like that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
All right, back to
All
the
right,
chess.
back
so,
to the chess. Here we go.
Okay, so the dynamic here is queen, rook, and 5 apiece, right? So even
Word.
material completely.
Word.
But white has this rook in the 7th rank, which looks really nice. On
Yep.
the flip side, white's king is actually a little bit vulnerable as well. Just because you're not getting back rank checkmate doesn't mean that you don't have weaknesses.
Right.
including
We
dark
got
squares.
diagonal problems.
Yep.
Yep.
And rook d8 play, trying
Yeah.
to take advantage of that.
A funny move. Queen f7. Hashtag puzzle rush. Just-
You really are in puzzle.
Just to
rush mode.
point out that you can't. Oh, actually, you can do that, and it's fine. But you can't take. I was going to say that one first, but you can't take the rook. Can't take the rook because then you get mated. But Queen f7 is. It's actually not the worst move, even based on the fact that we don't expect Black to checkmate himself.
That's actually a pretty interesting move.
And he
they
does it.
played
There you
Look
go.
At you.
Right? Look at Puzzle Rush paying off, baby.
Yeah.
Can I drop the mic and retire now?
Should I
Can I
call
just
you-
leave? I don't even know.
Can I nickname you Puzzle Rush Nakamura?
Hey, there you go. Right. The first step is admitting you have a problem. First step toward recovery.
Yep. But you're never going to recover. So
We'll get back to a question about what is Fisher Random versus Chess 960 in a minute. The short answer is they are the same thing, just different names, and somebody screwed up the branding originally. That's all it is. But Queen of 7 was played, and the point again is the battery on the 7th rank very powerful. There are also potential back rank issues that So has to figure out. And Hikaru wants to have an edge heading into the rook ending, because if the queens are traded, now the 7th rank becomes the overarching storyline, not the weak king that you highlighted,
right.
Robert.
And also, I think Wesley's calculating the king and pawn in the game as well. So if the queen takes f7, this rook takes d8 check that you were talking about before, we have to play queen to g8. That sort of ending where there's majorities on different sides, right? So if here is a take on f7, rook d8, queen. I was saying, so if rook takes d8, not rook.
Oh, I thought you were going for the rook ending, but
no,
okay.
Saying, well, similar ideas, right? We have pawn majorities on the opposite side of the board. 3 on 2 for white on the king side, 3 on 2 for black on the queen side. Now, particularly in king and pawn in games, here comes potentially the king and pawn. We'll see
may
what
happen with rook d8. We'll see. They could get this position that's on the analysis on the board here in a moment.
And what I was going to say is kings often are tied to this majority side, right? So black's king is stuck on the king side, white's king will be stuck on the queen side.
And we're going to see it. And the reason that is because you're trying to prevent your opponent from getting the passed pawn. The pawns I highlighted, and we'll get back to the main game, are in this position here are the pretenders. A pretender is a pawn that is almost passed because it doesn't have anybody on the direct file blocking it. So the C pawn has no challenger, nor does the F pawn. Okay, we're highlighting very basic stuff for beginners, but hopefully this is useful for people watching as far as how you would assess trades and transitions into endgames. The ultimate goal is get the more active king, which Hikaru has done, and be the first to create a passed pawn, which could happen here for Hikaru. But watch out for the long-term chances, because even if his 3 on 2 is slow, Wesley still has a pretender, and that could become dangerous later. Now, everything we just highlighted, I think is instructive for the viewers, Robert, but most likely this game probably should be a draw, right, with best play.
It should be. I just wanted to give an example of something you should not do if you are
go for it.
So let's say white goes h3 and just played, and he goes b5.
Okay.
Just trying to make a move. And g4.
Yep.
Takes, and g5. Ignoring the fact that it loses a pawn immediately, but f5 check.
Yep.
Now you have a protected pass pawn that can't be challenged.
Yep.
And that's a big problem because now the white king is free to go to the queen side.
And I'll show that on the board. What Robert's saying is this king, literally, you could put him in Chinatown over here. Put him over here. And no matter where this king is, black's king is permanently stuck. It can never leave the f pawn, but it can also never get rid of the defender.
Yep.
So these are things to keep in mind, and look at how well we've kind of predicted the flow of it. I mean, this is like we keep highlighting it, thinking it's instructive fodder, casual talk, pillow talk here between the two of us. But it's actually become very useful because it's the kind of endgame we're about to see.
And watch out, because king b4 is met immediately by pawn to b5, and sometimes your king goes a little bit too far because now once the king goes b4 and b5 happens, you have to go king back to c3 to get back in the action.
We'll show it if you want.
King before, I was saying.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying.
I like that you listened to me, just only half of my...
Well, I was distracted for a second. Okay, b4.
And I forgive you.
King c3.
King d5. Now black's king is the one
now
that's
black's
progress.
king is the more active one of the two, indeed. But maybe I was instinctively trying to play a better move, by the way. It's possible.
Interesting. Well, before I just take en passant.
En passant?
Yeah.
Can I get a croissant with the side of en passant?
A croissant.
A croissant.
And after king b3, king d5, I'm going to gobble up your kingside pawns.
You would do that. You're a big pawn gobbler. Okay, well, Hikaru taking some time here to make sure that those types of things don't happen, for good reason. But
he doesn't look particularly thrilled.
Yeah, I think it's because he thought he had winning chances here.
Now he's realizing.
And he's realizing he's just gonna have to peter it out. That's the wait.
I don't know if I like that
king
move.
of 6 instead of king d6.
Yeah, you know why? f5.
Hikaru perked up.
Because after f5, your king is far away from the queenside pawn.
Why didn't Wesley just go back and repeat?
I think he was worried about f5 happening anyway.
But he just had that position.
Excuse me. Wow. I think f5 is just...
Right, and again, you can't play g5. We were just highlighting that the beauty of a protected passer is this king could be in any hemisphere of the planet, and black's king is frozen, in prison, if you will, to the protected passer. So if f5 is played, which Hikaru has done, Wesley had to take it. But now, as I said, the first person with a passed pawn, especially if you maintained the more active king, you got winning chances here. Is it going to be enough?
Hikaru is shaking his head all over the place, and... Well, I'm not sure how black defends this, because if you move your king back, let's say you just try to play the waiting in king f7, king e5, king e7, then comes f6 check.
Yeah, and
your
then
king
just
is tied
keep rinse
down.
and repeat. Hikaru looks like he knows how to use
Or you could
shampoo.
just go
Very
king-
little dandruff.
Just king to d6
Rinse
instead of
and
king
repeat.
to f5, right? Just throw your king in.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't worry about
The pawn.
Yeah, you just don't worry about the pawn. It's a decoy and go over to the other side.
Yeah.
Because what he's doing, actually, speaking of rinse and repeat, he's shouldering the enemy king.
Yep. And
He's
head
bobbing
and
his head,
shoulders.
shouldering the king. Yep.
That's right. I wonder what Hikaru's preferred shampoo is. Let's ask both these guys after the game. They do look like they got a healthy head of hair. As a guy who was born with a receding hairline, I could use some tips.
Wesley's not happy. This is an unfortunate situation for him right now because he needs to stay in.
Yep.
Keep talking about it. He needs
And
to stay.
there's only 5 minutes left. If Hikaru wins this game, very likely we're still going to get one more game unless they somehow milk another 6 minutes off this clock, but I doubt it. But Hikaru managed to work it with f5. I'm surprised Wesley played king f6 rather than king d6, which had already worked.
Right. And I just don't see a move here because I might be thinking about c5 is the last ditch effort here, but still the king just goes to d5
And this is just basic king and pawn endgame technique. You use the first passer. That's why we said you want the first passer as the decoy for your king, right?
Wait.
To shuffle in. But did Wesley calculate something? Just
king e5, king b6,
king d4.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting there just in time. King b5, c4.
Nah, he's not in time.
King takes. Does he have king c5? Weird draw? No.
No.
Okay, I'm puzzle rushing this. Is there a weird swindle draw? He's going for c4
this
and
doesn't
king
work. Definitely doesn't work.
takes, king c5, king a5, and then a4, and you're in Zugzwang. Yeah, indeed, Wesley agrees. He resigns, and we have one more game here left to be played, likely, unless somebody loses in the next 4.5 minutes. We have one more game here in the 5-minute portion before we head to 3 minutes. So to all 17,000 of you with us, thank you for being here. Don't go anywhere. This is the Speed Chess Championship. This is the finals. You're looking at the two men atop of the bracket at the end of this year's season, the 2018 Speed Chess Championship. And Wesley back to the Italian. It's working for him.
Yep.
Hikaru has something to prove here against this very positional approach in the Italian by Wesley.
Yeah, I really like what he's been doing here, and as we are in the last game, likely the last game of the 5-minute segment, and he'll have, of course, an hour of the 3-minute portion, which he has never lost. 3-minute segment.
Hikaru?
Wesley has never lost a 3-minute segment of the Speed Chess Championship. So that
which is why our pre-match stats kind of had him as the slight segment favorite in the 3-minute.
Absolutely.
So this is only a one-game match, and based on what we've seen from these players so far, a tug of war, right? Hikaru won 2 in a row. Wesley bounced right back. Hikaru returned the favor. So if Wesley can keep pushing for an edge here in this Italian, even if he's not always getting a decisive result, that's right where you want to be, right?
Yep.
Pushing Hikaru, being a little bit better.
Yeah, and the Italian's always in style when it's elite level chess, right? They just play for these small advantages. If we just try to look at the position at large, 8 pawns for both sides. But look
no
at
pawns been traded.
Look at those black double pawns, right? That's both a bad thing and a good thing. It's a good thing because it opens the rook on f8 to a semi-open file. It's a bad thing because, well, double pawns can't protect each other.
Yep,
And
potentially weak as the game goes on.
Yes, and white can just start taking advantage eventually by playing d4, which undoubles the pawns, but also gives white more space.
Yep.
So these are the things you really have to think about.
But you highlighted, and you made a kind of an offhand comment, the Italian's always in style for top players. And I think that's because, and you can add, you're the stronger chess player, but it's because of the flexibility it offers both sides, right? That's why both sides are willing to play it. It's a pawn structure with a ton of options. You got this break, you've got the break and space on the queen side. Black has a lot of maneuvering options, both to try to, I was just highlighting knight d7 and he plays it, and attacking chances here. And is that why we will never see the Italian go away, right? Just because both sides can play for a win, so to speak.
Speaking of playing for a win, rook takes f3 here is so tempting.
Yeah,
right,
Hikaru's going to think, wait, did Hikaru just bathroom break Hikaru?
I wish we could ask him, but
he's gone. Maybe he anticipated that Wesley might think a little bit, bad timing, or he, pizza guy's there.
Maybe he just,
I
got nothing for you. I'm trying to think of
I
something.
got nothing. Well, either way, Hikaru is going to get down on time in this game because he's chosen, for whatever reason, to take a break right here, right now.
You know what he's doing? He's letting the dogs out.
He's letting the dogs out because they wanted to bark, right? They were barking up a storm, and someone's got to let them out. So Hikaru goes to let the dogs out. He'll be back in just a moment. We're now joined by Mr. Duck Lips Hikaru. Thanks for being here, buddy. Appreciate it. But all right, back to the structures. You said there's a lot of flexibility for both sides, and you said that if Hikaru wants to play for a win, he might look at rook takes f3. So let's analyze that.
Yeah, rook takes, pawn takes.
Here?
I guess knight h4.
I mean, yeah, there's a couple options, but yeah.
Rook e3 probably.
Other rook over. Right?
Yeah. This looks like great compensation.
Yep.
Maybe I can throw in. Nope, can't do that. I take it back. I was just trying to go knight f5, but the problem with knight f5, you take advantage of a pinned e pawn, which means you don't lose any. But no, you don't want to take with a knight on f5. You might take with a rook on f5.
Double exchange sack?
Yeah, because after pawn
double
queen
rainbow.
G5. No.
Is that
queen
because
G5 check.
What?
You're not doing enough puzzle rush. Queen G5 check.
Oh, it's mate.
It's not mate, but it's
well, is it anything though?
Oh, maybe it's not.
Speaking of Puzzle Rush, don't call me out like that. You know darn well I am wasting my life with Puzzle Rush right now. Robert called me out for neglecting my kids for Puzzle Rush last night.
I never said that.
Well, you said, you said you sound like an addict.
I did say that. You do sound like an addict.
I did at the time. I was like, hey, man, you think we could squeeze in a Puzzle Rush here before the kids get back? Anyway.
You're like, if we hide in the car and just do some rounds of Puzzle Rush, is that cool? Okay.
Well, Hikaru's back. What's funny is he's down a minute on the clock, and we would sit here and describe a storyline of Hikaru thinking maybe he feels worse, but we all know.
Oh, and look at his face. He does feel worse.
He is worse, but it's funny. He only lost 90 seconds because he couldn't hold his bladder, apparently. Shout out to International Master Anna Rudolph, back on Twitch after the World Chess Championship coverage, and of course Yasser Seirawan, the one, the only Grandmaster Yaz. We are about to be headed to the 3-minute portion, so if you're just getting here, we still have the majority of chess left to be played. It's been a very exciting match here. As you can see, it is only a 1-game separation, and if Wesley So wins this position where he is better, we could be all knotted up as we head into the 3-minute.
Hikaru's position stinks right now.
Maybe the fact that he took that bathroom break caused him to miss rook takes f3. Right? Maybe that's a really bad timing.
Yeah, he got out of his rhythm.
He got out of his rhythm because he came back very upset that he had lost 90 seconds and just didn't consider, again, if you're just joining us, we were talking about this position where Hikaru had the opportunity to sacrifice the exchange and maybe really create some practical winning chances with the black pieces. But now he's much worse.
Yeah, this pawn in c7 has been a nuisance for him every single game in the blacks of the Italian.
Yep.
And he plays queen f6 to hit the d4 pawn. So if rook takes c7, he's like, okay, at least I can take on d4. And I'm still not convinced that black is okay
take either
here.
way. Yeah.
And that's the way he took on e5 first, just saying, I don't even want to give you that opportunity. Now what? Do I go knight d4? Do I take on e5? I have options here. I mean, you're not even threatening knight takes f3 because I take with my rook.
Yeah, he likes your knight d4 move because this f5 square is calling his name. Wesley. Wesley.
And the knight on e5, if it moves an e5 check, right? The king just moved off the diagonal of the queen there.
Let's show that because people love discoveries. It's a thing I've learned.
And it actually doesn't win, the queen.
Doesn't win anything, but they still love discoveries. It's weird. Yep, he puts that knight there. Yep. He heard the call.
The next one's coming to h5.
And c7 is officially hanging yet again.
Yep. And knight h5 hits the queen and the g7 pawn. This is looking...
Ooh, that's an awkward looking fork. When Knights Go Wild, Rated X edition.
GM Yasser Seirawan just subbed. Oh, it was a gifted sub by Tag Bon. Thank you for that.
But we like to think that if Yaz was ready to... He's going to use those emotes proudly. Thank you, Tag Bon.
So rook f7 defends the c7
He's just
pawn.
taking his time here. Wesley is just, again, trying to make sure he squeezes. But Hikaru is gaining a little bit of time back on the clock. Was down 90 seconds, now only down a minute. Trying to be aggressive over here, so Hikaru's hoping to save this one. This will be the infamous bathroom save heard around the world if indeed he comes back.
Yeah, and well, the problem for black in his comeback attempt is the knight on b6 is stuck. If you ever move that knight, knight d5 comes in, hitting both the queen and the c7 pawn.
Yep.
And
and he goes for it right away because the e4 square is now newly opened for business.
And he's not just trying to get to the e4, he's trying to get to g5.
Yeah, e4 is kind of a routing.
Okay, can queen take... whoops, I almost hung my queen. Queen takes g6 is what I was going to say.
Well, you are tired right now.
Woo!
It's okay.
Woo! That was not ideal, blundering my queen like that, but
hey,
I'll get over it.
I think knight e4 is threatening g3, and then h4, and then the knight comes in. You have to be worried about g3 because of knight f3, obviously. Ooh,
nice.
b6.
Oh, Hikaru's disgusted.
can't believe he missed that move. Not only because rook c8, but because knight takes d6 is coming.
I love this comment here by Hamma Chess 7. I thought an engine doesn't need the bathroom. About Hikaru.
Well, b6 just completely missed here by Hikaru. Was one of the concrete threats about this knight coming to e4. We were kind of highlighting, I guess, the knight taking these kind of routes, but d6 was actually a tactic the moment the knight came there. And what Robert highlighted about the d6 pawn being weak is that this was a threat right away because the pawn was pinned.
Yep.
We didn't even see that.
Oh, that's actually what I was going to say before I blundered my queen.
Yeah, I thought you highlighted it. See how psychically now we're telekinesis coming back, Holmes.
Yes, sir.
I'm right there with your brain.
Can you just take this c7?
I think you can and you will. And
so is queen b2 the winning move here, hitting the knight and discovery? No, not. Well, just c equals queen.
Rook f3.
Rook f3. I mean, how many good moves do you need?
There's
here?
A lot of them.
c equals queen is.
Yeah, and officially, I believe we are going to be tied. Indeed, we are. Wesley So wins, and guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The Speed Chess Championship Finals is going to be all you hoped it would be, because we are knotted up after the first portion. This has been about as close as anything we could have hoped for.
Well, I think it is exactly as close as we could hope for.
You're right. Well, thanks for helping me fall short with that hype. But no, the point is we have a lot of action ahead of us. It's everything you hoped it would be. And after a very short break, we are going to be right back with 3-Minute Chess, so don't go anywhere. And welcome back, everybody, to the 2018 Speed Chess Championship Finals. Grandmaster Hikaru Nakamura taking on Grandmaster Wesley So, and we have all that action in the 3-minute just ahead. I want to take a quick second to remind you why Robin and I look so good in these blue shirts. The Pro Chess League is the next big thing happening in the world of online chess. Really the next big thing in Twitch. You can forget Twitch Rivals and Fortnite. I mean, in case you were wondering, now you got the memo. The Pro Chess League is where it's at. 32 teams come together to battle for big prizes from all around the world, and the 2019 campaign is about to begin for all of them. Grandmasters that have been joining us in the World Chess Championship coverage, like Sam Shanklin, obviously Wesley So joined us, and he's playing today, Hikaru Nakamura for the Seattle Sluggers, and two guys that were actually playing in the World Chess Championship. They'll also be playing in the Pro Chess League, including none other than the world chess champion Magnus Carlsen. So, quick shout out. Also, there are extensions over the viewer. If you're watching at Twitch, there's a one-click button to go to twitch.tv/ProChessLeague and give us a follow, as well as Robert on our personal channels as we make New Year's resolutions to really bring Robert's streaming game way up. And he's going to be a lot more active on his channel. You don't want me to call you out like that on camera?
It hurt a little bit.
Okay, well,
but I was about to say that
it hurt, but you know I meant it,
no,
so
but
it's okay.
I was going to say it's because I'm always better when I'm doing commentary with you, which means on the official chess channel, which means
is
not
true.
on my channel. So
Which is true. That's true.
I was trying to lift us up as a team, and you were trying to bring me down.
I
as an
was not.
individual.
I was saying that because the people want to see you. Anyway, but the people also want to see 3 Minute. They've had enough of us. We are about to have liftoff. Here we go. Tied match. Speed Chess Championship Finals. I can't wait to see what these guys bring us. 3 Minute chess ahead, and let's waste no time. So Hikaru, back to what we saw in Game 1. This is what he... Okay, not exactly the right move order, but he did start with d4, knight f3 in Game 1, if you missed that. But now we have a much more straightforward Queen's Gambit position on the board than what we had in Game 1.
Well, here we go. Is this going to be the d takes c4 thing happening? Nope.
No, bishop takes c5. He's welcoming the IQP. Hikaru gives a slight nod. That's Hikaru number 3. A very slight kind of over-the-shoulder nod there. Not quite sure. It means I just wasn't expecting it. I'm still very comfortable, though.
Yeah, and White is doing perfectly well. It's the opening stage of the game, but I think Wesley feels comfortable in the black side of these as well. The big difference here in the extra tempo, right? It's a completely symmetrical pawn structure. All pawns are the same exact squares.
Yep.
And the bishop on c8, just like the bishop on d2, can go to that square right in front of the queen. I think that black is doing perfectly fine early in this.
Yep. b6, bishop b7, and again, Wesley was fine in Game 1 as well. And going to be about equal. The position is very level. It's both sides are going to put their rooks on these files, and usually one tactical slip away from losing, but otherwise you see a lot of just equal chess here in this type of pawn structure. You're wondering how to follow the channels that we just hyped. Hold your mouse over the analysis board on the stream you see on the Twitch player and click on those extensions to instantly follow the Pro Chess League as well as Robert and my channels there, so where you can see more commentary. All right, the transition of the double pawns is common in this pawn structure, especially because you always have the bishop on the knight on f3, but it doesn't mean it's really enough for an edge at all. In fact, White can often use these double pawns to his advantage, right? Because they hold off critical squares. Right, Robert?
Yeah, for sure. And I was just looking at the graphic that we pulled up here about the odds to win the match. So
when two become one, Wesley So and Hikaru Nakamura are that closely tied here, right? You see Hikaru was the blue line, but his face is currently covered up by the adorable Wesley So. Is that Diego from Dora the Explorer or Wesley So? You tell me.
Looks like Wesley So to me, but I also don't have 4 kids and don't watch Dora the Explorer all the time.
Yeah. Well, we may just get a peaceful result here since not the most exciting winning chances either of these players has ever had. But no, Hikaru wants more. And again, I think that's what he needs to do as the time controls get faster, continue to push these positions to where both sides are playing on the clock.
Yeah, and Hikaru believes that his biggest advantage comes in the bullet portion, right? So he might as well milk this game clock. And so there are 57 minutes left in this 3-minute portion, and that time actually ticks down pretty quickly when the games go long.
Yeah, it's not the 5-minute anymore, right? We're not in Kansas anymore.
Yeah, so essentially, like, you can chop a lot of time off that clock, and even if he's down 1 game after this time segment, he still feels probably very good
confident in bullet, right? We know that Hikaru is he's a bullet beast. But okay, now that he's pushed this one, again for the clock, which again I feel from a match strategy is a good one by Hikaru because of what we know he can do in time scrambles. But I wonder if he should just repeat here. No, he doesn't. Okay, so because I don't think he has anything but a potentially worse endgame now, Robert, given that Wesley has successfully lifted the rook. The elevator will always afford access to the weak pawn over here on the king side. How is Hikaru playing for a win in this endgame now, right? I mean, I think Black is the only one who has a slightly better structure.
I wouldn't be surprised if Hikaru lost this game.
That's what I'm saying, right? So I was kind of promoting, hey, I think that's a good match strategy for Hikaru to get things under time scrambles, but if he doesn't repeat now, no, he doesn't. Okay.
I think he's saying that he doesn't actually run any risk of losing this position just because where's Black going to attack? In order to put up pressure on this H pawn, which is an isolated pawn, you have to get your rook and your knight over there, which takes so much time because your queen side will be in trouble. But Wesley doesn't really have to do much to hold the balance here. He can just shuffle back and forth. Now, okay, knight e2 allows rook c2, so he didn't want to get super aggressive, but rook c2 felt like a good move.
I think we just worried about knight d4 because there were no immediate follow-ups.
Yeah.
Okay, and they do eventually draw. And I think that was smart by Hikaru. Normally, if you have that type of endgame and you just take 40 seconds off the clock for each player, right? Same exact setup, but 40 more seconds off the clock, that's an endgame that Hikaru might swindle his way to a victory.
And we should remember to ask that question about game 1 of the 3-minute portion. So it's
right,
it's
and
a
if
mental
that was
note
sort
to
of the
self,
strategy,
speaking out loud.
yeah.
Don't have my diary to write
I don't
it
have my
down.
diary. I speak out loud to myself. Also, I've heard it's healthy. That's what my therapist tells me.
Okay.
Talking to yourself. No?
No, that's good.
You're like, that's okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah,
I just want you to be healthy.
mentally, for sure.
Yeah. Well, also physically.
Yep.
Preferably both. And also chess-wise.
You're just looking.
Can I
out
get
for me.
everything?
Yep. Well, okay. Wesley wants everything here. He's gone full center. Play bishop d2. I don't know why he's taking his time, but he is. What?
Because he keeps putting his rook on e2.
He likes this rook there. It's a consistent idea, I guess, in this Italian structure to have this ability to flip the rook to the queen side. I'm learning something by watching these guys play high-quality chess.
And you just keep the rook on the board. Is a4 hanging? Yep. Okay, so what if I just...
Just comes back and says double pawns or not, I just won one.
And this is actually going to be a very quick compensation if the knight can go from h5 to f4, but knight g3 exactly stops that plan in its tracks. And now there's a big problem here. How are you going to get full compensation from the pawn? Bishop b3 comes, queen d2 can come next, king h1, rook to g1. Okay,
Hikaru's going to be aggressive to try to stop it, but you made a great point that this was Hikaru's plan to bring the two knights in on this outpost square, everyone. But Wesley accurately just putting all these plans on the back burner, and now he's just clearly better again in the Italian. I mean,
and I don't even know what Hikaru's plan is now because knight to d7. Obviously, the queen wants to go to h4, but knight f5 is always a possibility. But can you? Well, I guess knight f5, queen g4 check. Is he trying to do something like that? No, it doesn't. I guess it barely.
What are you suggesting? Which one?
So knight f5 for white, queen g4 check, and I guess the f4 pawn is falling. I thought that I would be able to get away with something here, but I don't. So which makes Wesley's move just perfectly good. Queen e2 is just smarter.
Right. Just guard everything and continue.
Yeah, you can play king h1.
And now knight f5 could be a threat.
Yeah.
Some positions. Or king h1, rook g1. I think yours is more accurate, yeah.
Or even f3 is a possibility. I wouldn't go f3 because it opens up the diagonal, but...
That's a nice move because it kind of stops king h1 with this awkward queen coming into f3.
And knight h4 is also
in fact, you have to be really careful because there was an awkward threat of queen f3 and knight h4 with mate on g2.
I love it! Look at this move! If queen takes f3, you play rook f2. And if queen g4 only move, bishop e2. Queen h4 only move, knight f5. And all of a sudden, it's very clear who's gaining the benefit from all these queen moves.
I have an even better idea, maybe. After queen f3, what if I just go... I thought I was going to play rook g2 and slowly do this, but no. Now rook g2. I was just trying to slow play the idea because this attack is just going to get nuts.
Yeah, this actually... Well, where's this queen going from g4? Maybe this was the right way to go. Your sort of combination of your idea and Wesley's idea just looks super promising.
Yep. I mean, now just... Okay, rook g2. The queen is...
Queen might get trapped.
Queen might get trapped over there. Knight f5 might also do the trick. But I felt like rook g2 was just more patient.
97, oh, no, 97... I keep blunting.
You keep blunting. This is so fun. You are... I cannot wait to get you on a plane. I'm gonna fill you up good, make sure your belly's full, get you on a plane, and send you home to mom.
I'm like 97 check. There's a knight on g6.
Hikaru told me yesterday that if I didn't send Robert back to his mother, he was calling the police on
people
me.
Realize I don't live with my mother.
I know, but your mom's in New York.
Yeah, that's true.
You know.
I do love my mom. She's watching, so hi, Mom.
Okay,
love you.
97 wins the exchange, but Black has some compensation.
But does he have compensation? That's the question.
But does he?
Yeah, does
Find out next time. Actually...
Can you knight takes g7
Yeah,
here?
knight takes h6 wins the queen.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
that's
rook
even
g1.
better. I said knight takes... Well, no. Oh, yes, you do.
Knight takes h6 just wins the queen straight up. What?
Yeah, you're...
Did he just miss that?
He hasn't been doing a puzzle rush. We know Wesley
has not been doing as much puzzle rush as Hikaru. This just won the queen. Hello, McFly. Okay. Well, Hikaru's still in the game at least because Wesley missed that.
Although it still looks really...
Yeah,
really
it's still very, very tough for Hikaru though. And I think we're having fun here highlighting the tactics, but again, the storyline for me that if we're making notes about what we're going to ask these players about is if Hikaru sticks with the Italian and continues to get in trouble like this, is that was that a match strategy? Did Hikaru prepare the Italian for Wesley? Because he certainly isn't pivoting away from it, and he has been worse in every game as Black, and we're not saying that with any bias.
Yeah.
I mean, Hikaru has not done well in the Italian so far in this match.
Yeah, no, I don't like his decision to continue sticking with it when he's getting just worse positions every single game. And here, he's down in exchange. Okay, he's hoping for some tactical counterplay. Knight g4 is an idea. Wait, knight g4.
Knight g4 is coming, actually.
Knight g4.
Knight g4 is it wants to be on the board.
I guess rook f.
And this move is
Maybe
on the
C4
board,
was
despite it being surprising.
Maybe c4 was actually even a better move than knight g4. The more I think about it, because
Yeah,
rook
but
f3 is
Wesley has to give back some
but
material.
now just bishop.
Maybe bishop c4 to keep that guy out.
Oh.
Keep this pawn right where he is. Yeah, he likes it.
Yeah, it's going to be opposite colored bishops, and we saw bishop c4 on the board, and the threat is to go d6, right?
Mhm.
And so e5 is also a possibility coming. Yeah, because we were talking about how they played the Italian, and then
Yep.
the Italian happened, and what as it keeps happening, we're going to see Hikaru continue to get in trouble here.
This inside joke is going to get real out of control here real quick. Oh, man,
So
we
just,
are...
just
we
bishop
are
g1 here.
Bishop g1, and it wouldn't be surprising that it's on the board because here comes the queen over to g2.
Trying to keep it together.
So,
Oh, Hikaru's
okay,
face, though.
So wins by resignation, and okay. Back to the chess. What we have here is
A 6.5, 5.5 lead.
a
for
lead
Wesley.
for Wesley So, who again has never lost the 3-minute portion in his history here of the Speed Chess Championship. So he
So,
was
that's all you got to say. So.
That is so Nakamura, though, to make a comeback after you've lost a game. And I wouldn't be surprised if Hikaru bounces right back here. So now, Hikaru playing an Italian structure as white. Slightly more open version of it.
Right.
But Hikaru may be thinking, this is working for Wesley, maybe I'll do it too.
Yeah, and Hikaru wasn't expecting this knight a7 move. You could tell by his face. He's so
Right.
demonstrative, right?
Right, he
So
just lets
emotive.
it be known. But I think he's still better.
He's definitely better, right?
Yeah.
He's more space. The knight in g3 can go to f5 or e4, even h5 in some variations. And look, you can take on c4, but it's all about the quality of the pieces. Look at the
Yep.
knight in a7. That's a donkey.
Yep.
That's
It's
not,
not
a
a
good
knight,
piece.
that's a donkey. Where's Shrek? I'll tell you, the rook is Shrek.
And where's the
is,
dragon? This is an opening. We're gonna come back to that.
We'll come back to that later. But yeah, no, the donkey trying to improve itself, but very nice move, knight f5, threatens things like queen g4, so black tries to get rid of that pony ASAP. Okay, bishop g5 is a weird move, but maybe inducing f6 is helpful, because it would kind of force f6. There's also moves that are sort of simple, like rook d1 if you allow the bishop for bishop endgame. Hikaru, I don't think is happy that this knight is going to have to be traded. I mean, you can see he was really getting excited for the kingside attack, and I don't think it's happening. Okay, he goes with the move I thought, but what's he going to do on f6? Maybe just, rook d1. But if after the trade
Queen e7, right? Just
and takes here, you have queen e6.
right. That's what he would like to have happen. But what if black just goes queen e7 now?
Yeah, I don't think, and Wesley does it, and the bishop can back up to c1, but it's nothing special here for Hikaru.
I'll go bishop e3 just to have some tricks up his sleeve if Wesley's blundering. Because rook, you can just go rook d8 and after bishop b6. Yep, he's
Right.
meeting everything perfectly here. Bishop b6 is bishop c7. But okay, white can try to make some progress in a position like that. So, okay, rook d2. Not sure about that one. What about e4 blunders the a5 pawn.
e4, a5, very nice. There's also bishop b6 threats, especially if you can double rooks.
Right.
And one of the biggest reasons why white wants to double rooks here, everyone, is because then the bishop can't move without rook d7. And that's harsh, yeah. So Wesley wants to get that queen out of there. Now maybe he can play bishop c7 and offer an exchange. Kind of fight over the d-file. The long-term aspects of this position are a little worrisome for Hikaru because black's 4-on-3 is a little healthier than white's 4-on-3 over here, right? So it can actually maybe mobilize itself, f5, e4, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and the downside of pushing those pawns is maybe you leave your pawns overextended, you open up your king, and your pawns are going to become weak kind of quickly. So you have to be careful before that.
Yep.
Yeah. This is probably going to peter out into an equal endgame, but you have to be careful for black, right? Because queen to b6 now is a threat. So is queen to a7. Yeah, look at Wesley getting active first. So if queen b6
queen b6, queen c1.
Well, but there's no forced draw there. Queen c1.
King h2. Oh, check. I have g3 because the queen guards f2.
Yep, and you can take
very nice.
That pawn with check. So I would go king e6. There it is.
Yeah. Okay, nice move by Wesley. Now if queen to b7, we will just have a perpetual. The queen comes to f4 and back to c1, and it's going to be a draw. In fact, Hikaru knows it, kind of shakes his head, and actually just offers the draw because he knows it got away from him. So Wesley bending off an Italian position where he was a little worse, and back at it here. And again, I think at this point it has to be a question in the post-game coverage, regardless of even whether Hikaru, makes a comeback and wins. But he's down a game, and he's been consistently in just bad positions on the black side of the Italian.
Yeah. Time and time again, we've seen Wesley play this and get great position. And he's a great feel for positions like this. That's the most important. He plays the English as white. He plays e4. He likes these positions that give him a degree of flexibility, but sort of like one-sided flexibility, where he can maneuver and black has to sit a bit passively. And Hikaru playing a5 this time, thinking, I want to have some activity on the queen side.
Ooh, an a4.
Yeah, he's gone kind of all in on that side.
That's an aggressive idea to try to make sure this b pawn becomes a target.
But the a pawn can also become a quick target as well, right?
Yep.
By having the pawn in a4, as rook b1 was just played, maybe eventually rook to b4, a4 pawn feels quite vulnerable.
But it's a weird position because if white goes full defense mode and tries to hold the b5 pawn, then black has d5 in some positions, and that can kind of undermine the c4 and e4 pawns. So, okay, now we're just going to get a trade. No, you can't take a4 because then rook takes b1 just wins.
Yeah, because queen takes d7, rook takes e1 is check.
Check. That's called a Zwischenzug if you speak German chess terminology.
What does that mean? Was he just blundered?
I think he did.
Yep.
I wonder if he just straight up blundered that pawn. Oh my gosh, I was highlighting the instructive Zwischenzug, but it was just a blunder, and Hikaru finally getting a position where black is better in the Italian. And it came with a blunder, but he needs it.
And he should win.
He should win this game
because of the position, but I really mean he should win because of the match situation.
Yeah, he needs to level things up here.
He's down a game. If he can even it up, it just makes it much more difficult for Wesley to enter the bullet.
Yep.
And that's where we keep going back to. Yes, Hikaru is the heavy favorite, but Wesley is a pretty talented bullet player himself. But he needs to separate himself. That's what Wesley needs to do. Is turn that one game lead by the end of this.
But it's interesting. Did you think before the match that we would have this type of discussion? What Hikaru needs to do to equalize it out, right? He's the favorite by statistics and most human being perspective. But here, if you're just joining us, we have a dogfight here. Maybe Hikaru let the dogs out too early, and now they're fighting. But we have a battle, and it is a one-game lead currently for the underdog, Wesley So.
I definitely actually expected this. I really thought that Wesley can compete for sure with Hikaru in the longer time section. It's a pretty level match, right? 7-6, one game difference here. But I think that when all is said and done, the bullet will dictate what happens here. And if Wesley can hold on in the bullet section, he'll win this match.
Yep.
If Hikaru does what we know he's capable of, he should win the match.
Right.
But right now, this is not an easy position for him to win. Because, yes, he is up a pawn, but look at the b5 pawn. Look at the e5 pawn.
Yep.
And if you see what you play rook e8 as he just did, now your rook's a little tied down.
Yeah, and I was going to say, white can play rook c3, queen b4, hold back the c pawn. Now that's backward. So you're right. This is a position where black is still better. I mean, black's up a pawn, but it's not so clear how white or how black has a clear plan to win.
So now rook c5.
Rook to c8, preparing to push c5. So if white wants to say no suit for you, I'll put the rook there myself and hit e5.
And b5, right? So how do you protect both? That's a pawn.
Okay, it's an interesting pawn to give up, though, because this rook will be awkward for a few moments, and maybe there's some tactical consequences. Ooh.
Knight f5, though?
The rook wants to come into the d-file.
Oh, I like that move.
Hikaru's shaking his head. Doesn't agree with his pawn sacrifice for the d-file now in hindsight.
And that move is nice, just to not allow a queen trade, because what Hikaru was hoping for was to trade queens.
Yep.
And yes, it's even material.
Okay, that's a horrible move. Sorry, I was going to try to do something that showed the idea. Because even though it's even material, Hikaru would have just such an active rook, potential of coming to the second rank, and definitely winning chances in the endgame.
Yep. And now queen d2 is met by queen takes c6, so that's why Hikaru just slid his rook
Rook
over.
c8, but now maybe the knight comes back to f5. We got threats on e7 at some point.
Knight f5 looks perfect.
Yeah, and he does it.
Also, rook e7 is a big threat. In addition to knight
Yeah,
e7.
rook e7 hits
And
the
queen
G.
e8.
Yeah, but f4
Whoa.
unpins it.
Hikaru is wiping sleep from his eyes. Rook takes e8. Oh, the f4 pawn's hanging, though. I want to go rook e8, knight e8, queen takes c6.
Ah, but queen takes f4 at the end?
Right, that's my problem. So let's put, I mean, we should show it, right? So takes, if queen c6, I'm threatening. If you take on c6, then I have knight check.
Forky
But
mode.
after queen takes f4, maybe I just go knight g3 back and say your knight on,
e8's under fire.
and your pawn on b5, and your king
You're also threatening queen e6. Interesting.
takes. Okay, that's step one. Maybe I'll play e5 here as well. Yep, there's
Yeah.
e5. Okay, now queen takes c6.
Queen takes c6 is a fork.
Hikaru missed it. Look at that.
He's
Oh,
super frustrated.
but he still actually has a probably really good chance to
Yeah,
hold
because
this.
he's got that 2-on-1.
Yep. And so now knight d5 is a threat. Both the f4 pawn and pawn to b4. Just push. That's really what this comes down to. Is we've said this many times, right? Just who's quicker in the end game.
Yep.
And now after g4, black will go knight d5. Same idea.
That's a
Saying,
great
I don't care.
point.
I don't care about that.
It's
I'm
not
down
how
a
many
pawn.
pawns you have, it's who gets a queen first.
Yep.
And black surprisingly, yeah, he goes for it. So black surprisingly may actually still be better here, despite the pawn blunder.
It's a
Yet this
huge
is weird,
race.
though. This is weird.
Very weird.
This is
okay,
very
e6.
similar to actually the Magnus Carlsen game 1 victory in the Rapid over Fabiano Caruana,
This is
except
bad
it was
for-
rooks.
This is bad for Hikaru now. He let the pawn become a protected pass
Passer.
pawn, and now knight before covers a2.
You may still have g6,
But then I just go king g3, right?
and,
Like,
and I'm not in time to get tactics. Okay, so he's going to play h5 first.
I think it's already a losing position for Hikaru.
Wow. And that would be the first 2-game lead we've had for anyone? If Wesley So wins this game,
I think that would be the first
we could have our first 2-game lead of the match for anyone. And again, with a surprising storyline here that Wesley So is really putting Hikaru Nakamura to work.
Yeah, and Hikaru might be tired. He's playing in Italy,
Mhm.
you know, maybe some jet lag, but also what time is it there now? Probably like almost midnight,
I don't even know.
maybe 11.
I stopped keeping track of global time zones. The Hikaru is definitely frustrated, asking himself, "What am I doing?" Needs to pull it together. He knows it.
King g5. He's so upset. And I'm not laughing at him because he's upset. It's just I just
Well,
love.
I mean, I love that he's just so honest about how he feels, and here he's just resigning, quickly moving on, needs to bounce back, and we
D3?
have a 2-game lead here for Grandmaster Wesley So. This is going to be down to the wire, especially because so many people know what Hikaru Nakamura is capable in bullet.
Yep.
So this is what Wesley So needed to do, I think, to give himself a chance to win it, and a chance to win the match he does have. Yoda,
Yeah.
thank you.
And Hikaru started with d3 in this game, so I thought he was just going to venture into just uncharted territories, but
Right.
instead he goes right back into a
King's
King's
Indian attack. Almost a mouse slip makes you wonder. Yeah.
That's what I was wondering about. But I think he was just trying to get into this position. And look how fast he's moving. But maybe he's realizing that Wesley is not going to break. Right?
Right.
He's bent a couple times. He's lost some games, but Wesley's playing extremely well.
Yep.
So if he just can pressure him on the clock, maybe that's his best chance of winning. Because as we saw in the World Championship, right, when two of the top players in the world play, the likely result is a draw in
Right.
classical time control.
Right.
But sort of this same holds true in Blitz chess. The position will be relatively level,
Right.
but it's who's playing better that day, and also who can pressure the other player on the clock. So I think that's
Well, I think Hikaru also knows that when he's playing his best chess, he's often playing very fast, right? I mean, he and I talked about that at the Isle of Man. The video we have, it's on YouTube, it's on Twitch here, but I asked him some questions about, you know, where he's had some struggles this year, and he talked about he's often taking more time before he's about to make bad moves, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this game here, given that he's now up on the clock, maybe he's just like, hey, Hikaru, speed up, right? Giving himself a pep talk, trust yourself, and just move quickly. Because right now, we have those dancing heads moving a different direction than most people expected, with Wesley So moving up in our predictions as potential odds to win the match at this time. So
kind of looks like
interesting stuff.
maybe it's because we watched that Charlie Brown movie the other day, but it's
Yeah.
like flying a kite. I see.
Oh yeah,
Wesley
yeah.
going upward.
Hikaru, Robert's been watching a lot of movies with my 2 youngest kids. So he says we watched Charlie Brown. He forgets he watched Charlie Brown, and I was, doing other things.
Puzzle Rush?
Hey, I think I was doing the kitchen at that time.
I think you were.
But yeah. Okay. But Hikaru knows what he's in for here. And he's still very, very fast and very good at what he does. So a victory is needed here. You don't want to lose 3 games in a row.
And both sides are actually waiting for the exchange to happen because Hikaru wants Wesley to take on e3 so he can take back with the knight and throw his knight into the d5 square. Wesley wants Hikaru to take on c5 so his knight improves in 1 turn. So rook d5. What happens after knight f6? Now knight f6?
Yeah, but yeah, it just seems like a simple way to defend. So again, I think Hikaru is kind of miscalculating some tactics here. You can play queen to c4, by the way. That might be an interesting idea. Because if the knight takes the rook, you take back with the pawn in fork emote. So he doesn't go for that. That was an interesting way to try to keep the fight for the d-file alive. But Hikaru surrenders the d-file. And Wesley kind of slowly working his way back into it. g6 guards f5.
Yeah. I mean, Hikaru's still ahead on the clock, but
Yep.
not by that much, only 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And Wesley's rating
Just
keep
crossed
pointing
the
out,
3,000
it's
threshold.
exactly
right?
3,000, yeah.
And that's actually an achievement for Wesley because he is a very active player on Chess.com and he cares about his rating and normally not rocking above 3,000, at least as often as Hikaru, who still is above 3,000 despite losing the last 2.
So let's see, how can Hikaru make any progress here? e4 under attack, he needs to defend that. Knight d2 would be a huge blunder. What is that? Okay, I was about to highlight why knight d2 would have been a huge blunder, and instead he puts knight g4. So, okay, e5's hanging. Gotta keep an eye on that pawn.
Right. Maybe he wants the h-file.
It's not getting it. Just king g7 just closes that side down.
Yeah, there's nothing over there.
And the d-file's already a problem. And now knight d2 is a huge blunder once again because rook takes d2. You don't want to allow tactics to ruin your set. Okay, look at this position for black, right?
Black is turning things around again. Okay, Hikaru going for counterplay, willing to give up the g4 pawn in order for access to the queen side and maybe the light squares, and he goes for that. Check, he's going to take, and then, ooh.
I like that king f8 move.
But I was worried that there'd be more tactics with the king on like these diagonals and checks over here, but okay.
But you keep your knight protected, right? So it might save you a critical tempo at some moment. So
Yeah, good point, especially if the queens come off the board, your king is also closer to being in the center.
So I kind of want to play g5 here. Very risky move, but by playing g5, I can put my knight on g6 next for black, and then threaten the knight f4 because your pawn on g3 is pinned. And there it is, g5. It's getting very tricky position here. The queen takes a5. I guess knight g6 just looks
Yeah,
promising.
you're threatening knight f4.
Yeah.
Hikaru's going to have to take a moment to make sure he can allow that. Either that or he may go for queen c5, which pins the knight and threatens the c-pawn.
That might be a smart move, c5. Because the extra pawn isn't so meaningful here. It's
Yeah,
more
the
about
pressure
king
is. In
safety.
fact, if you can get this and maybe get your own rook in the game without e4 falling so quickly, that's an idea. Oh,
So-
no, he takes it. He decides he can get away with this, so he's going to call the bluff of knight g6. You know, because, he's got queen takes c7 coming. All right, well, ooh, knight h2. Hikaru calculating his way into defending those threats. Now he gets queen c5, and even a5 is coming. Hikaru has found his way to be better in the endgame, and this is a big game right here. I feel like if Hikaru can weather the storm, despite his frustrations of the last 2 games, it would be huge.
Uh-oh. Here comes that knight going from
Oh,
e3.
that knight might go to h6 to f5.
Oh, knight h6, knight queen f7, mate, and queen
Mate
g check.
and
That's
g8.
great. Yeah.
Look at that. Calling my name Hikaru. I want you on the square. This is weird. Hikaru.
So okay, now the white king's a bit open as well.
Yeah, but queen f2 is met by rook e2. I think
And-
Hikaru weathered the storm
Yeah,
here.
and rook f1's and I mean everything's happening here.
Okay, he goes to e3 to come to f5.
So rook d1. Yep.
That sounded like a little. There was an old lady who swallowed the fly, goes to e3 to come to f5, and now I've got a skewer on the line. And this match is almost tied. Yeah, I think Wesley will resign here, and we move on.
Wow.
Big win there. Big win there for Hikaru Nakamura.
I didn't expect that to happen because
Yeah.
Wesley was the one who was better at a certain moment, and Hikaru really got nothing
Yep.
out of the early stage of that game. But a huge win for him.
Well, there you go. We have a one-game lead. We have speed chess hype. The hype is real. This is exciting. The finals is going to come down to the wire at this point. That seems where we're headed. Hikaru Nakamura fending off what could have been the first 3-game lead in the match, and then you start talking whoa, right? I don't know why I said whoa, but that's what you start saying after 3-game leads happen. So.
Yeah, and I still am saying a little bit of whoa because I don't like that he keeps coming back to this position.
Yep.
We talk about the Italian. We said that Wesley's been doing very well with it
Yep.
from the white side. He's going to go rookie 2 here.
Well, rook F1 goes away from his favorite rookie 2.
I guess he was worried about some sacrifices on the F3 square.
Hikaru's like, what am I doing? He's just shaking his head like, yeah, I don't like what I'm thinking about. Okay, so now he's going to have to deal with the same type of space advantage that So's been getting consistently in this Italian. And
a bad pawn structure.
yeah, and again, I mean, I know Hikaru hasn't liked some of his calculation and things, but again, from a match strategy, we know he looked at the Italian for Levon. Maybe he felt like that was the easy one to roll out against Wesley So, but it is not working here. I mean, he's just...
If I were him, I would switch to Sicilian.
I would switch to the Sicilian. I would...
I've pretty much... He plays the Caro-Kann sometimes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't play the Caro-Kann against Wesley.
He's even played a Pierce at times.
Yeah. But those type of positions are great, especially when you're playing lower-rated players, when you have more experience. And
I mean, you don't want to take on a less than the best opening against a 2,800 player like Wesley So, but I just think at this point, even if you came prepared to play the Italian, it's not working.
Right, and that's why I'm saying Sicilian in particular, because I think those other openings we mentioned are perfectly playable openings, of course, but it's a space issue, and I think that's what Hikaru's really struggling with, is when he's not getting enough space in his position, he's ending up not finding the best plans, and then Wesley is punishing him. And now he's doing a good job in this particular game because he's coming on...
Yeah, he's maneuvered his way out of what was a bad start for Black, and now here comes knight h5. These are the positions Hikaru wants.
Right.
Space on the king side.
So if queen g6, we could actually see a repetition here. Knight h4, queen f6, knight back to f3, and then
Hikaru would take that, I think. Take that with a chance to move back to playing with the white pieces. I think that's where we're headed.
Yeah, because he's... Okay, he went knight d4, which I'm not positive... Okay, actually that makes sense. If bishop takes d4, pawn takes d4, the black knight is coming to the f4 square soon. So it still is looking promising here.
Yep.
So bishop d4.
Yeah, this is where Hikaru can do well. I mean, look at the f-file.
So just... Okay, I would say, was he going to just move his knight away, but that looked too passive. How do you can't stop knight f4 from coming.
Yeah. No, this is the kind of Italian I think Hikaru envisioned when he said, I'm going to take on these positions as Black.
Yeah.
And it's just the first time he's gotten it.
So okay.
Ooh.
But I just take it.
Take it. Hikaru wants it.
Or queen
Hikaru
g6.
want mate. Hikaru want attack.
Queen g6, nice move.
Hikaru want king.
Rook takes f3 is threatened.
Hikaru want king.
Rook takes f3 is a hanging piece as well, in addition to the arrows you drew. I wanted you to draw more arrows. So you're not going to draw the arrow?
If
I just
you're
want you to draw
into it,
one
if
arrow.
you're into it,
not the arrow
I'll play it all night long, Lionel Richie.
You still haven't drawn the arrow I want you
Which
to draw.
I know you're threatening rook takes f3, but So's not going to allow that.
But
this is the plan that's concrete, Robert.
I think winning a free piece is the most concrete plan available.
Okay, I will show Robert's line. If Wesley plays this move, I will just show the line. But as I said, not going to happen. And here comes my move, knight f4. Thank you. Okay. Now you can't take h3 right away, which would undefend the knight because of the discovery on the queen. But maybe Hikaru should have played the move you said, just take e5 when it was there. Because now things are getting a little shaky.
Oh, I'm surprised he did take e5 in that moment when he just did. I thought he was going to take on d3. The pawn was hanging for a while.
The point now, everyone, is if the knight comes back, we'll get the tactic I wanted before. You take and you undermine the defense of the f3 knight, and with it, probably quickly win the game. So Wesley has to defend the knight on e5, but not allow those types of tactics. Do you play the other rook to e1? But then knight e2. Oh, very nice. We have attacks here.
You went knight g4 to avoid this.
Yeah, but then Hikaru gobbles d3.
So it's queen d7. There.
e6, d4,
b7,
f2. These are all hanging pawns.
And b7. I mean, everything's
b7. it's all hanging. All right. So Hikaru gets f2 first, but I wonder if Wesley helped himself a lot by being able to grab one with check and defend g4.
Yeah, I would have taken on e6 there with check.
Yeah, I thought he would. But now Hikaru has a Zwischenzug. When e5 and he finds it, it guards e6.
And rook a to e1 is just
but then rook e2.
But then I take queen d4. Okay, black is up a pawn there.
Oh, look at you. Look at my baby girl waking up over here next to me.
But up
You're
a
calculating now.
Well, that's what we just got, but it's up a pawn.
Still good for black, though. I agree with you.
But still, if the queens get traded, you're only a pawn down. It could have some chances to hold. But the problem is the king safety. The pawn e6 actually really helps black's king, whereas white's king will never find true safety here. Yeah, this is looking very nice for Hikaru, and be a great comeback for him considering where we just saw him 2 games ago. Even last game when he was down 2 and looked like he was on his way to losing a third.
No, but if Hikaru wins this, again, he will have stopped the bleeding with vengeance, right? Pretty sure that's Bruce Willis's next movie.
Rook f1.
Rook takes b4, and if you take a6, we have queen e5 check after rook b1.
Oh, nice. And rook b4,
Boom.
queen a6.
Boom.
Yep.
Boom. 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 Hikaru sees it. Hikaru won it. Okay. Wesley doesn't allow it. Queen c3, but now the rook can come to the second rank, and we're hitting the g2 pawn.
Okay.
Okay. Also good.
What
also good because you're threatening rook f1.
Yeah. Try to trade pieces because he's up 2 pawns here.
Okay, but he's also still guarding a6, so you can't even take it because we'll take on g2 first.
Right.
So Hikaru can play a move like e5, right? And maybe that's the move.
No, e5, I then take on a6.
But then I take g2,
and then
takes,
I have queen
take.
e4
Oh,
check
you have
again.
queen e4 at the end, and if queen g6, you take e5.
Oh, right
a
away.
fork we didn't even see.
You were talking about
I was highlighting that it was there, but I
G6.
didn't see it was so direct. G6 and queen g7. There is no perpetual, only Zool. That's a Ghostbusters Keymaster reference. You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, the king will just go up to f5 and
This was a slightly awkward approach from black. I feel like the line I was saying with g6 and the queen comes all the way back around was also enough for Hikaru, but okay, this should win. And Wesley also down to 19 seconds. We're kind of seeing the first signs of Hikaru being the faster one in these nearly equal position time scrambles. So that's dangerous if you're a So guy. Look at that maneuver. He is such a beast calculating these bullet games.
Yep.
Eric Hansen just had a flashback panic attack watching that game, right? That's how I feel like the amount of times I've seen him beat the chess bras in positions like that. It's nuts. That's nothing against them. I mean, they adopt me on a regular basis, but
I've been on the losing end to Hikaru many times.
that was bananas how fast he calculated that. Let's remind everybody of the daily question. If you could change one thing about the SEC format, what would it be? We're asking that in all earnest because we love you. We appreciate you. Thanks for being here watching. And if you enjoy the format, we've already got opinions on bringing Fisher Random back, which, again, Fisher Random is the same thing as Chess 960. There was some confusion there. That's just a branding mistake by whoever did that long ago. It's called 960 because there are 960 possible positions when you do the power of 8 there and flip everything around on the back rank. But Fisher Random because Bobby Fischer pretty much invented it. Anyway, so that's a quick history lesson as to why it's Fisher Random versus 960. Get involved and let us know if you have any other ideas that you would like to see implemented for the SEC. Right now, Wesley So wants to implement some new ideas.
Can I give one?
Yeah, what's your idea?
Stop repeating the same openings when they're not working for you. Oh wait, that's more
that's
individual
advice for
player
the players.
advice.
Yeah,
okay,
I was gonna
gotcha.
say
That's not a format thing.
Yeah, that's not a format thing. That's your coaching advice kicking in.
Yeah.
Teaching moment by Bobby Hess brought to you.
I mean, Hikaru's position is bad again with the white pieces. Just black has more space. This pawn on d3 is going to be a target here.
Yep.
So is bishop f5. I guess he can just take on d3 now. Okay, if you take on d3, there's going to be some queenside counter chances for Hikaru. So maybe I spoke quick second too soon.
Yeah, Wesley kind of skeptical of the right plan here. I think he likes his position, but that facial expression, I think he just doesn't exactly know the right plan he wants. He knows he likes orange juice, though.
Try to go b6 at some point, just to keep his king safer. It sounds weird, right? You're keeping your king safer by pushing
moving a pawn around it, but in this case, b7 is such a target. You want to get it off that spot there. Move it from b7 so you don't have to worry about it. Yeah, and he agrees with you.
And the problem for white as well is you can't go c5 because your knight on d5 is hanging. So you need to figure out how to handle both.
Yeah, you want to pry open things, but keep your knight on that dominant square, and you may not be able to have both. So maybe he's calculating ideas where he comes back and plays c5, but Wesley has already achieved the counterplay with e4 that black wants in this line.
And now you can even move your knight away from c6, right? I was going to say you could take and play knight e5. Or bishop e6. That's two. Coming after the d3 pawn. Threatening g5 at some point. Also, knight can come to d4 or e5.
It's a weird direction this game is headed. I feel like Hikaru's counterplay is just being kicked back, and Wesley's position just remains very clear, very direct as far as the weakness you're going to attack. Not sure what Hikaru was thinking there with the queenside play. Maybe he can still play c5 and try to sacrifice his pawn, go for an opposite colored bishop ending. That would give drawing chances, but he's definitely just much worse here. Wesley playing quickly and relaxed, lifting up the arm, right?
Whoa, did he just miss queen g4 instead of king to b7? Was that possible? I guess you could take on e5 first. My idea was to play knight f3 check and your knight on f4 is hanging.
Yep.
But there might...
Intermezzo.
Yeah, that probably isn't.
Now, Hikaru does see that idea coming, though. He plays h3 to kind of stop that.
Look at that.
Yeah, the d3 pawn's falling. Hikaru probably thought he could take here, but...
Just pawn takes back, right?
Yeah, I think he's going to go for a line like this and just accept that he's worse in this major piece ending and try to hold.
That's actually probably the smartest way to handle this. It's still great for black.
Yeah, you have this idea. There's some separated pawns. Black's better, but that looks like maybe your best option.
So this is happening. So
yeah, he takes e5.
Because you don't want to go knight e2. That's just
no knight e2. Yeah. So he goes for that line. There we go.
By the way, queen takes g5 is not a threat here.
Because of
So maybe h5 is a move for black. But okay, e5.
Well, he guards it anyway, and I think Hikaru will play rook e3, like I was saying earlier, and then you can try to, get surgical up in this and maybe slowly inch your way to targets. But black has the majority.
Rook d6 I would play for black. Just
so he's
protect
going for that right away instead of rook e3.
Yeah, I think either way rook d6 is going to be the response. And now, okay, rook c1 is a good move. If rook c6 you take, and black can't protect both e5 and h6 at the same time.
Yeah, good point. If you take with the queen, you guard h6 but e5. If you take with the king, you guard e5 but not h6. Story of my life.
Well, let's see. I don't want to go rook d7 back, but does
Because then h6 falls. Yeah, Hikaru has found his way to kind of create some counterplay here despite the dubious opening, and it's nice that he took that knight d5 approach. So he's holding.
So what
okay,
happens
well,
if
he's
going to
give e5,
check?
but then what?
You have to calculate queen c1, queen f4 check. It probably doesn't actually lead to a winning game for black.
Yeah,
but you always have to consider what happens if I start trading some pieces.
Yep.
I actually like what Wesley's doing.
Yeah, he's trying to just use the majority on the queen side, but Hikaru could play f4 and say, look, I know I'm still drawing it best. In fact, he goes for it, and I think this is the right practical approach, because sometimes people are too hesitant to open their king and queen endings, because obviously you give a bunch of checks. But the point is, when you're worse, you just have to go for lines like this, I think, because you're accepting that your best result is a draw. But if Wesley doesn't take it, here comes the f-pawn.
Right.
And I think that's actually a really inadvertently instructive moment there for everyone. And look at the evaluation. I think white is actually going to have much better chances to draw, and black may have to bail out with a perpetual because that f-pawn is so fast.
Also, the queen on e5 is
just a beast in the center. And again, it's just sometimes people lose those endgames because they're too hesitant to open their own king, but learn from Hikaru.
Trying. I've been trying my whole life.
You know what? I'm right there with you, buddy.
Okay, so is he going to go...
Yeah, I think Hikaru saved it.
Yeah, he did.
And so now, like we said, if Wesley doesn't take the draw, he may lose, right? And that's one of those things that is just really instructive there from how Hikaru played f4. That's a takeaway. Put it in your pocket, all right? It's good for later.
It's funny that you said take the draw, because we didn't even know that the draw was offered. You said that.
Yeah, I didn't.
That was a game draw by mutual agreement.
I've just been, I laid off the coffee today. My brain's doing better without the coffee.
Is it?
It is, legit.
Proud of you.
This right here is water. People are like, I want whatever Danny's drinking. It's water, I promise you.
Yep.
Relax.
It's high quality H2O.
This is just nothing but some high quality H2O, Bobby Boucher.
Yep.
Okay, we're back to rook e2 instead of rook f1.
This decision by Hikaru to break the pawn.
This is much better for Hikaru than the last one we saw, though, with the d5 break already happening.
But now the queen b3 happens. They defend d5 and f3 at the same time.
Me likey.
Hikaru has to prove he can get back this pawn.
Yep.
And I'm not sure he's getting it back.
Yeah, Wesley's just going to hold on to it. The bishop will probably back up to d7 because I don't think taking makes any sense. Then you can ask the question after bishop. Whoa, he's going to overload the queen first, because if she leaves the third rank, now I will trade.
Right. But if you go bishop d7, I go knight e5.
Ah, you're right. Gosh, that would be so dominant. In fact, that's why he had to do it.
Okay,
Hikaru going to say, you either take on double pawns or you give me back my d-pawn.
I would take the double pawns.
Yeah, he takes the double pawns to hold on to it.
Now the question is, do I go bishop f4, encouraging black to take on f4, which
yeah,
doubles
fix my
those
structure,
pawns,
yeah.
and I'll plant my rook on e5 next, But I'm worried about the queen coming to B4. Ooh,
What do you play?
G4.
G4. I can use my G4 remote for the first time. Where's it at? I'm coming. I'm finding you.
So C6 by Hikaru is the
My
response.
favorite.
Okay, now there's a big problem.
My favorite emote spot. There you go. Glad I got to use that today.
Rook F1 now. I guess Rook F1. There's Knight F tactic somehow.
Yeah, and no, but that kind of stops
then,
that.
Then
yeah.
Rook E4. No. Well, the D4 pawn's hanging with check is my point.
No, but you can't do it. Oh, you get the bishop. Duh. I'm wrong. I'm sorry. And there's no. Yeah. Okay, so that was the tactic. But queen b4 also going after the d4 pawn through the bishop, perhaps.
Yeah, and the analysis that we're doing. Okay, clearly didn't happen, but
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm highlighting the analysis board, but.
yeah.
All right. Well, we're watching the live game here.
It's important to note the knight on d5 is kind of stuck there for a little bit at
Yeah,
least.
we were just highlighting this idea, but you didn't miss anything. Don't worry. A3.
But the knight's stuck because sometimes if you try to move the knight, the g6 knight is hanging.
Yeah,
the bishop.
because of the pin. Very nice.
I like that move, rook f2. Sort of an obvious move, but a strong one. Also, why can you play h4, h5 to kick that knight away from the g6 square and try to launch an attack?
And the one thing we got to observe about how Wesley has rebounded here is he's not down on time nearly like he was.
Love that move too.
You can see two.
Because now after
hitting
b5, it's
a4.
now bishop d, bishop d3,
Bishop
queen takes
d3
d4.
would be a full risk.
Oh, I don't like that move.
Queen takes a4 is going to allow queen d4 check and then b5. Or b5 right away. It's a fork. Oh, Hikaru feeling it.
Oh,
He's just blundering the piece.
Yeah,
and
Wesley
Wesley.
just grab his mouth. He's
Oh my gosh. Talk about the opposite reaction you're hoping for. Wesley's going to try to get some counterplay, but he just miscalculated and blundered that bishop on g5.
and queen e3 check is a good move because you want to, rook takes g7 is a threat.
Yep.
So you can't take on f7 right now because rook takes f7, queen takes f7 check. But Wesley is very upset. I mean, you saw him grab his mouth there.
Yeah. You move the knight first, it looks like. That's the key.
You can also do that, I guess.
Hit g2, guard g7. Okay, that's what I thought Hikaru would do, but
He did this so he could take on f7.
that makes sense. Yeah, now you're guarding everything. Take f7 and put the king
But
here. And
that still isn't so clear.
ooh. What? Sorry, that was just totally just my honest reaction to
that was not a good decision. He just hung a c6 pawn. That's why we both.
He's like, what am I doing?
Like,
Well, first of all, I think my knight h4 was much better to start, right?
well, the same thing happens, right? You trade rooks in f8,
Yeah, and then what?
and then you go queen a8 check and take on c6.
No.
Take on f8 again.
Okay, and you guard g2 at the end of the line. Okay,
Yeah.
so maybe this position was never as super simple as you thought. So he's going to have to prove himself. I think Hikaru's still very good winning chances here. The queen and knight are so tricky, but definitely much better for So than it could have been, given that he has drawing chances with the open king here.
And it's actually one of the positions you were just saying before. If you press too much, you could actually backfire and lose.
Yeah.
The knight can actually lose because when white takes on c6, then white will take on b5, and I have 3 pawns for the knight.
Yeah. And then black may have to bail out with some sort of draw, right?
Yep. So that's what it looks likely at this point.
Yeah, Hikaru, if he's bailing out with the draw, he's definitely just acknowledging his frustration with how he handled that. But something tells me he's still going to try for a win. Just wait. I don't know. But
Is it for
okay.
brown
No,
look
I'm
number
wrong.
6?
I'm wrong.
Okay.
Oh no, that was 14 again. It's the look over the shoulder that says he's thinking about the past.
Sad.
Again, I've cataloged these. They are very well known.
When the past bogs you down like that.
Past bogs you down by that, right?
Got to move on.
Yep. Yesterday's history. Tomorrow a mystery.
I'm not finishing that one.
Today
I know
is a
it.
gift. Okay.
that-
What else is a
that's
gift
what's
is
so
all
cool
of you
about it.
following us, whether you're with us on Twitch, 20,000 of you, Chess.com TV, or on Twitter. Here's some answers to our daily question. I'd like to see you bring back the +2 increment instead of +1. Interesting. That's moving the other way. Some of the requests to make it faster. You get better games, less flags. It's true. It's true. Okay. I'd like to see more players involved in the competition. That's going to happen because we're going to have more qualifiers for some of the younger juniors. We're going to I don't know that the main event itself is ever going to be more than 16, but as far as the opportunities for qualification to get there, I think we do have a lot of excitement about that. Now, this is a line that we've seen both these players go for.
Wesley beat Hikaru with
in this line at the U.S. Championship.
And the
or
white
was it the Singfield Cup? It was the
Singfield
Singfield Cup.
Okay.
Okay.
For the white side of this opening.
Yeah, so this is Hikaru playing something that Wesley's played, trying to maybe beat him with his own medicine.
And, well, speaking of beating him with his own medicine, Wesley just pulled off Hikaru look number...
Does Wesley
11?
looked... No, that number 7 is remembering opening theory. Number 7 is opening theory.
Yeah, but how about the look to the side?
No, okay, that's 11.
Okay, that's what
He's
I thought.
calculating.
Yeah, and Wesley was doing that before.
But it was early enough that he was remembering theory.
Okay, gotcha.
Amateurs over here.
I've
trying to beat me in my own Hikaru look catalog game. I mean,
sorry.
No, I'm kidding. No, you did great.
I tried
no,
my
I loved
best.
it. No, but seriously, we were both right to remember the Singfield Cup. Was that this year or the year? That was 2017. 2016.
Yeah.
2 years ago. Okay.
Time flies
Wow. When you're having fun.
when we're commentating together.
Yeah, thank you. Anyway, but yeah, this is interesting, and both sides sort of primed here. These guys know this is a close match. Somebody in the chat was just saying comeback for Wesley. If you look at the scoreboard, still even, right? There is no comeback needed for either player right now. Both sides trying to get their first lead. These are two heavyweight fighters going at it, and we only have 10 minutes left here before we get into the bullet. All the anticipation and wondering will be over, and we'll see how Wesley can hold in the fastest segment.
Yeah, this position has the ugliest pawn structure I think in any opening in chess.
Yep.
But there are some themes
but Black has yeah. Go ahead.
If Bishop E7, for example.
Yep.
There's sometimes you can go Rook D5 and sacrifice.
Yep. In fact, that's exactly what Wesley did when he beat Hikaru in the Singfield Cup that year. Not this exact position, but it was the same type of thing where
Hikaru did that. Yeah.
You fix your structure, and you've got all kinds of opportunities for counterplay. So Hikaru taking a think here, takes the C6 pawn.
Okay.
But you still have the exchange sack idea in a lot of positions because this C pawn is so strong, and because the activity of these pieces kind of makes up for the exchange sack. So again, you can look up that game, the Wesley So versus Hikaru Nakamura game there. And
that was a really nice game. And then now F3. Okay, the
That's
idea is clearly to play E4, but White is down a pawn. That C pawn, as you mentioned, is a pass pawn.
Yep.
Rook B1's coming. Ding.
Oh, very nice. And now actually Black is getting the counterplay you want in this line.
Yeah, E4 didn't come in time.
Yeah, White is one move too short from preventing this idea.
And your bishop on A3 has to stay there. You Bishop C1, try not to trade the rooks. Queen C5 check, wins that bishop on C6.
Oopsie poopsie.
And that's the downside playing with F3. You open up the diagonal. King can become a bit vulnerable. But if you take on B1, rook takes B1, queen B1, similar idea. If you go king F2, there's queen B6 check. So you got to watch out for this. So king G2 was just played.
He plays king G2, but now A2 is going to fall, right?
And after A2 falls, E2 is hanging.
Yeah. I think Hikaru has something to figure out here, and he's played bishop B2 very quickly, so maybe he feels he can hold the opposite color bishop ending.
And I actually think Wesley missed an opportunity for more instead of playing queen takes A2, but that's a story for another day. But I think he actually could have got more out of this position with the queens on the board. Because the king on G2 became vulnerable. And now here, 2 pawns extra.
Yeah, Black is up 2 pawns. Hikaru's showing us the scowl, which, is understandable. He knows he has his work cut out for him. But Black has other things to figure out. This bishop lacks clear plans. This bishop is a beast, right? No dark square counterpart for Black. And White's king gets active much more quickly. So I think Black is better, but Wesley knows this is not a super easy kind of endgame to win.
Well, he went bishop C8 to go bishop D7. I don't know how you stop that.
Oh, owie. That hurts.
And Hikaru's looking...
Hikaru's like, what? This is dumb. Yeah, but now bishop D7 happens anyway.
No matter what, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. And
because bishop B7, bishop F6, pawn takes F6.
Yep.
And
Simple.
you can't take my D7 bishop because B2. There it is.
Simple. Push him, baby.
Take that.
That's
bishop.
interesting. That's not the worst transition for White if you can keep these 2 pawns backward.
He's going knight E8. Oh,
knight E8
then
to
E5.
D6.
I would go E5 probably.
E5 keeps the knight from reaching those desirables. Indeed, Hikaru sees that. This is still weird. Again, I think Wesley's favored here, and he may jump back to a lead before we head into bullet. But
F6. Yeah.
F6, F4.
Only move it.
Yeah, but it's not that easy for Black.
But the problem for White is the king can't run too far because then Black will go king G6. So take on E5.
Look at you using both sides of the board. You just passed my test. F plus.
He decided. Okay, he's gonna go king D7, pawn C6. That's his plan now.
Okay, but the king gets the C5 just in time.
G5. Oh no, G5. You know G4 and lock my
G5,
knight in.
G4, and your knight is never free. Look at that. Look at that beast.
And
That's a donkey again.
I just want to break free from the chains. So
You wish you could.
so go H5 to start with, I guess. But then you go H3 still.
Yeah, the dog days are just beginning for that knight.
Yeah.
Look at that. G4, H3. The knight has nowhere to go. It's a hemmed-in pony.
I think it's a draw.
Yeah, if Hikaru plays for a win, he loses because black gets c6. So if you're wondering, why doesn't Hikaru go get the pawn, but then black would get c6? What an interesting save there. Look at this battle. This is like Hikaru was better last game, push, barely, didn't come up.
Yep.
Right? And then So's better in that game, but Hikaru holds on, and we have nothing but a gridlock, baby.
Yeah, I'm
Not
surprised.
to be confused with a G thing. Gridlock.
I'm surprised that just happened because I really thought Wesley was going to win that one easily, and he went 98, which I suggested, and then immediately regretted after E5. So.
Amazing how quickly the knight got trapped there.
Yeah. And I think what Wesley's big mistake was he brought the king over to the queen side, which is so natural.
Yep.
But he kept the queen on the king. Excuse me, the king on the king side. We talk about decoys, right? The pawns and the queen side were decoys. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is very likely going to be our last game here in the 3-minute portion, assuming that those 5 minutes disappear before someone blunders. And then we move on to bullet, and then people are already thinking, hey, what if this whole thing remains tied after bullet? Well, we have overtime that immediately ensues. If we want to remind everybody of the format, we can, but it's a little tricky, but because we might actually have a tie here, maybe it's useful to tell you what happens if the Speed Chess Championship goes into tiebreakers. We have... Actually, I don't even know. Can we bring back the format image really, really quickly? Because I actually need to remember. Okay, if the match is tied, it's a 1+1 game. A tiebreak of 4 additional 1+1 games is played. So they play 4 games. That's actually new this year. This is what happens when Pete makes the rules and not me. Anyway, just kidding, Pete. Love you, buddy. And if the match is still tied after that mini-match, we have a single Armageddon game. White getting 5 minutes and black getting 3 minutes. So, all right, back to the chess here. But I actually needed to remember because I was asked a question just now by our producer in my ear, and I actually didn't know the answer. Did you know that we had 4 1+1 games?
No, because I leave that stuff up to you, which is my
well, apparently
mistake.
I left that stuff up to Pete, and we've got... I think Pete did that because he wants more chess. He's a big chess fan, that guy. Go figure. I think in the past, the way it worked was if we went to overtime, it was just whoever won.
Comes 94. Yeah. Ooh, pawn takes c4.
Whoa, pawn takes c4.
Okay. Well, the knight f6 is hanging, but the queen on d2 is now hanging as well with the open file. So queen needs to figure out where to go. Don't want to go to c3 because that allows knight d5 with a big tempo. Maybe queen c1.
I love how you couldn't finish your sentence
Queen
there.
b2.
That was
Queen
adorable.
c1. I don't know.
There's a lot of squares. You went
There.
to c1 ultimately. Okay, we'll take it. Now the knight does have to move. Indeed, it does. I actually like this for black. I feel like the activity's coming, and now there's a little trick here. Watch out for bishop takes h3.
Oh. So will that
Tacticos.
now rook takes e3.
Okay, now you got to take with the rook after trading, or the queen. Any piece that guards f3.
Yeah, you didn't want to take with the queen because c4 would have been hanging there.
I guess I liked Hikaru too soon because I thought the bishop pair would get nasty over here. But now that the smoke has cleared, I look at the c5 pawn and I like it for white.
Yeah, you're up a pawn, right? But still, the bishops are very good pieces, of course. Is queen f4 coming here? Just to sort of pin the rook down, hit the c4 pawn. But I guess after queen f4, there's queen to b1. That's one of white's main ideas here. Is if queen b1 happens, then g6 and b7 are under attack. In fact, queen b1 here is certainly an option. Because you would love to remove that g6 pawn so your knight can go into h5 or f5 on that side of the board as well.
Okay, Wesley finds another way to gain a tempo.
Because if queen takes c4, rook c3 is coming.
And that's a piece, although it's not.
Yeah, but I'm just claiming my rook on the 7th rank is definitely worth the exchange that we just saw happen.
Yeah, I don't know, though.
I don't know either.
Is it?
Whoa.
Okay, Hikaru trades.
Okay, so he's going to go b5, only move.
Yeah, save the piece. Save Ferris.
Ferris Bueller?
No. Save Ferris. No, Hikaru doesn't think it's the only move. He thinks that bishop d3 or bishop d5 are also possible.
Interesting.
Okay, he goes with it, but that's what he was calculating, I think.
Because a4 threatens to undermine that bishop, but at the same time, I don't want to give...
You mean, a4 for white, yeah.
Yeah, a4 for white. I just don't want to give a passed pawn so easily on that side of the board.
Yep.
Bishop takes e5 is not hanging here. Yep.
Okay, it is.
He's going to transpose into a pawn down, but likely drawn endgame. Knight takes c5, rook d2, knight c4, bc4, rook c4. So all this is happening. You take on a2, you just go rook c6 or rook c7. Whatever. The point is you put the rook behind the pawn.
Yep.
And
the question is, will Hikaru try to push on, or if they take a quick draw, we might actually get one more 3-minute game.
Hikaru would be very smart to push this on until the time.
Yeah, I think so. And Hikaru is the most experienced player in the format, and I think he's aware of the situation. So if he does take the draw quickly, it's because he wants another 3-minute game. I would bet Hikaru is aware of just how much time is left.
Yeah, he can take himself down to 30 seconds and then just offer a draw. But if he doesn't, although actually, if you think about it, he has white in the next game, and
that's true. Maybe he wants one more white. I mean, at this point, it's the debate: does Hikaru want bullet, or does Hikaru want another chance to get a win with the white pieces? Now he's going aggressive for this opportunity. The point is, once the king gets too close, now you start checking from behind.
Right.
Okay, you could have checked last move, but even this is just fine. You wait, and this will be instructive for the members here because, okay, officially we have indeed crossed into the realm of 1-minute chess is around the corner. So don't go anywhere. This is a deadlock match. We couldn't have asked for more here at the Speed Chess Championship Finals. I think this game's going to end up in a draw.
So don't look at the engine bar on the left side.
And let me just show everybody the analysis. If this king touches here, okay, so let's say the king touches. As soon as it's guarding the pawn, what happens is white gives check from behind and then goes right back. And so if you're looking at the analysis and wondering why is this a draw, the point is the king can never touch the pawn without getting checked. And if you can't ever protect the pawn, then your rook can never move because then the pawn hangs straight up.
Yep.
So this is just an endgame. You just have to know in the back of your head as a strong chess player that if you get the rook stuck here with the pawn, without some other weaknesses on this side of the board, you just can never win because the king makes the long journey, gets checked away, and we rinse and repeat like shampoo. Again, these guys both sporting very good sets of hair, no dandruff so far in the Speed Chess Championship. Love delivering the most serious information of all. I'm also going to love commentating on the bullet portion because we're locked at 10. Let's go! Dude, 10 games apiece. This is exciting. It's hype. Chess bras, eat your heart out. Okay, let's do it. We're going to be back in just a few moments. Don't go anywhere. And since we are tied here, heading into the bullet portion of the Speed Chess Championship final, I'm going to remind everybody what happens if the match is tied. If the last 1-1 bullet game is not enough for us to have a clear winner, there will be 4 additional 1-1 games played, a little mini match, kind of just like the World Chess Championship rapid format, meaning first to 2.5 points is going to win. And if the match is still tied after that, we will have an Armageddon game. So maybe Pete just aligned himself with the World Chess Championship rules so he gets format credit. Let's remind everybody, of course, of what the daily question was and a couple of the great tweets we had. Here we had one that in football they have a mic'd up where they play audio clips from the players after big plays. That is actually a very intuitive comment, and I could tell you that something we're working on for future events we might do at the for like the live finals when we hold kind of our esport events. That may be something we have already discussed or not. I obviously just said it was, so good job, Danny. Spoiler alert, you suck. Okay, moving on. I'd like the Speed Chess to become the World Chess Championship format. Thank you, Lorenz Platzman. That's about as good of a comment you can have. If you are wondering what these tweets are about, the daily question was asking directly, what would you change about the Speed Chess Championship format if you could? You have your last chance to get involved. The best answers get diamond memberships. We're already going to give away a few diamond memberships to some of the great comments we've had. So if you have any comments you want to give in the last half hour, this is your chance. This is the chance for both these guys to take home big prizes. We got $5,000 on the line to the winner, then an additional $5,000 based on win percentage, $10,000 alone just for this 3-hour match. No more talking by us. These guys are ready. Ready for this?
Well, when you say no more talking by us, I've been silent just so I can keep my voice for this bullet section.
I'm going to be relying on it, so take it away, partner.
Well, here we go. We see Hikaru go off with the B3 again, and he plays in the center. He can oftentimes give... Oh, knight d2. So instead of trading queens, maybe he pre-moved. I honestly
I think he just pre-move blundered.
Yeah.
Hashtag first pre-move blunder of the day.
Yep.
That was not the move you were supposed to play.
No, not at all. On b6, I don't like that move.
Whoa, c6 is coming.
Well, c6 bishop b4 check. He's trying to throw that move in.
Very nice.
Really quickly.
You have very nice ideas.
So here. Oh, okay. Or just knight c5 and trying to corral that pawn on c6.
Okay.
Saying that you haven't developed enough to keep it, but Hikaru has other ideas.
Yeah, Hikaru's played positions like this before. Thanks, Captain Obvious. But no, it's really important because he's so familiar with the common tactics in these B3 systems. It's why he goes back to it time and time again in his bullet games.
Yep.
And because I think Black is fine here, right? You were just about to say, I mean, Wesley's fine, but again, Hikaru is just so familiar with this. He likes it.
In fact, I like Wesley's position because the light squares, we keep talking about this. When you lose that light square bishop, rook back, bishop a6 check coming. Okay, but you're lucky you don't lose a piece because rook d2 there's a knight on b3 covering it.
Yep.
But after bishop d6, where's that knight going? If you go to c4,
I think you can go to c4.
I just take it, I guess, or do I play rook c8 first? I guess
But again, I think Wesley did fine in the opening. Again, I'm just not as sold that Hikaru isn't right where he wants to be, especially in bullet. Now, the time has been impressive so far. That's what I'm looking at. Will Wesley hang with Hikaru as we have less time here to start each game?
Well, so far
he is, but I love the potential of this c-pawn, right?
Yeah, I completely agree now. That c-pawn is really advanced. It's only a couple moves before you go c7, rook d1, and try to punch that pawn through. Okay, but there's some clear counterplay for Black. King g3 is made by knight h5 check at some point, but I guess you are holding on just in time. Wow.
And look at walking the king up.
Yeah, because if g6, you go g4.
Yeah, I was just about to say the g4 move is coming, and maybe I get another chance for my emote. Nope, don't get it.
Well, this is a good decision by Wesley. Very good practical decision, saying if your king takes on h5, I take the bishop. So now rook takes g2.
But the knight's hanging.
Yeah, king h5, rook takes c6. And so you got
Who's
two
getting
pawns.
mated?
You have 2 pawns, and the a2 pawn is also hanging in many lines here. So,
but Hikaru's going to take the money and run. He's saying, I'm up a piece, and I'm going to see if I can prove it.
But you can't go king h3 because then just rook g6.
Rook would that not be delicious?
So rook c2 here blunders bishop f6 check. So let's see, what do I have to throw in here? Okay, giving up f6, and after bishop 6, g6.
Bishop takes f6 is well timed, though. Now he can play e5 and even cut off the rook. I thought that's what he would do. Yeah, but this also works, and again...
Does it work, though? Take takes c2, you have to go bishop somewhere? I guess you're just...
Do you even have to? No, the bishop is perfectly placed. The king can come back and win the pawn. I think White's just...
Yeah, the bishop is there. He maybe Wesley should win e5 to prevent that bishop from getting in the game. But look at this defense by Wesley.
I still think e5 is the best move right there by Hikaru, and then bring the king back, but he didn't go for it.
So, oh, look at that. If you take on a3, rook c3 check was available.
But Hikaru sees it. He sees all.
The rook is overloaded. That's the big problem there. Rook d6. Oh, look at that.
Oh, look at that. He's winning the piece back.
Oh,
Hikaru. He freaks out because he missed e5.
Okay.
Oh,
then
but
take
he's
with the
still
pawn.
winning in the
I don't
king
know if
of
he's
pawn
winning
ending.
though. The king of pawn ending.
And king of pawn ending, he would be. Yes, that's what I was saying. But I think he's still better in the rook ending.
Yeah, he is, and he's got a huge time advantage. The 10 seconds here coming in handy.
That was very resourceful by Wesley, though. You could see the. Have we ever seen Hikaru gasp and bring his fingers to his lips?
King F6.
That was brand new, Hikaru.
King F6, rook, King G7. You have to make sure you don't give it.
Yeah,
2
H5
on 0.
is coming if you want, though.
Well, we talked about it right in the Carlsen Caruana match.
Yep.
Where the 2-on-1 is much harder to win, but if it's 2-on-1 when the pawns are separated,
and,
easier
if you
for
put
the side
this
with
pawn
2
here,
pawns.
easy draw. With this pawn here, not easy to draw.
And if you put the G pawn on H5, then it's completely winning on the spot.
Yep.
So look at Wesley.
Okay, Wesley's still just defending super resourcefully here with no time on the clock, 6 seconds.
I'm very impressed by Wesley here. He's clearly putting up a big fight, but his time is ticking down.
It's going to be hard to continue to hold for sure. Yeah. Hikaru finally. Only 1 second. He barely made a move in time.
Oh, look at that move, King E5. The rook can't move because rook G1 check.
Oh, but he has
King
rook
back,
G3.
King F6 back. Go King F6
King
back.
F6. You can play E5.
But E5, I just take it, and my king and rook are perfectly
placed to hold F4. You're right.
So now King back to
but
E5.
he's going to have to bring the king back.
1.9 seconds.
1.9. Wesley barely holding. Hikaru, he's going to work this time scramble until
I'm very
the
impressed.
cows come home.
Rook G1. Oh, he could have taken on G2, I think. Like King F4.
Now he's got the king to H5, though. Oh, I thought that's what he wanted. He's almost put himself in a mating net.
Taking King of 4.
Oh, he's got G4.
Oh, no, but King F4, King H3. Yeah, King H3, King F3, E5.
Yeah, he would have taken it. Wesley lost on time!
No!
Oh, what was it? What was he doing? Oh, he forgot.
No, it's a losing endgame. If you go G4, I just take on G4, and it's still winning for
Oh,
white.
my gosh.
Wow. Wow. Hikaru barely gets that one through there.
Hikaru's he's still questioning what just happened, like all the rest of us.
Well, it was a winning endgame.
It was a winning endgame, so Wesley should have traded rooks.
He should not have, yeah. I suggested he did it, and, well, my bad,
That's
Wesley.
what happens when you listen to Robert.
Yeah, even though he can't hear me.
Well, no, but I was with you. I thought it was a draw as well, but the king shoulders on the outside.
Exactly.
Let's keep the main live board up. Let's go back to the mini analysis board, and I'm going to show that.
Okay.
I'm going to show that, even though it's bullet.
Try to keep my focus on the game.
Yeah, you look at the main game, and I'm going to pull this up and just show why it was resigns for everybody. Just keep your eye on the mini analysis board if you're interested in learning king pawn endings. G4 after takes, the king has to choose, and the point is, if the king takes this one, I'm shouldering on the outside, and in these endgames, I get here just in time to have opposition. If the same thing happens with the G pawn, I get to the outside of the pawn, and we both thought it was a draw, but the point is, once your king gets past the counterpart, then it's just going to walk the dog all the way up the board and protect it every square of the way. And that would happen in either one of these variations where the king gets here and shoulder. Actually, here it doesn't matter because black is wherever you go, I get opposition, and I shoulder you, and again, now I just walk the dog up the board with my king guarding every square. So that's a very, very quick example. Go back to the live game, but super instructive stuff and shocking there to see Hikaru steal the first bullet game.
Yeah, he really did steal that one. But Wesley, look at it. He's 45 seconds of it. Great position. Look at this backwards C6 pawn. I'm throwing to play E takes D5. If you take back on D5 with the pawn, then you lose the B5 pawn.
Oh, but Hikaru wants
it doesn't
king.
work.
Hikaru wants mate.
Doesn't work. The two knights are there protecting the H2 square, so he was desperate there. C6 still hanging. Queen E6 can always trade the queens. The bishop on C7 looks good, but it's attacking nothing.
It's air.
You can't get a battery. So
love it.
Queen takes C6 looks like a free pawn, but I guess knight E5
take the ladies off the board. That's also good for white.
I think it's the wise choice because if the knight was kicked off the F3 square, queen takes F2 check comes, and the rook on the second rank is very valuable there. So now you can probably get away with taking on C6.
And he does.
Because the knight blocks the E file.
And you can't even just continue to go for this because now that I'm up 2, I'll just go right back and trade queens. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if we see that. Wesley plays more aggressively, but okay, he's just winning every pawn. But
he's gobbling them
now
up.
You've even got... No, you don't, because trade and bishop takes F2 in the end. That he may... honestly... Despite the fact that he's up a lot of material,
that's not a good move.
I don't think he's going to be happy with this approach. He may regret it.
Rook F2, Rook A7, I guess. No, but then...
What about Rook A1 and then Knight F2? Trickiness? Knight F2 first?
I don't like that.
He wants Knight takes H3.
Rook E2?
What in the world is going
King
on
H2,
here?
what a...
The tactics are bananas.
Wait, but what if just... Bishop E8, Knight E5? Go Knight E5.
And he holds on.
Oh, no, but then Bishop takes E5, Knight D3?
Yeah, but now here comes Knight takes H3 or Bishop G3. Again, I think Wesley should have just been happy with the second pawn and played Queen E6.
He's Rook E... Oh, no, don't go Rook E3 because Bishop F2 checks. So don't blunder like me. Oh, look at that. Just ignoring the fact that his rook's under attack. Rook E3 now.
Yeah, very nice. And that's going to force the winning endgame.
And this is exactly what we were talking about last game, where you have the... Well, now it doesn't matter, but...
But you have the 2 pawns.
The 2 pawns connected.
Right.
And here comes C4.
Hikaru's going to do his last-ditch effort to create an outside passer
B5.
as counterplay with G4. Maybe even H4 he'll play. I don't even know. He doesn't. But, okay, should just be winning for white with accurate moves here. Wesley
B6.
has to
Okay.
guard the G2 square. There will be no queen. And now I've got 2 passers.
I don't love exactly how he's played this because knight is tied down on that side of the board. Don't want that.
Oh, actually, yeah. Now all of a sudden the bishop is dominating the knight.
Yep.
And this is far from ideal.
Put the knight back. On
He's
G2,
calculating whether he can get away with knight f3,
but
he can't. Yeah,
go
he has to
king
go back
E4.
to G2.
Go king E4.
Wow,
He's
Wesley
missing his
frustrated.
opportunities.
Hikaru feeling lucky with that one. He just escaped, literally escaped by the many hairs on his chin today. Maybe that's why you grow a beard. Increase your chances to escape by the hairs on your chinny chin. That was an amazing save, and that may be why he ultimately goes on to win. If he can hold the games where he's worse, right? Hikaru, we know, is super dangerous. He's back to his B3 systems, and objectively, Robert and I are not disagreeing. We like black objectively in a lot of these positions, but Hikaru knows what he's doing in these lines.
And very importantly, he's doing it quickly.
Yep.
Right? When you only have 1 minute for the whole game, you have to move quickly. And look at Hikaru, has more time than he started with.
Yep.
Ooh, taking a quick breath here.
Wowzers.
So is he going to go knight c6? There it is.
Yeah, now white's getting the bishop here and very happily gonna be playing the endgame. We've had these positions where white held and black had the bishop here on the light squares. Here white's got a nice position with the knight here. Can you play knight takes? No, you can't do that. But he's got a different tactic.
I was thinking about this.
If knight takes knight e7.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So king f8, knight c8, rook c8, and okay, it's 2 bishops.
But he is going to get the bishop here. The rook comes to c1, and this is okay. But the e4 square is weak.
Yeah, knight e4 check. Just knight e4 check now and take on c1 and play knight c3 at the end.
Oh my gosh,
the
that's
problem with the E2
delicioso,
square.
Dora. Look at your tactics flying out.
Yep.
Somebody's calculating here.
The knight c3 hits the bishop, hits the a2 pawn. So, just king g8, you have to.
Wow, bishop to d3, a2 pawns and g2 pawn
g2
are
is
falling.
hanging as well.
Hikaru has let this one slip despite.
And is he losing a2 next? I guess not. Knight a2, bishop b1 traps the knight, so he's playing like this. Okay,
Yeah, if the knight took the bishop would trap the knight.
So if you're Wesley, do you just try to offer a draw and say, let's go next
I think
game?
there's still plenty enough time in the match. You don't necessarily have to. It's a 1-game lead for Hikaru, 19 minutes left. But the reason Robert said that, everyone, is from a match strategy perspective. Again, the Speed Chess Championship is different because Wesley also only has 19 minutes left, right? And if you remain down a game, well, you run out of time.
Wait a second, there goes the a-pawn, but Hikaru is going to keep his bishop here.
Yeah, it's stuck.
This is close, though. Whether play bishop b4,
H.
okay, king b3, king c4, and try to get an e5 at some point. He's gaining some ground.
Yeah, he's making progress.
He's going to put his king on e4.
Maybe a really instructive endgame ahead of us. If it happens again, we'll analyze it on the small board if it's something that we feel we can
Okay, play
learn
king e4. On Wesley, king e4.
Yeah. And then now g5 and e5 are both
E5,
coming.
yep.
e5, he's making breakthroughs. Wow, I spoke
Take
too
it.
soon. I don't know if Hikaru's going to hold this.
Take on f4. Whoa!
Huh.
What?
What?
Oh, if bishop takes e5, he's going to king c4, bishop d6, a5, and push that pawn. Where's Yasser? Push him, baby!
Wow. And Hikaru sees it and agrees with it, so much so that he doesn't even take that free pawn.
Wait, now he just gave up the pawn. What's he doing there? Okay, he wanted if takes, he wants to go g5. So he's trying to somehow create a
Hikaru's
pass
trying
pawn.
to keep the structure. This is amazing.
Yeah, very
If
instructive.
you look at the analysis board, the point is, if white takes here in any position, black will get g5 and now have the extra pass pawn that he needs. In Obscode Bishop endings, it's not how many pawns you have, it's who has the ability to actually make progress and get a queen. And
so
actually,
king d2. If g5.
g5 immediately, and he has f4.
Yeah, but g5 he'll take, and then after f4 he'll go bishop b6, I guess.
Okay, Hikaru's not going to let it happen again. Let's show that. The point was if g5,
Wow.
oh wow, they draw. But if g5 had happened, darn it, schmarn it, got to open another analysis board. These guys are too fast. Okay, here comes the analysis. Don't you go anywhere, baby birds. I'll feed you. Mama bird's here. Okay, the point was, if the king is on d2, and okay, actually, we'll just go back here and play king d2. And some random move is made. g5 is the idea that they were looking for with f4, and the breakthrough would allow Eddie the Eagle to run home. Problem is, I don't think it ever worked, but kind of because of the move I just played accidentally. But this breakthrough that Wesley was going for with g5 was kind of the last stand. It didn't work, and it is an instructive thing to keep in mind, Obscure Bishop endings, again, that you can sack as many as you can just to get a queen, and Wesley almost had it. Oh, wow. if you didn't think you'd be on the edge of your seat here with the Speed Chess Championship Finals, boy, were you wrong. I mean, I don't want to call you out as you're, naked on a beanbag chair eating Cheetos, but guess what? You were wrong. We have a very, very close Speed Chess Championship. And look at it's like Hikaru finally solved the Italian, Robert, right when he needed to.
Yeah.
We've been critical of Hikaru playing the Italian all day because if you just got here, he's been worse as black in this position that they have played, at least a dozen times. But now he seems to have figured out black has a very solid position and seems to be okay here.
Yeah, it seems to be all right now, though, again, these double E pawns and double B pawns. At some point, white may try to play A5 and break open the queenside pawn structure, use the B file for his rooks, stare down the pawn on B7. So for now, it looks like they're just shuffling back and forth. Oh, D4, what a timely break. Saying that, okay, if you can't play C4 because B4 is hanging.
Yep.
He's
going to do it.
Well, he just didn't want the D file to open up with two rooks ready to barrel down.
He's going to win it back, and then the question is B7 weaker than A4, right? The open file comes and...
Well, queen B6, you trade on B6, play knight D7, and put it on C5. That's
he spies the pawn with his little eye, her little eye, I should say. She's going to take it. I think she takes C6.
Or does she play rook C2 first? What if she? What am I?
He, it doesn't matter, right? We're all the same. Queen takes B6 now. A5's coming. No! She wants to keep that pawn in her sights, maybe because she has F4 in some lines.
Yeah, but this is a black just up a pawn now. Rook A5, threatening rook C5.
Yeah, I love... Oh, he plays rook A6 another way.
Rook takes B7, he hung his pawn.
Oh, rook takes B7, rook takes
rook
takes A4.
Then I just take on A4 and C6
take,
falls afterwards.
Shake and bake. Robert's right. In the end,
C6
C6 falls. He missed it. Wesley just misses rook takes B7, and now he's not going to get another chance.
They're both just...
They're just making blunders here toward the end. They're just...
Now Wesley's...
Yeah, he's losing either D3 or A4 or sack the exchange. She finally gets the pawn, her heart desired, but in this case, the outside passer is going to be why black's winning in the endgame.
Yeah, this is just losing now. The A pawn is too strong. There's no attack going. The knight G6, king on H7 perfectly.
Look at that. Perpetual checks are a girl's best friend. Why can't I ever show it?
Because they end the game.
Queen E6, because they're playing too fast. Knight G5 was an idea for a perpetual check, but it didn't work. I'm not even going to show it, but hey, she tried. The queen tried to make all the counterplay she could.
Yep, and too little, too late. So, okay, we have this set up once more. Watch out for... Never mind. Not even worth saying, because the queen's likely coming off. If you play queen takes C5, you allow queen D7 or rook C1. Probably rook C1 first. But Hikaru looks shocked by that move. I think it's just bad.
Yeah, and now Hikaru is really showing why he stays so consistent with his openings. This knight F3 B3 system, is something he's used in casual bullet to his streams and then really serious matches. We've seen him do it several years in a row in the Speed Chess Championship.
Yeah, and anytime you see this B3 and knight F3 on the board, you just have to know that you're going to be playing someone's playing extremely quickly, right?
Yep.
Hikaru's just putting his pieces.
Oh, and now he's got 95 check coming. Ouch town.
Yikes.
Population rook to C7.
But 95 check, does it work quite yet? 95 I take it. If you take rook C7, I have rook takes D1.
Yeah, but so what?
Rook D1, the E4 falls.
It just feels so good. Feels so good.
So creepy when you say things like that.
I know, but he's going to do it.
And now
he's
rook
got
D3.
the same line. He just improved on my
rook
move
D3.
order.
You got to do something quick.
D3, King G2.
King G2 looks
you can
perfectly
take B3.
Good. But yeah, you have to.
You have to get E5.
I like that Wesley did it quickly.
Bishop H5 check first. What's his idea? He likes trades. Oh, you can't take B3 because Bishop D6 and I win. Howie.
So King E8, I guess.
Yeah, but now I can guard. Okay, or trade B for A, and I'm up a pawn in the end.
Play Bishop
C5. Up a clean pawn.
Play Bishop C5, hit the F2 square, and you have.
Would you relax on the Bishop C5 idea?
Stop being creepy with your little...
I'll relax if you stop being creepy. Okay, noted, Dan. I still think white can play a 3, and Hikaru does it. The king has this route as well.
Oh, he had to play rook A8 check so he didn't blunder his rook with bishop
Yeah,
C5
there was a threat there called a four-key mode.
H4. Get rid of that pawn.
Yeah, he should have played H4. He may miss his chance.
No, rook B2 check and bishop G1.
Oh, wow, but then G4 and I guard it.
But at least I get rid of my double pawns, right? So I take on G4.
That's true. Takes, F takes, I assume. Yeah.
Hikaru's not happy. Bishop D4.
Yeah, black should hold this. I agree. But again, it's time pressure. It's bullet. Hikaru Nakamura's
E5.
wheelhouse.
Yeah, the king is just getting checked. They're all over the board. Oh.
But these bullet games are just super tough. I mean, this is Hikaru
E5.
Nakamura was born for this. Lady Gaga.
LE5? Okay. He's going after the H2 pawn. I guess that makes even more sense. King G6. Wait a second. H4.
H4 was
H4
winning for Hikaru. He missed it. But he's got rook G7, but H4 was where it was at. I think Hikaru missed the win, but Wesley's still frustrated because he knows it's... In fact, he's shaking his head because after bishop f6, here comes G5 and rook takes. Jinx 1 through 10, you owe me a Coke.
Okay, I'll buy you a Coke later.
All right, cool. Cool. Appreciate it. Now he's got G5 and then rook takes H7.
With check. Okay.
Look at Hikaru. He's just sitting tight. This is Hikaru's cave, the Bat Cave. Welcome to the jungle.
Yeah, it does look
Hikaru
very dark
Nakamura in the bullet portion.
This is
H4, and it's just as fate would have it. Fate subscribes, and
oh, he mated him with bishop G5.
And he's mating him. Well, in the words of Bane, right? Wesley So came to the bullet portion, right? He's trying to play in the darkness, and Bane's like, I was born in it. Hikaru Nakamura's like, welcome to bullet. I was born in it. I mean, this is literally his territory. Welcome to the jungle. That was a draw, as you said. Black should have held with best play, but it's just the work. The work, right? Yeah. Well, okay, Wesley is not out of it yet. 10 minutes with a 3-game lead is the biggest one we've had in the match so far for Hikaru. But it may be all he needs if Wesley doesn't strike now.
Right.
So.
And Wesley's position is great here, right? You can just take on C5, rook C1 first. That's probably even better. The point is that this pawn, if he goes C4, then knight D6 happens. You're in trouble. Now it's a free pawn on C5. So this is not looking very good for Hikaru, but Wesley needs to put him away. You can't just be better in a position. You need to actually win the games. So,
shout out to the Only bringing the 5,000 bits. I'd like to think it was for my Bane impression.
Probably was.
Knights before bishops, develop them.
Your Tom Hardy Bane impression was great.
That's right. But no, seriously. I mean, we know this is what Hikaru Nakamura is capable of, and Wesley So has played such great chess today, but now you have to find it in bullet or it's all over. C6, C7?
No, C6, bishop C7. I guess Hikaru is just trying to...
Getting counterplay. But, okay, this game he's come back right now. I mean, White's better here, so this is Wesley's game right now, but time is ticking. Yeah,
so is he going to... I was about to ask him to play for A4, B5, something like that. Play A5 here.
Okay, this is nice because you want two passers. You never want one pass pawn and obstacle bishops because one pass pawn can be blockaded. But if you can get the two over here, but look at Hikaru. He's bouncing because he knows he figured it out. He's going to force the pawns to dark squares, and it's going to be a draw.
Yep.
Silly Hikaru. Blockades are for kids.
So C6, B6 doesn't work. B6, you just take on C5. Okay,
yep.
And Hikaru paused for a second.
Well, he knows. He knows he's got it. He's got the blockade.
In fact, maybe Black can turn this one around because those pawns are blockaded, but Black's pawns are not.
Yeah, and this bishop is kind of looking a little lost over here.
Yeah, just play F5,
okay,
E5.
White can never lose, but yeah, I mean...
What?
Opposite... Wait. What?
He just wanted to trap that bishop in there, I guess.
He's trapping the bishop permanently for all time and space? Look at Wesley inchworming his way back into the fold. But as you said, okay, maybe I spoke too soon and said White can never lose, but Hikaru Russian Freddy.
Yeah, just... Now...
Right, Freddy will not become Francis today, though.
No.
He has been blockaded. And no queens happening. But Hikaru, look at him just cleaning up all the pawns. Plus, this is, from a match strategy, this is almost GG. Yep. Because Hikaru, if he really wants to go full gamesmanship, can just play Tickle here and take another minute and a half on the clock. Right? The total game clock is running.
Yep. And he's just going to keep pre-moving and waiting for... Are we going to see a bongcloud?
Will we see a bongcloud? We've been asked... Hikaru Nakamura has been prompted by his fans. Hikaru Nakamura will also be having a 24-hour stream at some point in December because he made a regretful promise that if he reached 1,000 subs, he'd do a 24-hour stream. And now he's going to do a 24-hour stream. He was already talking to me about it last night. But as we said, he can take a lot of time off the clock, and that's what he's doing to ensure victory. And we'll see whether that means he has time for a bongcloud or not. You're wondering, we are not talking about any sort of paraphernalia of any kind. If this is a family-friendly show, the bongcloud isn't opening. And the odds of the bongcloud have gone way up. I predicted it would not happen. I was wrong. Maybe. We'll see. But Wesley has played more than well enough today to kind of avoid that, but having lost a few in a row in Bullet, Hikaru may now be within the realm of knowing he's got the Speed Chess Championship title locked up.
Wait.
No, it's
Okay.
a draw, Bishop.
I was like,
Yeah, I know. I could feel you next to me. You tensed up a little bit, which is so cute, by the way. How you tense up when you're nervous. It's adorable.
I wasn't nervous. I just wasn't paying attention because they were just shuffling back and forth.
Yeah.
And all of a
I
sudden,
just want you to know how cute that was.
I appreciate it. But all of a sudden, I looked back at the board. And look at Hikaru just wasting. He's wasted over a minute.
Yeah,
by
I
doing
told
this.
you. I told you another 90 seconds could come off
Look
the
at them,
clock. They're just like
Look at Wesley laughing.
Bishop chasing king. That's so good. That was so good.
Oh.
And then Hikaru thinking again, is it not a draw yet?
Look how much time they have.
He can't just
Look
claim.
how much
Look,
time
Hikaru
they
just gained a whole bunch on the increment. This is so great. Hikaru just pre-moved himself, and Wesley turns over to him and he's like, are you kidding me right now? Oh my god. That was legendary stuff right there.
Yep. And Hikaru's going to take on B5 and then pre-move again. Watch.
Water
He's gonna
time.
take on B5 and then pre-move 50 moves. Here it goes. Here it goes.
Watch this pre-move. Because now he reset 50 moves.
Yeah.
He's going to take the bishop. Oh, Wesley shouldn't have given him the bishop.
Yeah.
Oh my god. If Wesley had kept the bishop, if he had kept the bishop, it would have been a 50-move rule draw. If you don't know, you have a 50-move rule draw in chess if there's been no progress made, which is either a capture or a pawn push. That's how we measure progress in chess. And Wesley gave him the bishop, so he screwed up, and that's why Hikaru paused.
Why isn't Wesley just doing the same thing? Pre-move. Stop wasting time, Wesley.
I don't think he even knows it's his move. He just started laughing.
He's probably really annoyed.
This
But
is
it's good gamesmanship.
Absolutely bananas.
This is so good.
Hikaru just took one bullet game from 8 minutes left to 4 minutes left.
I mean, do you feel like we just watched like a game of Pac-Man?
That was so funny. That was so funny. Oh my god, I can't take it.
Oh my gosh. Hikaru's good. He's
This is so good.
Hikaru's
Well,
he's
with that-
laughing internally. Look at what's going on.
This is so good. So again, some people have complained about what the dynamic is here, that it's like on sportsmanship, whatever. But the truth is, we've already seen several people do this. We've seen Magnus do it. We've seen Grishuk do it. We've seen Hikaru do it many times. The Speed Chess Championship format is honestly really special, and obviously I'm biased, you know that, but it is. It's very special because it creates these opportunities for the players to use the game clock against their opponent, which is something you do in other sports. The NBA, the NFL, right? Well, you don't get mad at a quarterback when he takes a knee and runs out the clock instead of throwing an interception, do you? You don't get mad in the NBA when they dribble out and let the shot clock go, and that's really what it is here. It's a match situation that they're leveraging and using against their opponent. So,
everyone, chat's going crazy. I'm trying to catch up here, but yeah.
Yeah, and that was if someone just said that was worth the $50,000 prize right there. Hikaru just locked up the championship with that right there, and somebody goes out of his way to create a bongcloud username, and Kitty Kitty Hiss Hiss never misses a beat. We love that guy. Instantly donating a sub. So, wow. Well, again, if you're with us right now, one of the 20,000 viewers, not only was that amazing, but don't go anywhere because we are about to have both these players join us in 3 minutes. At this point, I think we can safely call it because mathematically, Hikaru Nakamura just ensured himself the victory with that incredible show of highly clippable moments. And that was a good laugh. I needed that.
Yeah. I will say, though, since the daily question is the format, I, for one, am not the biggest fan of that being – I don't like that in basketball. That,
right.
You can just but they're fouls, right? There's something you can do.
Right.
In
well,
basketball.
The people that are down on the scoreboard can foul, right, to try to get the ball
exactly.
back, right? Which is another.
And people complain about the fouling,
right?
But that at least gives a team that's losing a chance. And in this format, you have no chance, right? There's nothing you can do if someone just sits for a minute on the clock. So
true. But again, I mean, it's part of the overall match strategy that you wouldn't be able to do, right, if you weren't winning. And also, I think that Wesley made a pretty funny show of it by actually giving up the bishop. It was funny that Hikaru had the presence of mind to pause when the bishop was hanging and wait for it. Wow, that was just crazy. So
right, well,
and I'm not saying it is the most. Is it the most traditional way to win a chess match? No, but it certainly has been tried, and pretty funny moment there.
Whew.
He didn't play the bongcloud though, and he may have missed his chance because this might be the last time he gets the white pieces.
And I don't blame Hikaru for doing that, right?
Yeah.
It's in the rules. You do it. You take advantage of it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Same thing with Magnus, right? We were upset, and I was upset how the draw was made for spectator reasons.
Yep.
But I cannot blame Magnus we're taking to a rapid against Fabiano, where he was just a much stronger rapid player. So,
Yep.
yeah, Wesley, unfortunately, this is gonna be like one of our lowest scoring matches ever. Like, in
Yeah,
terms
it's
of
interesting.
fewest
I
numbers of
think
games.
we've had scores similar to this in history, but no, it's right there, right? They haven't played a lot of games.
Well, Hikaru faces this before the
Well, I missed it. I was actually looking at the board there. Um,
we switched roles.
yeah, there you go. Yep. Well, yeah, like I said, we will have interviews here with the players in just a moment. I think one of the interesting storylines, of course, is the Italian, right?
Yep.
Both sides and what happened there. I think obviously we've got Wesley, who just it barely got away from him in bullet, and Hikaru didn't look back. But we'll have some X and O's. If you have questions for the players, ask them now, so we can read and get some questions.
Okay, well,
If you have some useful ones.
and this game is over because wait, they drew? So they play another
Mutual
one?
agreement. Yeah.
Wow, I would have just let the time run out if I were Hikaru, but I guess he's already won the match, so he might as well keep
He
playing.
might. He's not going to get one more white. No, he has to purposely lose. Oh, he is going to play the bongcloud with black, and Wesley cracks
Wesley's
up.
laughing.
The first time we've ever have we ever seen the bongcloud with black?
I don't think so.
Okay, well Hikaru makes due on his promise to his fans.
That's
And-
why he took the draw.
That's why he took the draw, so we could get one more game.
Yes.
Classic, classic. Well, it has been Hikaru's Speed Chess Championship this 2018, and both some of the most hilarious, most exciting, and ultimately winning the event as far as all the moments that he's brought us. So we're obviously going to be joined by both the players. Wesley So had an amazing event this year as well, and for a moment, I mean, I honestly was on the edge of my seat as to whether So could play the way he did against Duda.
Yeah.
And win this match here, because people have just said it's Hikaru's match, right, to win, and we were tied heading into bullet. If you happen to only just be getting here, it was 10-10 before Hikaru Nakamura separated himself in the final portion. So incredible match. We will be joined by both players in just a moment, right after this bongcloud from black.
Yeah, and Wesley will likely be a bit frustrated because, of course, as a chess player, he wants to win. That's the
Yep.
first thing. And the game's over. They just drew. So
And there you go.
should be joined with them any
They
second
draw
now.
by mutual agreement. Another 2,000 bits there from Chess Bay.
Yep.
Thank you so much. We are going to take a very quick break, get our sound check and video check on with the players, and we will have interviews in just a few moments. Be right back. And we are now back with our two players with us for interviews. And can I just say, on behalf of myself, Robert, and all the fans that are here, you guys gave us quite the match today. It takes two to tango, and this was a masterpiece of a show. I mean, seriously, it was so exciting, back and forth, and ultimately, of course, congratulations to you, Hikaru. You have won the 2018 Speed Chess Championship. Wesley, if we had told you were tied 10-10 with Hikaru headed into bullet, would you have taken that ahead of time?
It's hard to say. I mean, it probably at a disadvantage because once the shorter the time control, the bigger Hikaru's advantage gets.
Right.
And before the match, I was hoping maybe I could try to get some lead, the 5 minute or the 3 minute, because I know once the bullet comes,
Right.
then it's very hard to control the situation. And as you can see from the match, once the bullet game starts, I think Hikaru just played fantastically, and I didn't even realize I was down by 3 points. But Mr. Pete Ciliento kindly reminded me. So I think I'm just playing too slow on, on the bullet. I mean, it's very hard to compete against Hikaru in that regard. And congratulations to him for winning the Speed Chess Championship.
Yeah, Hikaru, I mean, on that note, what was your strategy coming into the match? Of course, your bullet prowess was on full display, but did you have any specific numbers in mind, how close you had to keep the match in order to just become the favorite heading into the bullet?
Yeah, I mean, generally, I've felt that if I keep it within about 2 points, if I've knocked down more than two, I think I have very good chances in bullet. I mean, Wesley played much better than I did, pretty much for the first, I would say, 2 hours, maybe even a little more than that. And then he got careless in this one game where I was white. I played this like knight f3, d3, g3, and he got a little bit careless. And then once I won that game, things started to turn around. But I mean, I think I was quite lucky, in fact.
Well, one of the overarching storylines of the match was your guys' consistency, your persistence to play the Italian, right? Hikaru, you said yesterday in the match with Levon that you were prepared to play the Italian positions, or you thought you might get that, if I remember correctly. And today you stuck with it, despite the fact that it seemed that for the first 90 minutes, as you said, it felt like Wesley was really getting some great positions as white. But your persistence paid off because toward the end, you actually seemed like you solved it. Can you talk a little bit about was the Italian something you expected to get as black here? And did you purposely kind of stick with it despite getting some tough positions because it eventually kind of paid off and you were doing okay as black?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is kind of the way I was playing, which I felt was not great. It would have been a little bit risky to try and play something a little bit less solid and more aggressive because I just wasn't playing well in general. I mean, you even saw it, I mean, in the 3 minute. I mean, Wesley blundered this piece with this b5 and queen d5, queen g5, and even then I still made a blunder right back. So, like, just in general, it was quite tough. But I felt it just made sense to stay solid, and if it wasn't good enough, then that's just how it goes, and Wesley deserved to win.
Right. Well, Wesley, over to you then. Did you think you would get an Italian game against Hikaru? You had a very consistent approach there as well and seemed to be doing getting decent positions as white throughout the whole Blitz portion. What did you prepare, if anything, for Hikaru, and was the Italian something you thought you'd get?
Well, coming to the match, I didn't think that we'd play anything theoretical, but I looked at Hikaru's match against Levon yesterday, and I noticed that they were playing a lot of main lines. Hikaru was playing the Berlin with both colors, and he was playing the main line Queen's Gambit, which I didn't really expect. So, yeah, for this match, I assumed that he would play the same openings. And, I decided to go for this Italian without the bishop g5 because yesterday Lebon was getting these very complicated positions, and he was getting very complicated. So I played these quiet lines and see how it goes. Well, I think in the first two games, I was pleased with the position I was getting, which were not very complex and a little bit risk-free. So, I mean, I could play other moves on the first move, but I wasn't sure what positions I was getting. At least here in the Italian, I can play my first 15 moves before thinking.
Right.
And, in the end, I think I misplayed it, all in the bullet section, also in the 3-minute section. My knight was going to c4, then back to e3, f1, g3. So I should have gone right away to f1. And Hikaru was outplaying me in the end in the Italian, so I switched to knight f3, e3. But as he said, it takes two to tangle. So if Hikaru didn't mind playing the Italian, then why not?
Right. Well, you mentioned openings and that Hikaru was playing theory with Levon, and so you thought he might do the similar thing here. But back to you, Hikaru. We highlighted that this knight f3 b3 system is something you play a lot. You play it on your streams. You play in bullet matches. We made a chess bra reference, right? And because you know those positions so well, it's a little different than mainline theory. Objectively, maybe white doesn't get the greatest middle games, but you're able to play so fast in those positions. Is that just something you have as an overall approach to bullet, that you consistently try to reach those positions where even if it's roughly equal, you know what the plans are better than your opponent, so you can play faster and outcalculate them?
Yeah, I mean, in general, the reason for that is just avoid theory, basically just make it where you have to find good moves really quickly. And so I'm probably going to keep doing that. I think in bullet to play like main lines is a little bit silly. I mean, I guess I had this one game against Maxime where we blitzed out like 25 moves in a Berlin, which was kind of ridiculous. But I think in general in bullet, you just have to play good moves, play on intuition. I think you want positions where you just kind of find moves as opposed to calculating anything.
The problem also is playing against Hikaru in little time controls is that Hikaru is very good not only in complex and complicated positions but also in end games. So I have to choose the least of two evils. Either I get up, I get outplayed in the end game, which happened many times in this match, or I go for some complex position then blunder a piece. So that's always the issue. Like in India, Hikaru and I played this end game. Remember when you were white and
The knights, yeah, the knight end game.
yeah, I thought I would get a pretty easy draw, but it was much harder than that.
Well, you're very complimentary of Hikaru, and obviously, Wesley, you played very well yourself today, as Hikaru said, right? I mean, for the first couple hours, and it was honestly just absolutely thrilling. It was amazing, all we could hope for. I only have one more question, but I'm going to let you go before. My last question was, Wesley, because you watched the match yesterday, did you think you might get a bongcloud if you got if in the last game? We saw you had a big smile, and Hikaru, you barely worked it in with that draw you agreed to, and then played it as black. We thought you weren't going to get it.
What? So the question is for me?
Well, I asked if you thought you'd get it. You saw him play it against Milan.
Yeah.
I mean, Wesley, the thing is, if you go online and you Google the bongcloud opening, you'll understand. This is the point. There's a 20-page PDF file online, which is completely crazy, and so then you'll...
It was written by a madman, but yeah.
It seems like a move that you would play against Komodo, right?
Right.
Maybe if you do a match in the future, you can black up. Komodo has to play the bongcloud and a pawn down. Yeah.
I like that. Right. Hikaru versus Komodo bongcloud, or you versus Komodo bongcloud. That's a great idea. Anyway, well, thank you both. Seriously, this has been an amazing way to bring this event to a close. Congratulations, Hikaru, one more time on taking on the top prize. Wesley, congratulations on such an amazing performance today, and very, very close, and just I think the fans got all they could have asked for. So we appreciate you both. We're going to say a few more words before signing off, but we'll let you go, and thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
All right, well, as we said, the prizes on the line today were $5,000 to the winner, and then games split by winning percentage, so not bad for a 3-hour Blitz match, and congratulations again to both these guys, and they were very complimentary of each other, and nice to have them in the interview. And there you have it, Hikaru Nakamura, atop everyone there at the end. The overall 1 seed takes it home in the Speed Chess Championship. And we still have 15,000 of you with us, so thank you for still being here. Robert, your final thoughts reflecting on this specific match after we talk a little bit about the Pro Chess League. So January 8th, you and I will have the call, I think, right on that day with some other hosts who we'll announce soon. But the Pro Chess League is coming up. Your favorite team logo?
Ooh, I really like the Barcelona Raptors. That's
a new one.
Yeah, that's a new team. I saw that when it was put in the Dropbox.
Yeah.
I mean, the Moscow Wizards, look at that one. That's
the Moscow
sweet.
Wizards is scary. That's very esport-esque, and is that League of Legends or, I don't know. But I also like just some of the classics. I like the Gnomes one. Simple too.
Like this classic one, the San Francisco Mechanics.
That's been around for a long time. So the San Francisco Mechanics will be led by Sam Shanklin. The St. Louis Archbishops, led by either Wesley So or Fabiano Caruana. You take your pick of who you think is leading them. Seattle is led by that guy who just won the Speed Chess Championship. So we know who their favorite is, and as we said, Fabiano playing there. I almost think they're led by Wesley, because Wesley won the MVP in 2017 and returning, but 1-2 combination is hard to beat unless you got that guy on board.
Did Fabiano win the MVP last year?
He did. Actually, you're right. So St. Louis is boasting both MVPs. Remind you can actually pick up limited item in our merch store if you want a Pro Chess League backpack. Go follow. Hold your mouse over the screen right now, and you can follow the Pro Chess League channel. Obviously, we're hyping it because it's kind of our baby coming up here. We're going to be really excited about everything we have in store coming up in the 2019 season. Again, mark your calendars. January 8th is when it all begins. But before we let you go, wish everybody an absolutely wonderful holiday season. Safe, regardless of how you choose to celebrate the holidays. Keep it safe. Keep it family friendly, unless you're watching my streams. In that case, no family friendly stuff allowed.
Definitely not.
But it's been great, dude. I got to send you home. We won't hug it out or any kind of out on camera.
Don't cry.
But Robert's mom is waiting for him and we're sending you back to the Big Apple.
Yep.
It's been the World Chess Championship, the Speed Chess Championship, and huge thanks to everybody that's just been with us and watched our coverage throughout the entire month of November. And I know you're like, what is that? I'm here for the Speed Chess. You're talking about the World Chess Championship, but it's all been one big long ride, a big party, and last bits there. Really, really appreciate everybody who's tuned in. And anything else you want to say there? I know you're waiting for me to let you go. I just don't want to let you go, Jack.
Well,
never let go.
yeah,
Look at those
can you give me a
Twitter
door?
handles.
Can you give me a
follow
door
us.
in the water? I'll hold
Right.
on.
I'll get down low. I'll get down if that's what you want me to do, and you can kind of like hold. You'll be Rose.
I didn't know where you were going with that.
I don't know where you're going. I don't know where I'm going with things half the time. That's why I have to pivot mid-conversation a lot of the time.
Yeah, you want to be Ross?
I
You gonna
start
pivot.
I start speaking before I've thought about what I should be saying.
Yeah, you do that a lot.
A lot. So.
Yeah. Talk about this.
Anyway, we love you all. Thank you, Chess Bay. Thank you, all of our mods. I'm gonna shout them out because I got a list of them. Chess Bay 94, Mana 4, Coffee and Tea. We love the party. BJH13, In the Time of Nick. Mentioning him just in the nick of time. DJ Chess Dog, Wicca Wicca, Frank Rutten, Andy, Goon Recruiter, and NJ Greg. Everybody over at the Chess TV chat and the live chess game chat as well. Shout out to Aaron, our producer, who's been holding it down and making everything as awesome as it could possibly be. The Speed Chess Championship is over. I'm so glad there are no more official events in December. I'm not gonna lie.
Yep.
I'm ready for the break.
Me too.
I know you're ready for the break from me.
Our break.
Our break. You ready for the break? We were on a break.
Yeah.
We were on a break. Ross versus Rachel. Was the break official? Get at us on Twitter. Let us know what you think. We're going to let you go right now and see you at next year's Speed Chess Championship and see you on January 8th for the Pro Chess League. Peace.